goal difference between these two teams.
You know, my brain was going to, I was like, oh, did Kunkka respawn and X him to break the X, right? Because you know that other one, but then I was like, oh no, he got the Manta, so very cool stuff. And yeah, this game just continues to deliver. Double Dooms at the ready. Level 25s are starting to get close for the side of Falcons, which are pretty insane. Pure has hit his, but Amar, once he gets his, it's going to be pretty problematic. Ain't gonna Manta dodge nothing then.
Daedalus on Thompson. So if they can find their position in the fights, Tundra, they've definitely, they're getting very close really to have the right click to be able to take Skeeter down.
Sure, yeah, absolutely.
But they have to keep their distance, and that's something that's not proven to be very easy to do.
I mean,
How
this game,
aggressive and in the face of the Falcons as a team have been getting in these team fights.
I mean, this game it's really in anybody's hands at this point. It's going to be all up to who gets these big initiations, who's going to be able to find these back lines. Is there going to be buybacks? Is there going to be mana for snaking the false promise? Super exciting stuff. And Pure, I mean, yes, this is where you can't really go for the rapier now at this point. You want to go for the swift link. I think every time you see these rapiers on these Lunas, it's for the most part a bait until
we've been baited so many times.
Yeah.
So many rapiers have been queued up that just haven't ended up being purchased.
But let's see, Pure, he's got the full Scotty in his backpack. It's a bit funny to see that. He's got the treads in inventory instead.
I mean, now at this point, what's sort of the calls being made by both teams? Now things have calmed down once again.
I mean, Amar has hit 25, so Amar now at this point can go, if I doom somebody, they're screwed. There ain't gonna be no more TPs out, nothing like that. So it's, I mean, Amar still, he's probably the biggest target that Tundra has to deal with.
Yeah, a good doom or two and he can end the game.
Yeah, absolutely.
Amar has so much power right now.
So we'll see if like the Lotus Orbs or the Lincolns or if there's going to be any type of blocks in particular. Skitter has hit 25 also, so now that attack speed steal. So some pretty crazy ones that Falcon's starting to hit here. Marine will show himself. He's also got a Basher now too, and the Octarine, so he's got ways to stop versus these BKB TPs. If it's on other targets, not the new ones. Setting up top, they do see Amar for a second here. This is a dangerous position, maybe.
I say he's a difficult hero to kill.
Snaking's always behind him, too, it feels like. They really want to try for him.
They might at least get the BKB out from him. They will. In fact, Amar, he puts the BKB, starts charging straight back towards the Lincolns and Lotuses, everything being thrown down on a Pure to stop Amar from being able to find a chance to go back in. But Amar just ends up scaring them away there, just runs straight at them.
And Falcons, they're the ones now that are smoked up to perhaps look for the rego themselves. A Wind Waker also now has been picked up on crit, so many different ways of saving and bailing their teammates out. These moments are tense. It's pretty absurd to me, Owen, that this game has kind of not really ticked over like a 3K gold lead or anything. I think it ticked to like I think 5K was the highest, right? But
I don't know if we even saw 5. I mean, maybe.
It's still crazy. Smoke on smoke. Falcons is going to expire. Tundra has the vision on this bottom side.
They're looking at Skeeter. He is so tanky and he's got a lot of backup. Do they really want to lead in on towards the Razor? They're being careful, Tundra. They know that there's so much waiting behind him.
Scan comes out, they know exactly where they are.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
Whoever presents themselves first, likely to get jumped by Amar in response.
Got 8 buybacks available. The 2 supports on Falcons do not have theirs.
Well, we'll clip him.
Big poke. 1,100 damage just from 1 beam.
Marine's ready with a Rolling Thunder. Another tornado. There's the jump. They're going to make the jump straight away towards Thompson. They find the opening. The Lotus will get thrown down on him. They just have to take him down low with the right clicks. They'll get the kill. Thompson's gone.
They didn't even need the doom.
Heads over with the Rolling Thunder. They're ready to start chasing down for more. Thompson immediately comes in with the buyback. Skeeter pushing forward.
Pure.
Stay on top of Pure. So we get the link going, and there's the doom as well from Amar. They can stay on top of the Luna, chase him down. Skeeter's building up the damage, surviving with the lifesteal. Double kill, triple kill for Skeeter. He's ready to start cleaning up. He turns
full HP.
Thompson brought back for this. He's got to run. Turns with the tornado to hold the back.
Buybacks.
2 more buybacks to come in from Tundra from both Pure and Whitemon. Pure looking towards Crit able to get up to the high ground with the Wind Waker, forces away as well.
Can Skeeter get away?
Pure's trying to chase. Where's the control? They'll throw the Sunstrike out to get them some information, get them some vision. Skeeter into the tree line. They've got to find something with these 3 buybacks, Tundra, but Falcons, they're not letting the Marines already out. Blink Skeeter.
Stop.
They get caught by the Stomp. Tundra, they will be able to find the Razor. So the buybacks had to come out, but they found the three of them. Can they get Maureen as well? Cold snap coming in. He's struggling to find the chance to roll up into the Rolling Thunder. Silence as well. Tundra with the buybacks take the team fight.
Well, it's 3 at least, right?
3 buybacks. Pure, Whitemon, and Thompson, of course, at the start.
Right. I mean, they got on top of Pure. They got that Doom, but they were able to get these cleanup kills. They're going to look to force the issue to at least get some buybacks.
Okay, buyback from Maureen. They almost certainly could try and get more out of Falcons here, Tundra.
I would imagine so. I believe Snaking now does have the buyback available also. His buyback is really cheap.
Refresher picked up on Ramses. He's ready to go with the 2 rounds of spells and potential saves with the Lotus.
Right.
This bottom racks. I think, Falcons, they'll let this one go. If ideally they don't want to try and expend any more buybacks, so that, Amar doesn't want to spend his 20 seconds until he's back up. 40 seconds might be a little harder to hold out for on Skeeter. Depends how much Tundra go for outside of this bottom melee. They're actually going to go straight towards the mid, or indeed if they just settle for the Roshan, both will be pretty nice for them.
Yeah, Roche just did respawn. I think especially now that you use those buybacks, it's not worth poking high ground more. You want to go get that Roche. Pure does need an Aegis, does need that secondary life.
And imagine that could be pretty...
Wait, what?
What have we got?
No, he's just now... Ramses now has plus 100 spell AoE, and with that refresher, so... In these fights are going to be so chaotic.
Who's holding the refresher anyway for the next team fight? Are you giving it to the Luna or the Invoker?
Luna, probably? Does he have in space? Maybe the Invoker still have space? I don't know. Maybe you give it to Luna, because you Aegis, and then you swap it in. Okay. Oh boy.
The next team fight could be pretty devastating for either side with the more lacking state of buybacks. That in particular for Tundra, they've got to be very careful, despite having the Aegis and the refresher shard and cheese.
Maureen does spend his gold on an Aeon disc. Does have to be careful how he shows himself. Of course, he did use that buyback before. He's also hit 25.
Not afraid to go first in.
They got to be careful. They still know there's vision there.
Now with the Roshan being taken, they're definitely going to suspect that Tundra are set up pretty formidably around this area of the map. So Falcons, they'll fall back.
That's actually really interesting. No shard or anything on Luna. It's kind of cool.
He's getting it out now.
He's getting it out now, right? Yeah, okay. That could actually... Okay, let me just make sure. Oh, okay. I mean, it could be pretty impactful, to be quite honest with you, versus the Razor. And either way, it's going to be all up to just these catches, execution. If Dooms get blocked, if Thompson survives, if Luna survives with the respawns, Ramses, and especially, I mean, just keeping track of these buybacks, right?
Crazy farm this game from Pure. It's definitely going to be one of the longer games we've had, and on the Luna, no doubt, no surprise that it's been able to pick up this amount of CS, and no signs of stopping anytime soon. We're going to see some crazy numbers this game.
It just feels so neck and neck.
It really does. It's been a fantastic game so far, which I feel like sometimes isn't normally said about a game 55 minutes and it's only 19-12, but the play and the way that the fights have been executed has been absolutely a joy to watch from both teams.
Yep, absolutely top tier. Saksa is getting close to a pretty big item too. He almost has a Hex, which they didn't really have this kind of instant disable on their lineup. This could be X Factor things too. If you blink Hexes an Oracle while the saves are coming out, could be impactful.
Pure. He's already poking into the base again, starting to go for the tier 3. They're bringing the creep wave in on the top. Smoke's going to be coming out from Falcons. It's a difficult fight to take, and one that they don't look afraid to take nonetheless. I mean, it's into the Aegis, into the cheese.
They're always trying to look for these type of opportunities to get the wraparounds, right? I think that's when we've seen the most successful fights from them. Amar, he consumed his Aghanims just before. Just full slotted. Pure.
Just the old X mark and push here between the two of them.
Yeah, he blinks past.
Amar
is in.
He's going to get in with the AoE Doom. He's in on top of Pure. He's in a lot of trouble. That's going to be the Aegis gone very quickly the first time round. Maureen's got the control on towards the high ground rounds. He's putting the BKB. He's ready to turn with the boat coming down straight over towards Pure, trying to give us some level of protection, but the stolen boat comes out in return. So the buff's going to be helping out Falcons as well. Pure, he's able to separate from Skeeter.
Another save on Skeeter.
They've just got to try and kite out the Razor, keep their distance off to the side, and Mark continues to play around Ramsey.
Pure's in!
Back in, Foster refresh, he's trying to go for round 2, he's got the Eclipse ready to go, he's in on towards Marion with the damage off the Eclipse. Marion trying to step back, but the cold snap comes through. They're taken out a second, Pure with the double kill. Now they turn back towards Skeeter, and Thompson's surrounded. You get a tornado off, but Thompson's gone for 2 minutes. No buyback available for him. Second round of the boat's coming down on a Skeeter. They're holding him back for now, but no real way to get back in on top of him as Pure backs off. He's a little too low to return to the fight right now.
He almost jumped back in. He had 3 seconds left.
He was tempted.
Because if he gets even one opportunity where there's a stun, I think if he swift blinks in with his ult
so much damage.
Almost everybody will die. Malrine dead for 90, but Thompson also, as it's a kind of like an equivalent exchange. Both offlaners buyback, both mid laners die without buyback. Tons expended again.
A little bit of breathing room for both teams to reset, assess the situation, see what they want to go for next. Of course, next time round, that Aegis won't be there for Pure. Tundra, they are going to be the quicker ones with the smoke up.
Buybacks are going to start coming back up, though. 90 seconds we do see. Till at least one of them. Pure, did he sell something? I'm losing track of all of his items and everything, but he is going for his own refresher. I think he spent his gold.
Yeah, he got rid of his treads, of course, sold those.
Yeah, and he buys a whole refresher orb, so... Alright, I mean, definitely can see the opportunities and the possibilities of these explosive team fights ending fast just because of the blink, refresher, boom combos that they've got.
I mean, which team would you say is at more of a detriment without having their mids at this point?
I have no idea. Honestly, at this point, who knows?
Tundra approaching the base.
It's pretty big that Crit has the boat stolen, and he still has it, though, I will say.
Yeah, I think that buff coming out over his teammates last fight did a lot.
Yeah. So definitely have to keep track of what he's going to be able to get with that Pure. Just constantly trying to force the issue to get these towers and Raxes. 1 minute until 60-minute items.
Okay. See if they get some stacks going at least to accelerate the discovery of those neutrals.
See which ridiculous ones we will be able to get as well too. There are some pretty crazy ones this game. I mean, Mirror Shield can have some pretty absurd effects in this game, I would say.
I think indeed lots of Tundra, Pure in particular, is going to be very much hoping for that one.
Yeah. I think that's probably, I mean, they're all very good, obviously, but I think the Mirror Shield in this game in particular is probably...
It could be game winning.
The thing is, though, also, Amar is dooming himself now, though, so maybe not, because maybe they go for a different route, so we'll see.
That is fair, yeah. Amar did play that pretty smartly last time around, just initiating with the AoE Axe Doom on himself.
Tundra?
No counterplay to that.
Playing around this area, the Midas is picked up for Amar to get that guaranteed neutral.
He's heading in. He's going to have some backup with him. How much they want to try and push for this Falcon? Skeeter's going to get held back. BKB's going to come out from Pure. He's actually jumped straight in over towards Crit, but Crit's able to get out with the Wind Waker.
Pure showed himself.
The Doom gets reflected, though, so Amar's going to have to step out of the fight for now.
Skeeter's on Pure.
Getting in, popped the refresh into these 2 rounds. The Lynx just tearing through Pure.
No buyback.
Pure's out of the game for 2 minutes now. Skeeter with the damage build up. He's ready to go for more turns with the second link over towards Ramses. Ramses getting chased out. We'll be able to keep his distance as he pushes the 2 of them back with the tidal wave. Amar with a refresher, ready to go for round 2. Dropped the Doom down, but the Lotus puts the... dooms himself, of course. He was ready for that Lotus play, Amar. Dooms himself. Again, making so much happen with the AoE Axe. There's 4 dead, 3 of them, they don't have buyback, folks.
Pure spent his gold. He bought the refresher, so he's actually short on gold. Unless having that buy.
The question is how much of Falcon's going to be aware of this?
I don't know if
how heavy are they going to go for the push?
But man, the Doom is on the perfect target. Skeeter just gets the absolute full link. They can't reset the position for Pure this time around.
And he's playing it so heads up, as I say. Just going in with the self-Doom. These Lotuses and Lincolns, they don't matter whatsoever. No. Amar ready to play around them perfectly.
They're going to at least try to force. They might know at least, they know at least like one of them is down. They know that Ramses is gone.
They're trying to find a catch, in the air, but open with the Hex. They're going to try and quickly burst through Crit. They're able to take him down. That's the Razor gone, but it's an immediate buyback from Crit.
Saxa?
Get away from this. Under the cover of the Shadow Realm.
What? No way.
Their time. I mean, surely there's no way. The Rolling Thunder comes in. Saxa's gone, but he does have the luxury of buyback. Just trying to do whatever they can to slow down this push. Give time for the rest of their teammates to respawn on Tundra. As it stands now, is Thompson against the world.
Sun striking the catapult. It doesn't hit. They still have the catapult.
They're
alive for the push.
They're ready to get the tier 3, ready to get the racks and maybe more.
Skater's going in.
They're going to start feeling it soon if Falcons that Tundra just don't have the buybacks. How much can Falcons get? Can they take everything?
30 seconds.
Thompson's going to do his best with the hold.
Definitely blast.
To Skeeter. DJ able to push back the three of them, but Crit's able to get the jump in, tries to get the grab on towards Thompson, but the Linkers is there. He's going in with the airway doom, they're closing the gap into Thompson. Thompson's in trouble, he's trying to get back towards the fountain, but Thompson's gone!
15
out for
seconds.
2 minutes! The tier 4's falling, the fortification's there, 10 seconds until Pure's back up. They're likely to maybe have one more fight in them, Tundra, but it will be without Thompson. The tier 4's, they're gone. They've got to do something soon, Tundra. Falcons.
Pure's TPing in. He's just going to go for it.
Let's see what Pure can do. He's going to go straight over towards Snaking. He's taking out the Oracle. Now turns towards Skeeter, but Skeeter's able to get the link off. Pure wants to refresh a big
goodness!
coming in from Whitemon. Sets up the fight to fall into the hands of Pure. The base, it's been defended. Falcons, they have to get on the retreat. They're not going to get the chance to, though. Pure jumps over. He's got the setup on towards Maori. They're going to be able to take down the Pango as well. Tundra hold.
They've got 4 heroes up, and there's no Doom for 110 seconds, Owen. And, oh my goodness, an amp damage spawns top. Pure. The splitter plus the combo, all the burst. I mean, the splitter, I don't even know how much it actually did, because I think it was mostly Pure just with the aura.
I guess it was
shredding the heroes.
Yeah, 9k damage from the Luna.
Oh my goodness.
Definitely looked very flashy though from Whitemon, getting that angle, getting that connection.
Okay, can they address Pure without the Doom for 80
He's
seconds?
got a rapier.
Can they stole? He's got the rapier.
Oh, amplify damage rapier on the Luna. Your base, it's in a lot of trouble.
Oh, this game is absolutely insane.
It's still just a 1k gold difference.
Just a 1k.
That's a 1k gold difference.
Oh man,
oh,
and we saw how fast those heroes died without a rapier, and now he's got a tier 5 token on top.
So this, at this point, you know, Thompson really doing everything he can to just buy these extra seconds. Sure, he gets taken down at the end of it all, but he does his job.
Absolutely.
He slows them down long enough in this desperate time here for Tundra when they have the 3 heroes that are most important as well. Pure Luna, Deb without buyback, the tier 4's falling, fortification used.
And they make the call to go for this Roche, so they're going to have these extra lives. Pure could even sell items and have buyback afterwards. I think he's got like, maybe 1 or 2 items that he can start getting rid of.
And just good stuff from Pure here. Backs off into the deep part of the fountain, TP's out, immediately finds Snaking, the perfect way to start this action off. And as you see, the damage coming out here between the two of them.
Maureen will be able to reset himself away.
Look at that.
Look at that.
Anyway, what are we doing with these tier 5s? What's coming out?
It is the mirror shield on both sides. Both of the carries were able to get that one. I saw Giant String, I think, for Ramses, and I don't think everybody else has theirs just yet. I know Crit, I think, got mirror, but that was all I saw. This game is absolutely insane. Buybacks, offlaners. Now a lot of people are just actually deficit of gold to have these buybacks soon. But the 2 carries, the 2 most important ones, they do have theirs at the ready.
Radiant are scanning.
That is a big pirate.
Force boots as well, the choice for Thompson, so it's going to be that much more slippery.
Slippery, and he can use it on allies.
I mean, that's the thing.
So they have multiple different force staffs to reset these fights as well.
And that's going to be pretty big, right? If he gets the force boots and Hurricane Pike usage onto someone like Pure, if he's getting focused by Skeeter, he can easily separate and break that static.
Really could, yeah. And now Pure's actually hit level 30, so even more damage. He's got the +1 damage per level. On top of that, giving that to everybody. This game. Still no real tell to who's going to win, even though tier 4s had dropped. And an Arcane Rune now for Pure. That's nice for Whitemon. Searstone, distance that he can play. Extra vision that they can throw in that backline too.
Yeah, that's true. Just being able to throw down the active of that Searstone, giving them the information they need to blink into the high ground on, you know, as we see him from Pure.
And his cast range on this Spirit and Stomp, like, it's going to be pretty massive to scout the backlines, maybe.
Yeah, he's going to have a big splitter as well.
Yeah. Soxa also getting that. The ideal for them is to try to find that backline, snaking, as it's been most of the game.
Well, that's the thing. At this point, do you think you're kind of happy with Pure just blinking in on top of the Oracle if they see a chance to?
If they can, I mean, snaking has not given them that opportunity, really. And he does have Book of Shadows, so another layer of save that snaking also has in this game. The layers are being added.
The mid-range drag's gone.
Pure, X'd, buffed up.
Pure's in, and he's back out. Maori, he's going to go for the Rolling Thunder. Tries to put sort of a catch he can find, but Tundra's able to split. Keep themselves away from this attempt from Maureen.
Whitemon is about to have another Lincoln Sphere, by the way, so...
Just throwing everything onto Pure.
Yep.
They can keep this Lunar alive, get him in on the high ground. They could be moments away from claiming at least the Mega Creeps. That's just the damage and the speed that they take these down. So that's the mid-racks gone. They've just got one more racks to take care of on the top lane.
Probably just going to shift their way up there to be able to claim that. It's kind of putting the onus onto Falcons to come at them. Falcons, he'll show himself.
Okay, he's in with the Doom, does get reflected. This time around, Amar opts to go with the aggressive use of the Doom, and that means that indeed he's been caught out by the Lotus or Pure. Goes straight into the midst of the fight. They're chasing Amar down. Amar trying to split off to the side. They're looking towards snaking. Ramses is in with the control, had the X mark ready.
Amar has no buyback.
The boat's coming in, and indeed Amar out for 100. Crit's gone as well. They could turn it for more. The Rolling Thunder controls Pure for now. Skeeter, though, gets caught by the fear from Zac to push back. He'll buy back. But Amar and Crit, they don't have buyback available. Pure goes straight and aggressive up towards the Fountain as Tundra push on forward. The Aegis has gone, but they've taken so much from Falcons. As Falcons, it's Skeeter against the world. Tundra, they can keep this push going onto the tier 4s. I think they've done it, Fog.
It looks like they have. GG's been called.
GG is called. Tundra, in spectacular fashion, will be moving forward to the main stage here at the Royal Arena, getting the pleasure to play in front of the live audience. And my goodness, the crowd's going to love these guys, Fogged.
That was one of the most absurd games I've ever seen. I think that was crazy. The late game, the early game, the mid game, it delivered on all fronts. Comebacks back and forth. But at the end of the day, Tundra, I mean, Pure in particular, they stalled for him, and he just comes in and deletes heroes. Falcons stunned by that moment.
A crazy game. One of the closest we've had in a while, I feel, right up until that nearing 70-minute mark that it was reaching towards. But wow, what a game, what a series. Tundra, 2-0 here today.
Unreal.
Against Team Falcons, wow.
You can see the release of adrenaline of these players. I feel my heart beating. That was, I think, I mean, I know this is maybe the second or third time we said it, but I think it was the best game of Dota we've had in like a couple of days.
Yeah,
quite a few days.
This is definitely the best one by far. If we go back to Riyadh Masters, lower bracket, the semifinals, these two teams, they did meet. Game 2, Pure playing Morphling, he does not have buyback available. They lose the game, they get eliminated from the tournament. This time around, it looked like it could be the same, you know, not having buyback on Luna. He invested all of his gold into Refresher, but the rest of the team, they're ready to buy some time for him. First of all, Saksa goes in, dies knowing that he has buyback, buys back immediately, and then Thompson, he dies. He buys a couple of 30 good seconds, and then ulti plus Luna ulti with the Refresher, 10,000 damage in a matter of 15 seconds.
But then you have to have the trust, right? Because Pure TP's in by himself. He's at the tier 3. I don't even care about these highlights. I'm going to keep talking about the end of the game. And then, like, Whitemon, right? He's in good position. He throws down the Earth Splitter through the Ancient and then the Spirit on top. So, you know, Pure by himself, no way would he be able to defend it. But with the Amps of the Elder Titan in the final moment, like, you just never give up. That is, like, the ethos of any Dota team, any Dota player. You should never give up in a Dota game. You should always keep trying to win. And Tundra, they had one chance to keep themselves in this game. They needed the Eclipse, they needed the Earth Splitter, they needed the Auras from ET. They got all three, they got the kills, and they kept themselves in the game. Never give up in a Dota 2 game.
And they needed the Dooms out of the game, right? And then when Thompson bought back, and he looked like he just diebacked, he also tanked a Doom so that when Pure did respawn, he had free reign to press his ult and dish out his damage. And the mirror shields, I mean, so Amar gets level 25, which gives him Doom mutes. He gets the Book of Shadows as his tier 5 item, and then he dooms the Luna without seeing Luna has a mirror shield. It gets reflected back to him, and because of that, he can't even Book of Shadows himself because he muted himself. So many mirror shields dropped in this game, and there was one on Razor, there was one on Luna, like there was one on Rubik, and I just, that last Doom where Amar doomed himself, I don't know if he just didn't see the item, or maybe he thought it had procced already from something else, but God, that game was so close. And honestly, well done to all of Tundra, because like you guys said, if they hadn't bought time for Pure to dish out that instant
look at
the
crucial moment.
Just a moment of silence, please. It's going to come soon. Look at the Earth. Just everyone hold.
Oh yeah, that's it. That's the spot. I mean, that's what that Earth Splitter, it hits, and the heroes just immediately disappear.
Because the worst thing is for Falcons in this position, right? Like they see the time is ticking back. They're hitting the Ancient. It's like, guys, if we just like it's like a 10% chance, maybe 20% chance that the spells hit. If we don't, we can just hit this Ancient, right? Like, and also their comms, it's probably just Ancient, right? Like they're probably so excited at the fact that like they could do it. That like on the flip side, you can see here like Tundra, I don't know. This is like everything that I want to see in a Dota game.
But even after that, the game wasn't won. The game was defended at that point. Then it was, you get the tier 5 items, you play for that Roche, and Pure, after having that great base defense with Whitemon, instantly buys the Rapier, right? Instant Rapier purchase into walking to Roche. He even sends back his Hurricane Pike to base to sell the Hurricane Pike to have buyback just in case. And he didn't sell it instantly. He had it in his stash waiting to sell it in case he were to die. And then they had the X mark sieges on the Luna Rapier, right? They would X her, she would blink in. There wasn't really counterplay from Falcons in that aspect, and up until that point, it felt like there was no counterplay from Tundra themselves, right? Because they were getting double doomed, they were getting double run at by Razor with Ping rolling in, but the tier 5 items are such a game changer in Dota, and that mirror shield in the end showed us how.
And I'm really glad that we did not have auras being built this game. There were no Crimson Guard, no pipes from the offlaners. They were building, more for themselves, picking up these Lotus Orbs, picking up the early Orchid as well, and then one raid boss, Pure, as you said, X Mark, double Lotus Orb, Lincoln Sphere as well, thrown on top of him, protecting this one hero to be able to pretty much siege the high ground. This game could have gone either way, but in the end, Tundra, with the better decision making, they take it.
They do take it, and as Effie said, every single one of their players put in their weight. It was pulling their weight. It was a fantastic game to watch. But there can only be one player for the winner's interview, and who else could it be but Topson?
Indeed, Sheeps. I am here with Topson. They just obviously beat Falcons 2-0 in the game of the tournament. We were all going mad up there in the green room. It was pretty breathless stuff eventually, but it was actually quite a slow start to that game, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was kind of like I feel like we were kind of like hunting them in a way, like for the first like 20 minutes. I don't remember exactly when it was that we had like one bad fight, and then the game kind of, we realized that they're pretty strong right now and we want to kind of slow it down, and eventually our lineup just should beat their lineup.
So were you thinking, because I mean, I've got it here, at 30 minutes the score was 7-5, and I thought, wow, we've turned into kind of a farm fest, but you've got an Invoker and a Luna, most importantly, so you must have thought, actually, we're fine with this.
Yeah, definitely. We had like Luna ET, the Luna hero turns out to be very unbalanced, so he kind of outscales almost every hero in the game right now.
So, I mean, I saw your team popping off. Certainly Pure had a very visceral reaction to the win in that game. Do you guys feel like you've created a bit of an upset here, or do you think that you're definitely a match for Falcons?
In a way, yes. Like lately in the officials, we have lost to Falcons, like 2-1 all our officials, and there's only, I think, one time we beat them was Birmingham first round of upper bracket, like here first round of upper bracket, same story. So I think, yeah, we look up to them as one of the best teams, so obviously it's a huge win for us.
Huge win for you indeed. You do continue in the upper bracket, and you'll be facing either Liquid or Cloud9. Now, who would you rather face?
Oh, Liquid or Cloud9? I mean, we would rather face Cloud9, of course. I think we have been beating them consistently. This tournament, we went 1-1 in the group stage, and Liquid is a very strong team. So, I mean, both are strong teams, but we would still rather play Cloud9.
Well, you did beat Falcons, and they're definitely considered strong teams. You might be on something of a run, Topson, but I guess we'll remain to see. I can't wait to see the rest of it. If the games are all like that, I'm going to need a heart transplant. Anyway, back to you, Shiva, and the panel.
Thank you so much, and of course if he wants to face Cloud9 or Liquid, he will first have to make his way through either Nouns or Gaming Gladiators, because that's going to be the opponent, I believe, for Tundra after this, one of the two, because we don't know which team is going to win that match. He says, though, Luna overpowered.
Yeah, no, I agree. Oh, no, we're going to see the bracket.
Oh, there we go. Yeah, Tundra is still waiting for their opponents, Nouns or GAMIN. So, one step at a time,
Yeah, and one step at a time is towards Luna, who is the easily carry of TI at the moment, and it's just very easy to draft. You don't feel bad picking it at any position, really. I could easily see down the line, like, because in like TI Grand Final type stuff, it's like you first pick the best hero. I could easily see Luna even getting shifted to like that level of priority, because, yeah, it just feels good at all points of the game.
Feels good at all points of the game. You know what I thought was going to feel good at all points of the game, Effie? I thought at least, certain points, it would be great to know where the rune spawns. Turns out that's a bait.
Yeah, but I mean, honestly, we see Pure pop up here again, just a great player, and the runes, like you're talking about, Shiver. When you ask yourself who wins in a rune fight or who has more runes in a game, the team with the Oracle or the team without the Oracle. You think to yourself, obviously, the team with the Oracle, but that wasn't the case. Tundra completely outplayed on runes in this entire game. The 6-minute power rune, both supports chased the enemy supports, and they end up taking it, or Topson here gets a double kill instead, which is like very valuable. And then the Luna that we talked about, she comes to the 10-minute power rune, secures it for Tundra, and then at minute 12, Topson just TPs in, kills Oracle at the power rune, gets it for himself. Like, how often do you see a Luna coming in for rune security? Like, Luna comes from the jungle to the 10-minute rune, presses Eclipse, gets the kill here on Doom. They take the rune away from Mallory on the Pango, and then Topson here TPs after a great fight bottom, takes an Arcane rune, kills the Oracle. And when you talk about Oracle teams and Oracle lineups, one of the key strengths of Oracle lineups are getting the power runes, but that just did not exist for Falcons in this game, and that's because Tundra just played so aggressively, they played so well, and they read the map like a book early game.
Yeah, that being said, we still saw the value of the Oracle later on in the game, because Snaking had some great saves.
He definitely did. There was one high ground push where he lacked like 5-10 mana, was unable to get it on Razor. But yeah, of course, great positioning from Oracle. That's what you need to have when you play the hero. A hero that I kind of expected, as I already said, coming into TI, road to TI, that the hero is going to get picked up, because all of these range carries, they keep the distance, so that also means that you can also keep the distance. There aren't that many backline jumpers, there are not these phantom assassins or whatsoever, that the specters that can jump you immediately, try to kill you instantly, and also the removing some of these buffs, the Crimson Guard, the Solars, everything you have, everything you throw on one of the heroes can be removed easily by Oracle.
Yeah, and the runes prediction, well, maybe just don't focus on that bit, because especially when teams are playing well, it might not work in your favor, which was the case this time around. Or maybe that was just because Topson was playing his S-tier hero Invoker Purge.
That's right. I'm so glad we got to hear from Topson after the game, because watching his gameplay in the early game was very interesting. I actually get to dissect the tips that happened through his eyes and his gameplay. So that's what I want to look at here. Topson playing Invoker mid against the Pangolier. It's a matchup that he's very comfortable with. He's been playing a lot of Invoker this tournament because it's so effective. Look at what he's doing here against the Pango. He gets to interrupt the shield crash, nullifying it completely, which is a nice harassment tool. But look at what he does to pressure his opponent. Cold snaps, right-clicking him under tower. This makes Malrine go back to heal, and Topson uses this information when he returns to know that guy just teleported to the mid lane, which means that I can now go crazy dive the bot lane. There's even some hesitation on his part. Look at Ramses and Soxa. They're kind of running away briefly, and then he's like, okay, we're diving this guy. Normally this gets punished. Pango TPs, one person dies in response, and it doesn't feel as good. They even find snaking on the side since Whitemon rotated to get vision. So that's why they got that free double kill, because he forced him back, then the TP comes. He also walks under this ward here for vision briefly, and as a result, he double backs basically, hangs around longer, and now what he's going to do is dive. He's not necessarily fully committing, but he's putting pressure on Skeeter again. He tornadoes when things are going bad enough, and this is now the second time that Malrine has TP'd because of what he's done. So I'm just going to add some counters over there. And then he just TP's out. So Malrine is now TP'd to the safe lane after not being able to TP earlier to a fight and accomplish nothing out of it. Here's that 10-minute rune fight that the Luna rotated over. They end up killing the Doombringer, and immediately after they take the mid tower. Then he smokes, he runs bottom, they take the safe lane tower. He's gonna go find Skeeter in the jungle. We're 11 minutes in now, again pressuring him. Skeeter's gonna dodge the ET ulti, but after spotting the Doom and the Pango on the right, he again TP's out, barely avoiding death. And the craziest thing is that he didn't just go back to Fountain. He's like, I'm gonna TP the tier 2 because no one's TP'd there. It's gonna be fast, and then I'm gonna run over and get the rune. He was just bottom, almost dying to 3 heroes, and he turned it into a kill while stealing the arcane rune. It was wild how efficient his first 12 minutes was and how many teleport scrolls he wasted. He basically nullified a lot of Malrine's early game. It was super impressive, and that's part of the reason they got ahead.
And I think that every tip that Pure could give was given to Topson in the first 12 minutes?
And he was tipping Malrine constantly, like, haha, I wasted your TP.
Yeah, well, he
haha, I
also
wasted your
tipped
TP.
Topson and like, well done, buddy.
Yeah, and his voice lines too. There are some good ones in there, yeah.
Awesome, thank you so much, First. I mean, this was a fantastic series, of course, a 2-0 for Tundra. We will bring up this series, and more particular this game, probably a lot, but I also want to look on the flip side, because Falcons losing this series, I think at this point, if anybody's bracket is still intact, with Spirit getting knocked to lower bracket and Falcons being knocked to the lower bracket, my hat's off. Like, please, let me know if there's anybody out there, because at this point, Effie, the script's gone.
There is death and destruction waiting in that lower bracket. That lower bracket looks horrific, but at the same time, lower bracket Dota is where we get some of the most exciting games, and you can really see the desperation and the hunger of teams in that game. And you know what? Upsets happen, teams get knocked down, but if you're in the lower bracket, it's because you sent yourself there. So it's going to be make or break for a lot of teams. Teams like Falcons that are typically very dominant and don't find themselves in that situation very often. How will they do?
I mean, Europe looks like they own the upper bracket, and then rest of the world is now lower bracket. So I think for the
Falcons get counted with Europe, so you know.
Yeah, there's a sprinkling of Europe down there, but you know, let's see if Nouns can do it and not allow top 4 of the top 6 to be only EU.
Yeah, that would actually, yes.
Yeah.
I really, okay, I'm not biased, obviously.
But
you know what actually I was thinking about, Lacoste?
What?
Imagine being in an arena in Europe, doesn't matter, where everybody unironically is cheering USA.
Oh, that's gonna happen, yeah.
I feel like we haven't had that in a while, other than maybe some unironic or like actual ironical cheers, because people just like cheering it.
How are they gonna cheer USA if there's gonna be 6 teams from EU possibly?
No!
I know, but they still have to beat Gaming Gladiators and everything. They're still
I have
ahead of
hope.
them.
We're gonna find out, can they beat Gaming Gladiator? Can Nouns continue their Cinderella run? That's gonna be our upcoming series, our last upper bracket series of the day. And before we head to that, we're gonna hear some words from Gaming Gladiators Quinn, who's sitting down with Nomad.
Last year's runners-up GAMIN Gladiators return to the International, but can they do it this time around? I'm joined by Quinn to find that out. Quinn, obviously, welcome back again to the International. How are you doing? How are you finding Copenhagen?
It's nice so far. We were, it's nice to be at a boot camp and at actual TI. It's always a privilege to get to go and compete. So I'm grateful.
And how are you feeling about the game at the moment? How are you feeling about the meta in the mid lane and everything?
The meta in general is maybe a bit annoying. I think there's maybe a bit too much broken stuff. A lot of first phase bans are a bit locked. It is okay. It's okay, I think. I don't think it's like there's some heroes I wish they were there, but that aren't. But it's not so bad. It's okay.
So which heroes do you want to be playing at the moment?
I mean, I would love to play Void Spirit every game, but that hero's not very good right now, unfortunately.
Yeah, you've got like the most competitive games on Void Spirit still. Yeah, you love that hero. What is it about the hero which you find so enjoyable?
I don't know. I just think his movement and his the way you cast the spells just feels very good. I think it's very intuitive and just clicks.
But instead you're just locked into playing Pangolier still, even though they've nerfed it like 5 times.
Yeah, we'll see about this tournament. They may have pushed him over the edge.
You actually think they might have done it finally?
They might have. We'll see.
All right, we'll see. So throughout this year or last year, when you're on that dominant streak, were you ever able to look at yourself as a player and say I am the best mid laner at the moment. I am the GOAT. Did you ever have that moment?
Certainly not the GOAT. Not even close. I think there were points during the past couple of years where I was very good. I think calling yourself the best at any point is just ill-advised. At least maybe it works for some people and they need to think that way. But for me, I think whenever you start getting complacent, there's just a lot of good players now. People will catch you up and catch up to you and pass you up very, very quickly. And I think it's just I don't know, playing Dota competitively is already a very ego-filled thing. I don't think you need to artificially put more ego into it, calling yourself the best or whatever. You play, and if you win, cool. And if you lost, then you suck, and that's how it works.
Yeah. Well, what about your teammates or coaches or anything? Were they ever I think you're the best at the moment? You were just no, or is that not the kind of conversations you're having?
I think maybe you can feel if people think you're really good or something right now, but most people, at least on this team, just tend to stray away from ego padding that much. Good jobs here and there are not forbidden, of course, but there's something that feels like crossing a line whenever you it gets too flagrant and self-indulgent, and I think that is somewhat dangerous.
So do you think that's why you're able to come back? We've seen teams in the past have very dominant sprees, and then they fall off and we don't really hear much from them again. But you guys, you had a really dominant spree last year. The start of the year was a little bit quieter, but then you've come back and you took the win at EWC. I mean, do you think part of your attitude towards the game is why you're able to do that?
Yeah, I think that is part of it. I think the fall off was a lot due to the things that make every team fall off. I think people just get complacent, and I think fighting that complacency in every way you can, and like continuing to have the fire and to look for the different ways in which you're trying to be the best is like that is the hard part of staying winning, because everyone is trying to beat you and everyone else is trying really hard because they don't have that complacency factor from winning. So it's always like a fight against that. And so I think anything you can do to push back against that will help with longevity.
So last year, obviously, you got so close to that Aegis. Team Spirit stood in your way. Now you've had the chance to kind of really look back. What do you feel like about those grand finals? Are you like happy that you went so deep at the international, or are you still like a little bit sad that you couldn't make it all the way? I mean,
it was definitely a privilege to play in a TI final, and I think I'll always appreciate that. Obviously, not happy with the result, and the tournament is tarnished because of the ending for sure. I want them to not win more than anything this year. I would, obviously I also really want to win, but beating them is like mandatory.
Mandatory, I love that. All right, Quinn, thank you so much for going to talk to us, and best of luck on your TI journey this year.
Thanks.
To beat the defending champions this time round, you don't need to make it to the grand finals. You can just drop down to the lower bracket. You'll find them eventually, because that is where Team Spirit is right now. GAMIN Gladiators, they started their road in the upper bracket together with Nouns, and both of those teams will go head-to-head in our upcoming series. And a week ago, everybody would have thought that would have been easy for GAMIN, but we're at the road to the International 2024, and nothing is certainty, because I feel like we can have anything can happen. It sounds so stereotypical, but we've seen it.
We have, and I would love to jump on board, but I've seen this storyline before. With last year, Nouns, they beat the reigning champion. They get to upper bracket, they lose. They see GAMIN, they get eliminated. So as much as I want to jump on board, Nouns have to overcome their demons. Like, GAMIN Gladiators are their TI demon. Like the beauty of TI, if they beat GAMIN, that's when it begins. But this is their hardest challenge. Overcome last year's, hurdle, the mountain that knocked them out.
Wow.
Sorry to bring it down a bit.
Yeah, you brought it down quite a bit.
But it's just honest.
Let's continue on the high note, because GAMIN Gladiators this year has had fantastic results. Of course, ending first at Re-Up Masters, one of the most recent results. But if we look towards Nouns, they are the ultimate underdog, Lacoste. Can we set them up for success?
I think they can, especially if they draft like they drafted against Team Spirit. We also heard Silent talking about giving them away too much, then giving them away the same thing for the second game. First of all, I don't think they're gonna get like the hands on Luna, which seems to be the most successful hero of the tournament when it comes down from the carry role, which has over 80% win rate, 81.25, which is insane. And also Pure did break a record in the previous game when it comes down to overall between all games here played at the road to the International in terms of the damage dealt by heroes. So this hero, I think priority is gonna shift, and Yuma, he showed that he can play some like mean Luna and mean carry.
Yeah, I'm with Lacoste on that. I think that their Luna was a shock to everybody, and between yesterday and today, Luna is on every team's radar as the hero that 2-0'd Team Spirit and sent them to lower bracket, basically. But not only that, it was also the Sand King that they opened with, that they looked excellent on. I mean, before the Sand King opener that was given away to them twice yesterday, they were, running some crazy things like offlane Tusk and what have you, and that didn't look too good. But the two heroes on every team's radar versus now should be Sand King and Luna, and I doubt that GAMIN will give it away this time.
Yeah, we should zoom in a little bit more on Yuma T, because this is a player that maybe a lot of people watching are not too familiar with yet.
Yeah, he has had some stints on teams that you might be aware of, like Nigma Galaxy, for example, but I think as a carry player, he's always willing to go aggressive in lane, farm, but be ready to fight. Some carry players, they always suffer from, I can only farm, I need certain timings to then hit my kind of bigger engagements, but I think Yuma does have that balance that if the team is doing well, he's ready to step up and kind of, overwhelm his opponent. We saw that in the previous series. When you have Mars and a Sand King and a Luna, the Luna isn't afraid to join his team. So I think for Nouns today, they need to make sure that they have that kind of layering to bring it together.
Yeah, I know, team. I know this was not G2IG that is now on your screen. It's because Gaming Gladiators is the team that is on your screen because they are the ones playing. Slight errors. It's human. It happens to everyone. And hopefully it won't happen to the guys on your screen as they are about to play for top 6 at this international Nouns versus Gaming Gladiators. Draft is on and we got ourselves Nouns on the Radiant side, Gaming Gladiators on the Dire side. And the first round of bans is almost completely done already. One thing that is different from when we saw Gaming Gladiators play yesterday they did not get a single chance to play the Spider Lacoste this time, not banned. Is it first pick material at all?
I wouldn't say so. I think the meta has changed quite a bit. Lone Druid is the interesting one for them, knowing that I said it already when I was doing research, they played across 3 different roles, and I don't think GAMIN are going to get the hands on this hero throughout the tournament. It gives them speed. We showed that GAMIN are not afraid to play some of these tempo drafts, even not having security. Some of the games that they lost so far in the tournament were when they didn't have anything to punch back post like 40-45 minutes.
Yeah, and Sand King gets...
Okay, never mind.
I guess we got our answer. Sorry.
I was going to say Sand King gets taken up by GG, which was the successful first pick that Nouns had yesterday. They put some respect on it, and Brood coming out instantly. I didn't think this would be a first pick too. I thought it would come out in the second phase, a little bit sneakier, but maybe seeing the Doom itself is enough. You know that they don't have an offlaner on the side of Nouns that's going to be able to deal with Brood once she hits level 6. Scorched Earth is not a consistent enough tool to kill the spiders, so usually when you're playing against Brood matchups, your offlaner or your mid laner ends up going to the Brood lane, and the lane shifts around, and people play, whack-a-mole with Brood, and that's not going to happen so far with the Doom.
Also helps when your offlaner has a blink to find the Brood. Like in laning phase, you want to pressure her, and then when you enter your early game smokes, if you have an offlaner or a core that can join the supports, find the Brood, get a couple kills, you really just set her back. But with the Doom pickup, game's like, wait a second, now one of the cores will never find me as a hero. So now you're going to drag potentially the carry or the mid to make these moves. So I think, yeah, it's perfectly fine to pick it in this position. That is why we aren't seeing crazy success from first phase Doom. Again, like what, 7-8 losses now, multiple times
it was 8 losses over the last 2 days, and then Liquid was the only one that won with it this morning, and we saw losses ever since.
So it's just, yeah, it's struggling a lot, but it really is the fact that as an offlaner, you don't pressure as much in laning phase, you don't play quickly on the map, you don't smoke gank very efficiently, you can get a blink, but you need others to make yourself feel good. It really is like there's a lot of things that need to go right for this hero, and Brood, of course, will now slowly pick that apart.
But they're also going to be making a very big statement here on GAMIN if they first pick this Brood, or, I mean, 9th pick. If they pick it and they win with it, then they, as a team, have an entirely different set of first bans than any other team, which gives them access to so much more of the meta heroes, because which other team is getting Chen and Lone Druid banned against them, and Brood? And they did play Brood once already this tournament versus Heroic, but it came out in their last phase. This time, they didn't win with it in first phase, so this win here will set a huge precedent. If they get the win, of course.
If they get the win. They have answered with Snapfire on Gaming Gladiators, and I wonder, Nouns, they did their homework, they did their prep, they saw first phase bans with Brood against it. I would imagine that GAMIN has maybe tried this also in scrims, so I would imagine Nouns has a plan. They planned for this.
They better have the plan.
Yeah, they are in upper bracket. Yeah.
There was an issue with Mirana against the Broodmother a couple of months back with the shard. Once you pick up that shard on Mirana, you leap in, Star Storm, the extra damage, because you kill all the spiders, all extra damage that would be dealt is dealt to the target that is close to it, which would be the Broodmother. The Mama would die immediately because all that extra damage is like a gazillion damage. Apparently that has been fixed. I haven't seen it recently.
Hopefully it hasn't. I want to see it just...
You want to see Broodmother just dying?
Yeah, for the memes, yeah.
So Nouns are in a position where they have their Treant, and yesterday they were running this Treant plus Luna lane to great success. So GAMIN either block pick it here, or they just give it away. And they think that they can out-tempo the Luna that they've left in the draft with their Broodmother.
Yeah, GAMIN with the Brood need to decide what type of Brood game are they going to create. Are they creating the Orchid Rush Broodmother that you play behind, occupy the enemy jungle, keep finding kills? Is it a Brood that, you know, takes an early tower, but then goes back for multiple auras to play kind of defensively, but still kind of rallying the team. There's some options, but again, the upcoming picks will dictate that. Because when you look at Noun's lineup, it kind of emulates what they did against Spirit, where as the game progresses, they slowly just become harder to run into. Like the Solar Flare scaling of the Mirana, the scaling of Doom, the Overgrowth turnaround. And
they didn't block pick the Luna, they just want to run. They want to run it
kind of counter-picked it, right? Yeah. They all tried to.
They just want to run at them completely. So they have this Io Razor, which is going to be a very strong lane versus Doom. They're going to have the global potential. Brood, who kind of blows the map wide open and creates opportunities for relocates, is always going to be active in that sense. And now Nouns are in a position where if they do pick Luna, they're playing a much slower game because they have this Doom from the offlane who needs farm. They have Luna who needs 20 minutes, who isn't going to have it because she's not going to have access to the enemy side of the map.
You need some kind of a catch. It looks to be like a free puck game for Nouns if they want to pick it up, because there is no lockdown. Something similar happened with Gaming Gladiators when they played against Extreme Gaming. That's the game that they lost. They were on the clock once again with the lineup. They had Io, they had Razor, they had the Lone Druid, and also not enough stuns. So Extreme Gaming, they did push it post 35 minutes and managed to close it out. So Gaming Gladiators from the mid lane, they need, like, this Razor is a flex pick, most likely, I would say 95% is going to be paired up with Io in the safe lane, because you're playing against Doom, and that's a difficult lane for him. So they need something that can catch the Storm. And now seeing that Nouns picked up the Storm for themselves, they will ban the puck, most likely, and something that can cause the issues for the Storm Spirit, because right now there is basically zero lockdown for GAMIN.
Yeah, I was liking the idea for like Quap or Storm for Nouns. I like the idea of just a hero that has a little bit more explosive, able to make those moves. Storm could go for early Orchid, and anyone who just finds or jumps on top of Razor or Brood and has additional damage to throw into. Sure, there's an IO, but it is just really nice to lay into Nouns lineup.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great hero for also just being able to rotate early on the Brood, potentially slowing down her timings, rotate early on the IO, potentially slowing down his timings. But the thing about Storm is he doesn't like to play into 5-man lineups or lineups that group up really early, because he does need to farm up a couple of items, and often he will play for picks with his team or smokes. And if GAMIN hit their stride really early, around 20 minutes, and ball up, they might not even be in a position where they have to stun the Storm, because Storm is not active yet. He's not activated as a hero. If they counterpick him on lane, they should be fine too.
Let's see what they end up banning on the side of GAMIN. I wonder if they're still... For now, this is going to be their first Mirana played this week. And we know that Lilith can play it. I assume Yuma can play it as well. Seems like any carry player worth their salt should be able to play it. Do we have preference? Because they could still pick up the Luna, obviously, it would be too slow.
I like a carry. Yeah.
You'd like Mirana as
You
the
can
carry?
leap away from static link, you have Starfall for a little bit of like kind of laning threat. Yeah, it's like, it just sets you up pretty well. Of course, Deflect exists, they're still banning out carries from gaming, but these are carries that also still do the same thing that a Mirana carry can do. You know, you can waveform out of the static link, you can do that, and GAMIN have ultimate last pick, so...
Yeah. Carries that they removed, though, with the Weaver and the... Well, Weaver can be both, I guess, and the Morphling.
I'm still looking for a hero for GAMIN. I think Lashrak could also be maybe the answer from the mid lane. Buys into Yule Scepter. This hero has not seen much of a play, considering that we see Pipe pretty much every single game. Queen of Pain is still a viable option where you can like build into Orchid, you can put some pressure onto Storm Spirit, but... what else is there? There is Dragonite available if they want to run that one. And
no longer available.
They could do... I mean, they have last pick for gaming, but like, if you want to go ultra push annoyance, you can go for like a Shadow Fiend from mid lane just to raise and make Storm have to hit jungle early. There's like a Monkey King for map play. Nouns finished their draft again with quite a stable 4 hero. Hoodwink to now enable Doom, and then as expected, the Mirana and the trio together. A very clean looking lineup that if they aren't choked out of the map in the first like 15 minutes, they will naturally scale into a very competitive game. But that's where it's on Quinn now. Like, what does he want to do? Does he want to shut down the Storm in lane and bring kind of fight, or does he want to be a playmaker that he goes even, but he provides opportunities on the map?
If they had some more lockdown, I would say they could pick hero from the mid lane that everybody has been practicing. That's Ricky, but since they don't have any kind of lockdown, they only have slows.
Bring back the Ember, maybe? Oh, okay, there you go, Invoker.
And you were talking about which route he's going to take. I think Invoker doesn't shut down Storm on lane, but he does play make, he does provide disable, does give CC, and it's extra map play with the Broodmother.
And C.
He provides CC and C.
Yes, CC and C, naturally. But there is going to be a lot of map play with the Ghostwalked Invoker playing QW, looking for picks across the map, and like he could even build Orchid on this Invoker, and that's the solution to the Storm. So this does tick a lot of boxes. It doesn't tick them fantastically, but it does what it needs to do for GAMIN.
It seems like both teams have got a pretty well-rounded draft.
Yeah, lacking a little bit
stable.
of control for GAMIN, but this
Sure, but
Invoker,
they make up for it in speed.
That's for sure. And we also seen Invoker plus, in the previous series, how much you can increase the damage on your carry. Now you have Io as well, Broodmother, most likely in this game with auras, considering the magic damage that they have, coming out from Storm, coming out from Mirana early on with that Gleipnir as well. Kind of hard to say, but Nouns, they cooked another good draft for themselves.
I like the fact that for Nouns at least, they have a lineup that if they can just survive, the game becomes very competitive. And for GAMIN, it's like they always seem to have a draft where it's like, if you haven't crushed the map in 25, you can see vulnerabilities slowly forming, right? Like the lack of lockdown, the fact that Razor is going to scale to be independent, Brood's relatively independent, like there's no kind of glue to their lineup outside of pacing. So again, like the later the game goes, it's more exciting for Nouns. So if you're a Nouns fan, you want the time to tick over. You don't want the game to be, crush all lanes and lose your map.
I actually think GAMIN's draft doesn't, like those flaws do exist, but the scaling is there with the Razor. He's going to buy a BKB refresher later, and I think that their tempo is a problem, and Nouns might not be able to play into it, so I favor GAMIN.
I know another person who I think will prefer Gaming Gladiators draft. It is none other than Coach CY, who Pyrian is talking to right now.
Indeed, Chiefs. I am here with CY of Gaming Gladiators. You're up against Fly. Is that why you picked the Spider?
Of course.
No other thought behind it?
Nope.
Perfect. Talk me through your draft. What can we expect? The analysts were saying they think you're going to out-tempo the other team. Is that the sort of thing you're thinking?
Yeah, I think generally you also like to do that kind of stuff, and I think we have a really strong safe lane. I think we have Brood, which is very a nice pick for us, and I think it's also a very high tempo hero when you play it well. And I think there might be good windows to run them over, so we'll see if we make use of them, and if we do, it could be quick. If not, it could be a longer game, so we'll just see how it goes.
Fair enough. We've seen a few sort of upsets already at the tournament. Obviously, GAMIN, one of the stronger teams, perhaps Nouns less fancied. Is that something you guys have talked about? Like, guys, we got to avoid an upset here, and how do you sort of mentally cope with that kind of pressure?
Don't really think too much about it. We watch the games, obviously it's always kind of funny, unless it's yourself, when there's upsets and stuff. We know Nouns as a team. I don't think they changed much as a team, the whole dynamic and stuff. We know what they like, and they still kind of do that thing. I think it's good for them that they went away from the Tusk offlane, and that's probably why things are going a bit better, I think.
So, how confident are you in the draft? Are you happy you got everything you wanted?
I'm very confident. I'm very happy with our draft, yeah.
Okay, cool. Well, let's see how it plays out as we go into game number 1 of this series. And I actually did a little bit of research. I came up with the names of some famous clowns. I've got Bozo, Krusty, Pennywise, and Sunsfan and Cinderin. Lads, over to you.
Good one, Pyrian. Suns fan here with Cinderman. I mean, we are clowns, so I take that as a compliment. Krusty is a very historic clown as well, so just being in that same company, nothing but compliments here. But enough about us, of course. Nouns versus Gaming Gladiators, Cinder. And NA versus NA, because Quinn is on Gaming Gladiators. What are your thoughts on this match?
Yeah, that's good news. The NA fans will have a winner in this series no matter what happens. Yeah. Well, my thought about this series, this was a series I was very interested to see the draft for, because we saw Nouns against Spirit effectively winning with more or less the same strategy 2 games in a row, and Spirit failed to counter it in the second game and make adjustments. And I said going into this one, I feel like GAMIN have watched that, they know what they're up against, and they're not going to let the same thing happen. Already here in game number 1, this is a totally different Noun strategy than what we saw them run against Spirit. So we'll see if they can still put up a similar performance. However, for GAMIN, this is their bread and butter. They got Brood, they got Io, and they also got Dyrachyo on a very fast carry playing with that IO. So it's very standard for them. If you want to single out one hero that maybe is their least played in this, it might be the Quinn Invoker, which he's still very comfortable on, but he just has, another set of heroes that he's more famous for.
Yep, I mean, when you win that many tournaments, you just got to add more heroes to your pool, and Quinn certainly does not have a puddle, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, and this hero was also, matter of fact, first picked in the last series, right? So it's definitely, it seems to be a patch where Invoker might just be really good. We saw Topson playing it with great success just now against Falcons, and if you get it this late in the draft, maybe it'll be even better. The hero to watch, though, as much as we love talking about Invoker, will of course be Broodmother. This hero, it's a really special, it's like an X factor if you're a team that has more or less 2 bans that other teams ban against you and you only, right? GAMIN Gladiators is the only team that other teams are first phase banning Lone Druid and Broodmother against. And this time Nouns are like, enough. We can't ban both of these heroes just like all the other teams. We have to face one of them. And GAMIN Gladiators will just grab that Brood first pick. And now the question is, since this hero is so special in the way it influences the game and the flow of the map, are Nouns prepared for what's coming their way in 10 minutes?
I would hope so, if they let it go through the first round. But I agree. I mean, at a certain point, you do have to stand your ground. We've seen it so many times throughout TI where these teams have specialty picks. I mean, first one that comes to mind is the old EG, TI5, Techies, and Naga. The AUI special. The fact that you had to ban those heroes that nobody else was playing, especially Techies. I mean, it feels like it's a recipe for success, but we'll see here how deep that pool does go.
Yeah, and the thing that's a little bit surprising is that there are plenty of players in this tournament that are good at Brood. They're just not playing.
Yeah.
So is this just because GAMIN Gladiators are exceptional with it and have a specific strategy that other teams can't replicate, or are they perhaps slightly overrating it? They have won a game with it, but you know, we'll see if it's justifiable to take it absolutely first. In my mind, Ace is the single best offlane Broodmother player in the world if you had to name one. So that's a good start. But this hero also saw some play in the carry role, but I guess the change to the Bloodthorn for Brood in particular really nerfed that build hard. And maybe the Auras is just the, at a pro level, more or less only way to play it right now.
To be fair, that build was very powerful.
Yeah, I mean, it was just flat out stupid.
If Broodmother can insta-give somebody, yeah, too powerful, I think. Good changes overall is Gunnar. I get static linked here by Duraccio, but we'll be safe. This is the power of Razor against any melee hero in lane. Any static link will just be a bunch of free last hits and denies. Meanwhile, mid lane, talked about the Invoker versus Storm Spirit matchup.
Poppy's doing great so far.
Yeah, against the 10 and 5 on Quinn. He's going to get a couple more onto the tower, though.
I guess in nature, this matchup has changed quite a bit since Static Slide has become a thing, because in the past, whenever Storm wanted to go in and Remnant the wave, he would always get Tornado EMP'd, and now maybe you have some situations where you can perhaps dodge it and still get the last hits with the Remnant. So that's potentially quite a big change for this matchup. Correct me if I'm wrong, by the way, how much Quas Wex has been, how much has that been prioritized over Quas Exort? Because I feel like we've seen a good chunk of people playing, I mean, they all play Elitist, right? But it has been a little bit more in the Exort direction most of the games, I want to say. Obviously, the carry Invokers have been a no-brainer, but which I think was actually only one game. But yeah, curious to see how Quinn goes without this. Does he go full on Quas Wex?
Gonna get arrowed and taken out. Yuma with the first blood. That is, I mean, we've been talking to death how important this Brood hero is for GAMIN Gladiators lineup. And Nouns shutting it down early. Very good kill. I mean, his CS is really good on Ace to start things off. We'll see how much of an impact that has going forward.
Yep. This is, okay, maybe calling it the dream start is a little bit of an exaggeration, but I think killing Brood is one of the best things that could have happened to them this early on.
Another arrow. Fly gonna stand his ground with that Leech Seed. Yep. Doesn't need trees to plant that with that facet.
Of course, Broodmother, who used to have quite the weakness in the first few levels. You can overcome that by purchasing Bracer. Great item. So he will get a couple of those. Yeah, so to just elaborate on the Quinn thing, obviously in the past when you played Quas Wex Invoker mid, a lot of the time you would see Invokers go 4 Quas and then max Wex, and maybe get 1 value point in Exort. I'm curious to see here if that is his approach as well, or if he will go something like the hybrid 4-4-4 build, so you start dealing some more damage and giving the Sunstrike potential. Not the best combinations, I suppose, for it. But I wonder if it's just a valid concern that you fall a little bit short in the damage department if you go full-on Wex. With the heroes you're up against, can you actually get through that Doom? Can you get through the Storm before he zips away?
Right.
Naturally, relatively elusive lineup on the Radiant side.
I mean, this kind of segues into the next conversation. How fast are GAMIN going to be looking to play? Because we talk time and time again how fast they play in general, but with this specific lineup, as you're going to hold your horses here, Cinder and Fly comes in
nice rotation
from the gate, gets off a Leech Seed on Dyrachyo, but nothing else will connect here, so...
Okay, maybe not so nice rotation, but it was a rotation. Now he's going to run into them.
Okay.
And TP.
Yep.
Nice TP. Rotation.
Going to go through the gate as well, so now that's going to be orchestrated. They will be communicating
this is
the bottom lane.
This is not an obvious play that they double gate minute 6. There's the waves are clashing top, so they're sacrificing experience. This kill better work out for them.
He only has, okay, another leap's coming up.
He can just TP, right? They don't have anything to stop him.
Yeah, he could.
But they're not even going to do... Okay, this was a very weird rotation, honestly.
Especially since they were spotted.
Yeah,
they might just abort that.
I think if you're Nouns, you're very happy with that. They just lost a full wave top. Gunnar is free farming on his Doom. That was not successful. That cost them, what's that, 40 seconds of nothing?
Copy's not level 6 yet. Gonna get ganked here a bit as Scatterblast does connect, but they're not gonna go any further. As Fly putting this to a stop, Tofu has to cookie to the low ground. Yeah, but Yuma, level disadvantage right now in that bot lane, despite getting that first blood.
That is true. That is a valid concern here. What are you going to do when Brood hits 6? That's always what it's about. How do you solve the Spiderlings? Treant is pretty damn bad at it. I think Mirana, I want to see it, how well it does with the Starstorm, how well that solves the problem. Historically speaking, Mirana cannot handle Brood on her own. But, you know, things change in this game over time, and perhaps with the Arcane Boots build-up that we see now, you have enough mana to just effectively spam them every time you see them, and maybe that can cover it somewhat decently.
Should mention, I mean, I think most players have been taking this, but Ace's facet on the Brood, Necrotic Webs, is the negative health regen.
Yep.
So in the lane, as long as she's in the lane connected to the spider webs, she will get that applied to the enemies. So in the laning stage, that's, I would assume, to be pretty powerful.
Yeah. Because it cuts down all regen, right? So also healing gained from Leech Seed as well as Living Armor.
I was going to ask you that. It specifically says health regen, so I don't know. I feel like it would say health reduction.
Yeah,
gank here.
It might just only be... So I would assume it reduces Living Armor.
Yuma going to leap to the other side. Tofu is going to be in the vicinity. Catches Fly out. There's the Leech Seed. Didn't really talk about the Leech Seed can be used to block, actually. That's pretty cool.
But it is
another
classic.
attempted gank, though, that is completely shut down.
They shut down the gank, but the pressure is on, right? The Gaming Gladiators lanes are going very well right now. They're up 1,000 gold without having a kill, so this is just raw lane advantage, and Ace is starting to build a house. So they kind of need to try to... I want to say, to put it simply, there's two solutions to Brood. One is that you fight Brood head-on in the lane and prevent her from taking over the area. The other one is, all right, we don't have the solutions, kill the rest of the map and just accept defeat in that one lane. The worst thing that can happen is that you keep sending resources and fail, because then you lose an economy. So the moves need to be, efficient. Whether they succeed or not, it needs to be quick so that you can move on and do something else. And it seems right now the mindset of Nouns is we're just abandoning the lane. Like, you can see both Mirana and Treant are off to something else. Unfortunately, Fly will find a very painful death.
Yep.
Quick one, though.
Cold Snap with all these little spiders surrounding him. Easy kill
He almost got a spell off. Almost.
And that's, in fact, GAMIN's first kill of the game.
Yep.
Despite having a 2k lead, you can just tell they're just getting more out of the map right now in the early stage.
And you asked me about the timing of the GAMIN lineup.
Yep.
It's starting now. It's that fast. That's Brood is having a good game. Invoker is free to roam as Quaswex. The map can fall apart within the next 5 minutes. So honestly, if Nouns want to have a hope of making this a competitive game, they have to, now that they've lost their mid tower as well.
Yeah.
2 towers down minute 10 against Brood Invoker, they have to find successful moves. If they sit back and try to wait it out and farm, I think they're just going to get crushed.
Yeah,
like, really run over.
Gunnar is smoked, wants to use this first Doom of the game. We should mention this hero has a horrific win rate right now. See if they can break the curse.
Yeah.
Ace going to be spotted. Copy gets a very long range electric vortex arrow, not going to hit for Yuma, so Ace likely would just be able to run away. But there's the first Doom. Quinn actually just runs into them, but now the link up by Stellar going to get some health regen. Well, it doesn't regen at all because of Doom, in fact. And that'll lead to his eventual death, and Stellar will be able to get out just in time with the relocate.
It's one kill, but it's important. It's just, you know, stem the bleeding is the motto right now for the side of Nouns, and it will be for a while. So while that might not have been the greatest with the arrow failing on the Brood connection, at the very least they bring numbers, they get a core kill, and they slow things down a little bit.
Yeah.
And yeah, the way to slow things down is, ironically, by playing fast. Farming and trying to push out waves, I do not think is the recommended approach, so that was good. And the good news for Nouns is their supports are approaching level 6. So currently they are a little bit out-leveled. Celery's 6.5, Tofu is 5.5. But once the Hoodwink and Treant get 6s, something could happen. Celery, though.
Celery, yeah, he's already low to begin with. That's going to be an easy cleanup. Dyrachyo left to his own devices as Yuma comes in from the north. Great coordination
Very good
from
rotations.
Nouns, collapsing from every direction. They get 2 kills. And we'll see if they can push a little bit here as well. I wanted to discuss the Doom a little bit. We talked about this off camera, but it feels like nobody can win with this hero unless it's against China.
Only Liquid.
Yeah, and what's up with this hero? Because even that last series, Amar played unbelievable on the Doom. It just is never enough, it seems.
I mean, we were talking about how if it was the old Doom, they would have won that series.
Old Doom meaning
the one where you can't use items when you're doomed. I feel like they would have just absolutely crushed some of the fights. But that's the thing. If people know how to play against Doom and itemize correctly, a lot of the time you can kind of create distance when you get Doom, and it's about, you know, against this hero, it's about surviving Doom. After that, the hero honestly kind of sucks in late game. Even if you itemize and you get very rich, Doom is still the brunt of the hero. So as players have got better at itemization and have more options of kiting as well on the doomed hero, they're just doing a better job at dealing with that. And on top of that, some of Doom's losses, we're talking about the late game perspective, some of Doom's losses, his early game just hasn't gone particularly well either. And this hero does not play well from behind. So there's like multiple boxes that need to be ticked. And if all of those are ticked, you're not even in a guaranteed strong position. So I don't know. It feels to me like the hero might just be slightly overrated based on win rate.
I mean, at what point do the players look at the win rate and say, okay, surely this just isn't a pick anymore? I mean, I don't have the stats offhand right here, but I think it's like 1 in 9 or something during this stage.
Sounds about right. Yeah, probably 10%.
It's real bad. How much of a sample size do you need? Is Quinn going to be caught? Okay, Tornado. We'll keep him safe.
I think the thing to think about is not only the win rate, but it's also when you watch Doom's games, how does it lose?
Is it his fault?
It's like, how does the hero lose? Because it's one thing to have a bad win rate, but, you know, if you're, if the lineup is built around him in an incorrect fashion, or you're making the wrong idea of how to utilize the hero, it might, I mean, the hero is not a 10% hero, okay? There's no hero that's that bad. So, I personally think a big part of his issues is that he gets first picked. I think this hero would do so much better as a second phase choice when you have a little bit more information and maybe you get to ban out specific counters or you get a little bit more of a read of the flow of the game. I don't know, that's just my 2 cents, but we'll see. It's sometimes heroes that don't do too well in the beginning ultimately get really, really good later on when people make, you know, slight adjustments to item builds or timings or movements where you really enable the hero better.
Or facet choices, potentially now.
Another
cool mechanic added to the game that just adds extra depth to these types of tournaments the longer it goes. I mean, I'm not sure they're evolved enough to get to this point yet, since they're relatively new still, but just adds another cool layer, I think, to Dota. As Quinn in the bot lane, looking for an opening. You said that they were going to be ramping this up, but it's actually slowed down a bit.
Those couple of ganks that Nouns got through, I can't stress enough how important they were. Because if you don't get these couple of successful moves just to buy yourselves a little bit of breathing room, it would have been GAMIN making those moves. And we would be looking at a 5 to 6k gold lead and another dead tower. So it might not seem like that much to have a successful gank here or there, but in games against tempo, getting these kills is worth twice as much as in others. But we'll see. GAMIN, I think it's their time to try to shine here. Orchid on Ace, and Quinn will scout out Yuma, so any connection here should be an easy kill, and he's dead.
Yep, and Yuma takes a tumble. That's a huge kill. Meanwhile, Fly gets off the overgrowth.
Should live, I think.
Zip coming in from the north from Copy, and there is the Doom from Gunner. Down goes Dyrachyo, so position ones on both sides end up getting taken out.
Good response.
Support action as well.
And you can tell, so pay attention to how Nouns are spreading their resources on the map and the drawing that they also just made there with Yuma, right? They are just not playing Brood's game. Yuma was alone farming down there, and I think his logic was, I can farm here because I can avoid Brood and live. Now that he knows he has Orchid, he's not going down there alone again. So, curious to see how they adjust now, as Gunnar will be jumped. Oh, that's the Orchid on the Storm!
The Orchid Storm's in a lot of trouble, but no. Able to zip away just in time. Gunnar trying to focus down the Snapfire now as Quinn comes to getting turned around on. Gunnar going to be helped out by Yuma now. Quinn is dead. Celerly slowed to a crawl with that Purge from Gunnar.
Clutch.
Double kill for Yuma.
I was like, how was that Orchid on copy so short? Gunnar dispelled it with Purge. So,
disgusting.
Having this creep in this exact moment to counterplay that move from the Brood, beautiful. Super, super important. If he doesn't Purge Storm there, Storm dies and they lose this fight. Instead, they take 3 kills. You know, Doom is insane. What a great hero.
3-second.
You just gotta have the right. You just gotta have the right creep in the right moment. You know, that's Oh, good.
Yeah, that was actually perfect timing too. Oh man.
And I wonder if this Purge creep, if that was specifically chosen by Gunnar in foresight against Orchid, because if that was the rationale there, that is just awesome.
I mean,
what a great choice.
He's been having an amazing tournament so far, especially in this upper bracket.
And now I don't think he's changing this creep for a while now. I think he just walked past the Centaur. I know he doesn't have Devour, but I don't think he would have eaten it anyway. I feel like now having this Dispel in this phase of the game is enormous for them. And you also saw, you can obviously use it for chasing when you're ahead in the fight too. It's not only a defensive ability.
Yep.
So, yeah, really, really nice.
So what do you think about correct me if I'm wrong with the order here, but Io was chosen after the Doom, right? So not really respecting the anti-heal aspect of this hero.
It's a double-edged matchup, because you can also relocate people out, which is very useful against Doom.
Relocate to Fountain where they can die, technically.
I mean, as we've seen in plenty of series this tournament, playing against Doom is about kiting the Doom.
Right.
You need to survive the Doom, and then you can turn the fight around. And historically speaking, Io was an insane hero against Doom, because you used to be able to heal as well during Doom. So then it was like one of the picks against it. But you're right, there is definitely that downside that they can't reliably trust Celery to keep them alive as they are doomed. But I still don't mind the matchup from Io's perspective. I still think it's reasonable. And you weren't picking Io particularly against Doom, you were picking it with your lineup's goal, like your vision of the pace, right?
Right. I mean, the move speed always super helpful anyway, especially with the Razor.
Yeah.
Mid lane's going to be pressured a bit as Gunnar looking for an opening with that Blink Dagger and Doom available. Heading towards the north, Ace. Very difficult kill. But yeah, so far the Orchid on Ace has not, I mean, obviously it's just good in general, but it's not led to a kill.
My biggest concern for GAMIN is not the Brood, it's Quinn. He is poor. He is 2,000 below the other cores, and he has a Mage Slayer. So he went for a fighting item. They're not winning fights, so he's not going to be farming that well. I mean, it's okay, you get attack speed, etc., but it's not a Midas.
Yeah.
It's not, a tempo item that he can solo kill heroes with. This is meant to be... It's very clear from the itemization and their mindset that this is when GAMIN want to get stuff done. And I honestly think they're a little bit stunned. Like, this was not the plan. So... It's time to dig deep and get that plan B rolling. We saw them, was it yesterday when they played, or 2 days ago? And it was against G2IG. When the second game when they were playing their Chen Alk, and the pacing missed, they kind of lost their footing and never really recovered it.
Attempted kill onto Gunnar here. Fly
tanky.
is in the area though, gets off the leech.
Good
The
Gleipnir.
though coming with the IO. Mortimer's Kisses will eventually be enough. Quite a bit expended. But it is a kill on a very important hero for Nouns. Fly continuing to get chased under the cover of the tier 2. Doesn't seem to matter. Looks like he'll drop regardless.
All right, they get something going. That Gleipnir, great efficiency from Daracho, making that rotation, getting 2 kills, using it to good effect. And they will want to get more out of this. So trying for the tower with the pipe in hand for Ace as well. This is... They're definitely still in a solid position. It's just not, it's not as good as I think GAMIN had hoped. But 1 or 2 good moves and they can get back on track. Now, Copy will grab himself a BKB. Quite a good timing here for the Storm to really get something done. Comboing with Doom, these two can kill any hero on the map. We'll see if they fancy a smoke. They do indeed.
Lelis will be leading the way. Gunnar with that Blink Dagger at his ready. Fly going to connect as well, it seems. Although now they're slightly separating. You can see the path that they are on their way to will run into Tofu if they continue with that trajectory.
Yep.
Although Ace would be such a big kill.
Copy does have a dust if they break on Invoker.
Spiders are leading the way. This feels like something out of Harry Potter. But they'll go down the little path here.
Okay, they want to try to steal the wisdom, but they're too late. Oh, this is awkward. They have a ward. Maybe they just jump Celery?
Oh, now there's a BKB.
Oh, they're going for the Torment. Oh my god, if they assassinate them here.
No way.
Oh no.
Zip on in. Do they have the damage to take out the Tormentor? The Doom applied as Dyrachyo gets taken out. Lelis gets the shard. This could not have gone better for Nouns.
Oh my god, I didn't see they stole it too.
Lelis will TP out. Gunnar on the exit. Ace trying to pursue a bit. Copy, not too much mana to work with though. Will they be able to get this kill? He just TPs out and off the cold snap at the last moment. So GAMIN gets something going their way here, but overall, I mean, that's a huge steal.
That is still a major, major victory. Sure, you get Copy and a big kill now for Quinn, but you lost Dyrachyo, you lost your snap, and you lose the Tormentor. And this is going to be 2 Tormentors for the Radiant, because there is no way GAMIN get over and invade this in time. I think they're just, you already saw them drawing the line to their own Tormentor there from Fly. It was just like, let's get our own as well.
Yeah, because he wants to. Oh wait, he already bought his shard. They have 3 already.
Wait, so who can get the next one?
So it's going to be
Storm
Gunnar
or Doom?
Yeah, Gunnar or Copy.
Oh, they really want the Storm one, I think. The Doom
Gunner's
one is
more survivability, I believe.
Yeah.
Scorched Earth.
The Storm one would be nice. Overload, of course.
Copy is eventually taken out, but
it's a big kill. He had a 4-kill streak, so Quinn will get that, but still
desperately needed for him. No
job well done. I mean, there's just been, honestly, if you want to summarize Nouns' game so far, it's just been timing, right? They've just had really, really good timing on their moves, on their map reads, and on this. Okay. Yeah. Well, it's good that they have the timing, because they don't have the spell casting,
Man,
apparently.
You really do curse everybody.
What? That wasn't a timing thing.
First it's China, now it's NA. What region is next, Cinderin? Have some mercy, for God's sake.
If I curse all of the regions, who wins TI?
The caster.
Did we win TI?
That's right.
All right, Europe's looking hot this tournament.
Well, Gunnar ended up getting the shard, so his Scorched Earth will heal himself. 60% of the damage done.
Just confirming the arrow can hit the Tormentor, right?
Yes, of course.
Okay.
It won't stun it, though.
Yeah. I just feel like I've seen more missed arrows on the Tormentor than I've seen hit ones. So as much as we're laughing at it, this is not my first time seeing that in a pro game. So
just the angle, you know, as during this downtime, GAMIN will be taking Roche.
They will. Who gets the Aegis? Is it Ace or is it Dyrachyo? It is indeed Quinn. There you go. You want another curse?
God, you're the best analyst, man. This is
God,
amazing.
I love it. I love setting myself up for failure. It's the best.
You could have just stopped at who gets the Aegis.
Yeah, but what's the fun in that?
Then you guess 2 out of the 3 cores and you still get it wrong.
Yeah.
Man.
I mean, what's the fun in that?
It's impressive. It really is impressive.
Dude, you gotta go for a little bit of it. You gotta live a little, you know?
I agree.
It's like, I mean, you could also say nothing, then you're never wrong, but then there's no stakes. And I love steak.
Yeah, you sure do. Medium rare, if I remember correctly.
Oh, yeah.
So Aegis on Quinn, as expected. And they're actually going to zip on him right away. See if they can burn this right off the bat. They're going to expend the Doom for it.
Good thing he had an Aegis.
Coming in, but he's definitely going to use life number 1. Question is, can Nouns get out? Gunnar is caught. Mortimer's Kiss is doing quite a bit of damage. Yuma coming in with a BKB.
Big damage.
Focusing everything on the Broodmother. Brood is dead just like that. And Gunnar somehow is still alive. How? Copy and company take out Tofu. Quinn looks like he's going to be able to walk away from this. Although now they do have an idea that he is here. Gleipnir onto 3 heroes in the meantime from Dyrachyo. Big Zip from Copy trying to focus everything on the Razor now. That is going to be enough damage to take him out. And Quinn! This is going to be a full team wipe for Nouns. How?
My goodness. This Doom is so tanky. With the Shiva.
The shard actually saved him.
Actually true.
It actually did.
He survived because of the shard, and You know, Dota is a game of feel, so GAMIN might have felt like they had that kill and just underestimating how much he was able to sustain in that
who
situation.
gets Shard on Doom at 24 minutes?
Yeah. He has that, he has Shiva, they put the Pavis on him. I think they put living armor on him, which also, you know, all of these things really add up.
Maybe this is the secret to winning on Doom. Get the Shard early.
Yeah.
That is insane. So this was a nice little burn of the Aegis here from that. I thought for sure he was dead here.
Yeah.
100%.
I mean, they killed, that was a 6-for-0 fight.
Yeah.
Right?
Yuma comes in and just freely right-clicks from the high ground.
Yeah,
with his ult activated.
Mirana with max solar flare running, just getting in and getting to deliver for like 10 seconds straight.
And this, the re-engage, 3 versus 5.
That Pavis.
That was questionable.
Yeah, I can understand why they felt tempted, right? They get a 4-man Gleipnir, they can see Gunnar is low. If they get that kill, perhaps they can snowball the fight into some extra, but they end up just bleeding away. Danish keyboard says Gunnar, which is a very good excuse for a pause. Of course, he's just marveling in the brilliance.
Do you guys have weird keys over here?
Our keyboards have a slightly different layout because we have extra vowels. And we have extra vowels because our language is so beautiful that we need more letters.
I see, yeah.
There you go. Pausing again, he just can't get over it.
So what?
Another keyboard. It's
going to be, okay.
Yuma's like, can I have your Danish keyboard? That sounds amazing. So he's pausing, he's asking the admins for a replacement keyboard with A, U, and O on it.
A, U, and O?
Yeah, those are 3 extra vowels.
Okay.
Never heard of those?
That sounds like A, E, and O.
Yeah, well, we also have those.
So you have alt-cast versions of A, E, O?
Yes.
Okay. Well, Dota players should be more familiar with that then.
Our old MacDonald had a farm. You should hear that one. It's insane, the Danish one.
Can you sing it, please?
E-I-E-I-A-O. You know? Oh, that's not how
God,
it
that
is.
sounds
I wish,
like
though.
word vomit right there.
Yeah, that's Danish.
Good stuff. Great country you got here, Cinder.
Yeah.
Really loving it so far. Really loving this pause that has been caused by the Danish people, apparently.
Well.
Of course, we don't know what they mean by keyboard issues.
Yep, don't know either.
So game state right now, Nouns with a 9K lead. We've been talking about this quite a bit. Feels like even when a team has it feels like a sizable lead at like this stage of the game, for example, we look at the net worth, it's like 3 or 4K, which is not gigantic. This one feels very gigantic.
This is monumental because of the way GAMIN's lineup functions. I feel like their timing has been missed now, and in order to come back from this, you need to be really clever, effectively. You can't just play on, how to say, autopilot with so many of GAMIN's games with this type of lineup. They're winning now. Like, this is when they get their second lane of barracks. They haven't taken a tier 2.
Yeah, that is true. This feels later than it really is.
It's very unusual for them to be put in this position, which is, you know, see why I was saying in the interview pre-game, we're happy with the heroes we've got. We know if things get rolling, we're gonna run them over with our timing, and if it doesn't, we'll see how it goes. Kind of. That's where I'm at right now. I'm at the copium phase for the Dire strategy,
I see.
Where you kind of, at this point, you're relying on significant outplay, because I think the timing that your lineup was meant to crush them failed, because Nouns played super well around the map. They are now fully online with a lineup that scales incredibly well on every hero, mind you. All the supports are monsters late game. Treant and Hoodwink are some of the best late game supports you can get. And you have an IO whose late game contribution primarily is keeping one hero alive, but that hero can get doomed. So it's kind of a catch-22 where, you know, your options don't sound that great right now.
Yeah, and from the GAMIN side, Invoker should be a very important hero on this line. He is just struggling big time.
He is so far
They
back.
put the Aegis on him so that he could survive.
Yeah.
Immediately burns it, and then dies in that big team fight that Nouns wins. So it feels like Quinn is just very far behind right now. But, I mean, in terms of if they end up trying to go high ground against GAMIN, Invoker, historically speaking, is incredible at defending. How's their lineup overall?
Yeah, a big part of Invoker's defense, though, is also having many levels in Exort, because then you actually pose a serious threat of killing you with the combo, but Quinn's build currently is 4-7-2, so his spells don't deal a lot of damage. He can burn some mana, he can be annoying. I don't know if he should buy a shard, if that even helps at all here.
GAMIN have 0 shards versus the 4 on them.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just tricky, right? This is what happens in games where you build a tempo lineup and you itemize for tempo and you miss the margin, right? Or miss the you miss the window, so to speak. So I don't know what I would recommend buying on Invoker in this spot. It looks like he's trying for a pike. And I guess with that, his plan is to transition into right click because he's identifying that if we're going to win this game now, it's not 25 minutes anymore. Now we're looking at 50. So perhaps this item can help him bridge that gap.
Well, Yuma has finished his Gleipnir, as we're unpaused now in case you're wondering. For everybody that was alt-tabbed.
Yep.
This is not a highlight. This is live action, of course. Enjoy.
So we had a...
Sounds like we have some in-game communication from Nouns that we get to listen to. Let's take a listen.
Spider from on. Tali, we'll give you a suggestion. What's up, man? We can play Vlads.
It's good.
Then you cannot make like the insane plays, but you'll just have Vlads and you'll give us 100 damage.
I will be real, guys. I think this Blink Dagger is game winning. Razor cannot play anymore.
I'm
Blink.
I'm not listening to that shit.
After is okay.
Being a former pro player yourself, Cinder, what did you think of that conversation?
I love, okay, so Fly, I think they were effectively suggesting let's buy Vlad's on Treant so our right clickers do a lot more damage, and Fly was like, I'm buying Blink, I'm not getting that shit.
He just shuts them down immediately.
He has his own read on what he needs his hero to do, and damn, he's gonna do it. But then they were like, okay, but after the Blink. And sometimes this is how communication does go down with item suggestions and feeling out the game. Ultimately, whoever is playing their own hero will have the final say in what they want to do. You can ping pong ideas when there's downtime, and this is how you level your mindset of where the game is headed, right? Because they might feel like, hey, if we buy Vlads, we can just run them over, and Fly just has a different idea of what he wants.
Out the BKB from Dirachi. Look at the damage coming out from Yuma with his solar flare. Right click is enough. Relocate too slow. Big kill for now as they force out the BKB and they get position 1 kill.
Dude, I've seen this hero for a week and I still get surprised by Mirana's damage.
It is absurd.
So
nice
crazy.
Arrow
nice
timing.
Arrow. Yep.
So Celery will die as well. It's just getting worse and worse as Doom applied to the Invoker. He's actually just going to TP out, so he'll actually be fine.
Gunner Infernal bladed him there. A bit of a mistake, perhaps.
Yeah. Muscle memory. Just got to get that damage in.
Could have possibly... I mean, maybe he felt like he had to Infernal Blade to allow himself to cast the Doom. At this level, the players are very fast to react and get a counterplay in. But yeah, he needed that to stop the TP out. So he does get out.
Very slight mistake in what is pretty much a flawless game from now so far.
Yeah, if you haven't watched Dota for a year or two, Doom has changed. So now when you're doomed, you are no longer muted unless Doom takes that town at level 25. In return though, heroes that are doomed cannot heal in any way.
And you cannot deny them anymore, which is
you also can't deny them, yeah.
Gunner caught off with the tornado, gonna be surrounded by Dyrachio, as well as Quinn.
Good overgrowth.
Fly and a huge sip in from Copy as Mortimer's Kiss is doing some damage. It looks like the Doom will finally go down, but Yuma, again from the sidelines, just ripping everybody a new one. Both Quinn and Dyrachio already dead. Ace connected by Celery. Copy's running out of mana, so it looks like the Brood will get away. Tofu, in the meanwhile, being hounded by Yuma. We'll be able to get to the low ground, but the zip from Copy, still no mana.
Not enough.
So they'll have to be happy with the 2 kills, and of course 2 core kills, mind you. Feels like they just need so much to kill Gunner, and then once they do, it's like, okay, what else do we have left?
What do you think Fly is telling his teammates now?
I buy Vlad.
Oh, I thought he was saying, see guys, this is why I buy Dagger.
True.
That was if he had a Vlad's there, that's a dead Doom and nothing more happens. And this is not about he is right, his team is wrong kind of, but you have your own feel. That was a great moment to have Blink. Maybe the next fight would have been a great time to have Vlad's, but this is why itemization is so important. You need to visualize what's coming up. And that was a good Blink moment. All right, Nouns are not gonna let this slip away at this point. They really want to keep control of the map, so they will be pushing out aggressively together in the top half. They're starting to cross the river a bit more than they have so far in this game on average, I would say. Copy. We'll see Ace mid, or you'll only see the spawn Spiderlings cast, so I can't really go for it.
That's a lot of spider kills there. As Ace
Now
does take the damage rune. Will it cost him though? Copy. Zipping around, and yeah, it's just a free kill.
That did cost him.
Wow. Was it worth it? I don't think so.
I hope that was a rhetorical question.
I did answer it myself, so technically
I hope that wasn't a rhetorical answer.
Is that a thing, a rhetorical answer?
Stop asking more rhetorical questions.
Okay. As the tier 2 is next for Nouns. Question is, when is Roche? So 30 seconds away from knowing when he will spawn. Tier 2 tower taken out, so only 2 remain at this stage.
Yeah.
Both bottom and top.
All right, in your expert opinion as a pro Counter-Strike player.
Expert, yeah.
What do you think Gaming Gladiators should do now?
I think, oh boy. I was going to say contest Roche, but they do have some decent AoE. Yeah, I'd say contest Roche.
So what you would have done was spin the wheel and kick a random teammate because it was their fault.
Oh, you're asking me what I would have done? Oh, yeah, of course.
Yeah, okay.
Goes without saying. And the fact that they, I mean, not that these heroes hate having Manta necessarily, but against a tree, you pretty much have to go Manta style.
Yeah, you're either relying on Manta or Satanic, right?
Yeah, that's true. Satanic would work as well.
But Satanic doesn't feel that great against Doom, so it's really, you know, it's kind of awkward.
Yeah.
Either way, one way or the other, and I don't mind the Manta choice from Duracho. I mean, it's still a fine item regardless. Lelis will be pulled in, reload.
Seller is expecting an entire response here.
Yeah, I mean, now they're just in their heads, right? This was a solo hoodwink, and they're like, the whole gang is here.
Yeah, PTSD does that. I would know.
I mean, don't blame them, because Nouns have been playing pretty tight. Most of their moves in this game have been with many heroes. Duracho
Yep.
has to BKB. Celery's toast.
Certainly does. Celery
oh my
dead.
god, this damage.
Near into the arrow. Not quite connecting. Quinn gets out. But Copy wants to continue on, and Duracho, without the help of Io, just melts.
Honestly, it feels really nice for Storm to get Solar Flare.
That is, by the way, I don't want to harp on it.
Good.
Duracho is 0-7. How often do you see that? That is rough from the Razor this game.
Yeah, enjoy it while it lasts. It's 0-8 in a minute. Sorry for the ill omen. Maybe they can bring it up to a 1-7.
Stop being so negative, Cinderin.
I am super positive for Nouns. They are playing an outstanding game. I have to say, they surprised against Spirit already.
We need to reiterate, they have been the underdogs 2 series in a row now, and they have looked amazing.
Yeah. I think you got to start putting some respect on their name based on these performances. It's not just that they're winning against a series against Spirit, you know. You could be like, yeah, they had a good series, Spirit let them have their heroes. They're bringing totally different heroes to this game. They're playing against a hero that everybody's been scared of giving GAMIN. They let them have it, and they're just rolling them. So, like, what's the ceiling? If you can, they've got to be really feeling themselves in terms of confidence here. Because this is also, the panel was talking about this pre-game, what precedent is this going to set for the tournament if GAMIN win with this first pick Brood? What precedent is it going to set if they get owned?
True.
You know, like, what are they going to do? Are they going to start second-guessing the Brood? Was that really the problem? Are other teams going to be inspired now to let them have it? Or are Nouns just the best team in the world? You know, there are many questions that will be answered within the next week.
Yeah.
And that could be one of them. All right, Flybot Vlad's.
All right.
Much to his own dismay, but he did it because he's a good teammate and he wants to keep morale high.
Let's see if he regrets it.
Yeah, I think he actually really wanted to buy Basher, but we don't have an audio clip of that, unfortunately, for you guys to listen in on.
Basher would be quite good.
But
that's true.
Yeah, he's Giga Chad enough to buy a Basher on Trian, I think, you know.
Aegis on Copy now. And of course the banner on someone.
17,000 gold lead.
We have not seen leads this large, this early, very often at this
That's true. It's a lot of the games have been, even with, I mean, this is a pretty lopsided kill score. Many of the games we've had have been.
Even in the games that have lopsided kill scores, it's not been this much.
That's fair. It's probably been like half of this. There is a bit of a Doom going on, you know, but still, it's quite overwhelmingly one-sided here. I want to commend Tofu on his farm. We haven't had so much positive to say about GAMIN Gladiators, but Tofu on the Snapfire has actually managed to keep a really high net worth in an extremely dire situation. And obviously this comes at the expense somewhat of teammates, but he's the richest support in the game on a totally losing team and might have to come up big as this defense needs to be mounted. My god, this push is so quick. They do so much damage.
Garaccio does take the enemy Wisdom Room.
Right, Copy's in there.
Have to go in. Copy. Electric Vortex with the ult from the
He's dead.
Just dead. Gunnar uses the Doom. He does have the buyback on the Quinn though. Garaccio pops the BKB, trying to get back to his fountain. The damage from Yuma is absurd. Triple kill. Will he just fountain farm at this point? Why not? Ultra kill.
Oh, another?
Quinn.
He's disarmed.
Will you give him the rampage? No. They've stayed a little bit too long. But still 3 dead for GAMIN Gladiators, and they call GG. Nouns absolutely dismantle GAMIN Gladiators in this game number 1.
Holy damn. Talk about momentum. They start the group stage 2 and 4. Everybody's writing them off like, yeah, I mean, and keep in mind, this team, I believe their first game of the tournament, they got beat down as hard as anyone has. I think they got 25-1'd by BB Team in their first series, so... And they lost that series 2-0 as well, mind you. And since then, they find themselves 2 draws. They start, you know, picking up a little bit of momentum. And now when it's crunch time in the bracket, they're currently 3-0. 2 games against Spirit and now 1 against GAMIN. They look startled. That was some of GAMIN's best strategy, and they didn't even get to show what it does.
I don't know what the record is, but Quinn, his record against Gunnar, especially back in the day, is very good.
Yes.
So there might be some like mental overconfidence potentially. Do you think that comes into play? I mean, they're in the upper bracket of TI. You would think that wouldn't happen, but in my experience, especially with like being a team owner, which I've mentioned every cast, I think I'm obligated to do that.
Okay, yeah.
That does happen though. It's crazy, like the mental gymnastics people do that end up hurting them in the long run.
Well, I think for Gunnar, the secret was to just stop playing that lane. Now he doesn't have to face Quinn in lane anymore. Now he just goes and lanes against someone else.
You guys deal with them.
Yeah.
And then he picks Invoker, Quaswex, and just doesn't really have a game the entire time.
Honestly, you can blame it on whatever you want. I just think Nouns played an outstanding game, and I think teams just need to recognize they're just that good. Yeah. So now you, as GAMIN, need to figure them out, which is probably not what you expected going
So Nouns, 3 amazing games in a row. Can they close this out in a 2-0? We'll find out soon. Let's go to the panel.
Thank you very much, Sunsfan and Cinder. And this was a opening from GAMIN Gladiators with the Broodmother, where we thought they were going to be able to play high tempo, and that would make up for their lack of stuns. But I think this opening now, Lacoste, is got to go in the bin.
I think so too. I mean, the games that they lost, they pretty much went all in when it comes down to push, no real lockdown. Like your lockdown is Glips and Glopson, which is the best item in the game right now, but it's not enough. It definitely is not, where you don't have a way to start a fight. Like you are, sure, your 5-man is strong, but if you don't get like 5-10k gold advantage 15-20 minutes into the game, which they're relying on to get, you're gonna have some big issues.
It was just quite a quiet game from GAMIN, right? Like the laning phase, you could feel this this intensity, this pressure just looming over Nouns, right? Like the Orchid was coming online for the Broodmother, the Invoker had to kind of force the Storm to jungle quite early on, but it never really connected into much, right? Like when the Brood gets the Orchid, they tried to play around him, but Nouns just did an exceptional job just playing elsewhere on the map, and maybe you need to look towards Dyrachyo and Celery. Like them dying top lane multiple times to the Doom plus Storm rotation maybe hindered GAMIN's ability to play at the speed that they wanted, because other heroes are online and ready to fight, but cheap kills were being given to Nouns, which accelerated their scaling to the point where we're already 20 minutes deep into the game and it's just the Nouns show.
I'm with you too, because you could feel from the laning stage that GAMIN were building their typical GAMIN lead, and all of these key items are coming online. But Nouns, they completely outmaneuvered GAMIN on this map. When GAMIN smoked bottom with the Invoker to kill the Mirana, they instantly countered. Instantly. The instant TP top on the Storm where they doomed the Ire Razor, killed them. Like, that was just a matter of seconds, to a point where, because the GAMIN were occupied on another side of the map, they actually ended up losing more. And then even later on, when Gunnar was doing things like dispelling Orchid with his neutral creep, like, all of these tiny little advantages they got from fights that could have easily gone for the side of GAMIN. And not just that, the smoke that they did to the Wisdom Rune, we're like, too bad they missed the Wisdom Rune by 3 seconds, but no, they ended up killing the Razor and stealing the Tormentor. Like, Nouns were just world class today with their rotations.
Yeah, it felt like Nouns was a little bit one step ahead of GAMIN the entire time in terms of movements. It is a game where a Brood game, in a certain sense, T, can you consider it a Brood game to be somewhat scripted? Because if you play the Brood, this is the way you should play. You should play on tempo. Everybody kind of knows what's coming. Did you feel like Nouns was basically one step ahead there?
Yeah, pretty much. I think it's a combination of, you know what Brood does in the game, like you're mentioning. You know you want to take the early tower, take over the enemy jungle, but also it's a combination, like Quinn had a very quiet game. After shutting down the Storm in laning phase, he had like a kill to his name, nothing really else. Like Invoker didn't really pop off, relocates didn't come into play, and the Orchid wasn't used. So you're basically looking at 3 cores on GAMIN that did nothing, whilst Yuma's using Twin Gate ganking top, Gunner's dooming the Razor whilst Infernal Blade cancelling relocates on the IO, Copy's looking for engagement. So it's like, I think on a pure core-to-core matchup, Nouns did everything, and then GAMIN just kind of just farmed, waited, hoped to find opportunity. With their draft, they need to be way more active.
It felt like they got taken aback by how well Nouns were playing, and that's kind of what we saw from Team Spirit yesterday. And after yesterday, going into this matchup versus Nouns and underestimating them, you absolutely cannot do that, because these players are taking it to you and they're beating you up. And I love that Fly is brought up here, because we didn't talk about this Treant Protector. This Treant Protector, they won twice with it yesterday versus Spirit and today. And maybe it's not so much the Luna that's the issue right now, or how well, or how the reason why they're doing so well, but the Treant who's enabling the Miranas and enabling the Lunas. Off of the back of Fly and his vision and his early sustainability, he is building an early lead for his carry.
Yeah, he's now played 4 games of Treant in a row. All 4 of them wins. I wonder if there's some correlation there.
If we talk about Treant Protector a couple of years back, the kind of OG Treant Protector player was Celery. When he came into the scene, he was the one who was kind of undefeated with the hero. Nobody else wanted to touch it. The hero was not OP at the time by any means, but that's how he crawled into the professional scene, and this is something that might have slipped under their radar. Also, another player that we must address is like Mirana. You must ban some of his heroes because he plays it so well. And also you need to pressure him more in the lane. I thought after seeing the first tier 1 tower falls in a mid lane because they made a rotation, Quinn plays with the catapult, the tower dies. They didn't have a hero that is anti-Brood Mother. None of them are really good. So what they did is they bring the numbers, and they also put the aggression that was supposed to be in the bottom lane, they put it somewhere else, and these are the type of fights that Nouns are going to win.
Yeah, and one of the fights that they did end up winning was around a Roche pit over an Aegis. And, you know, Nouns is a cool team to follow. We don't know too much about what's happening while the game is going on, but that's why we got the technology to listen in.
Back. Already start backing. Watch if they overchase though. Watch if they overchase. They used one. Help him.
I'll die. We're there, guys.
Fight, guys. Fight. Hit the race. Yeah, kill him. Okay, they're out there. Go. Kill the snap.
Invoker.
He's sold. I don't have this action.
I have this action. I have.
Give me. Left.
Give me Kill the IO.
They're back, guys. No, fight. Go. Kill him, Razor.
IO.
He'll die.
Nice.
Well played.
What a fantastic listen-in. I feel like this is such a stark contrast from some of the other listen-ins we've had, where, you know, it's all very calm and calculated. You hear Yuma just go. We can kill the next one. Go.
So chaotic. You have to repeat multiple times. There was like 7 backs and 15 goes.
But the fight was
dust. But it's all about the execution. Yeah. But you know, having a chance to listen how they talk, this is something that they should definitely improve on.
But it's like layers of trust though, right? Because in that fight, they had to go back to, you know, get the high ground advantage. Then you need your carry to actually say, no, we can fight. And no one
disputed that. They just went.
Exactly. So it's like the layering is like, it sounds chaotic, but it's actually like they listen to every moment. It was like, get back, they step back. He says go, they go. So it's like, in the moment, it's very, very, very scary.
I heard at the same time, if I'm not mistaken, go back and go at the same time.
No, they filtered out the back. It's like, if you must speak, you listen, you know? So it's like, they did good on that.
It's because the Doom was getting Mortimer's kisses. They were like, oh, help him. And Gunner's like, I'm dying here. And then all of a sudden, this Mirana with this solar flare, Yuma's like, kill them, guys. Look, I'm killing everybody from this high ground. Because their HP bars were just disappearing on the screen.
And you did hear them being on the same wavelength where all of them at the same time, somebody, Invoker, like...
I don't have detection. I do! Yay!
Oh, that was actually really fun to listen into. And again, it was a very stark difference from some others, but I think that just goes to show like how this team is going very strong. I think momentum might also have a big impact here, Effie.
Yeah, momentum is a huge thing, but also these players, we talked about how last year they did something similar when they knocked out Tundra, who also chose them to lower bracket, and T was talking about how after that they played versus GAMIN, and then they lost to GAMIN, and this is a demon that they have to conquer. Like, they bring the momentum, but not just that, this desire to win in a way that didn't exist before, because it's not just, oh, they get to win and advance in TI, but they get to show revenge and show all of these teams that underestimated them that they are just as good, if not better. And that's what we're seeing, because there was underestimation coming out of everybody, not just other teams, the panel.
I'm pointing at Tigav.
How?
You said started the panel. We were very excited, and you're like, well.
Because we can't do the generic thing where it's like, we did this last year. Now's we're gonna do it. No, I want to wait and see. I need the proof in the pudding.
I underestimated them too.
That's fair.
I thought to myself, okay, the Luna maybe got figured out, but no, they're just playing exceptionally well, and they've shown it to us in this game one.
It comes down to their drafts. I think every single time we see the drafts in the last couple of days, we're like, they're cooking. And you know why? Because we also got to give credit to their coach, Milan, who is doing a very good job. For people who are not familiar, you know, he had the, I would say, relatively good career, like during the DPC. Mirana was also at one point of time renamed to Milana, considering how good he played the hero. And he was like, every single time you talk to a guy, he has some like really nice, interesting ideas about the game, some fresh stuff that he brings to the team.
And he has said that that the way they're drafting is very collaborative. It's him and Fly making all the calls, and he's basically there to
I'll tell you what,
empower
Shiver.
Fly.
I come outside to pick up my food earlier today.
Okay.
You know who's outside? Fly in Milan. They're talking about Dota. You know, I step aside so I don't hear all the insides. My food is not there. They trick me. It went the other direction, but whatever. So I go back inside the hotel.
He's also just super fun, and I'm sure he brings up the vibes in any team that he joins, because back during DPC days, he was like the biggest goofball on the player cams. He was always doing bizarre things on the
playing
camera.
without a shirt.
Funny in interviews. He just brings a certain goofiness that can only enhance the team environment. But from what I've heard from the players, he also brings seriousness when he needs to, so he does strike a good balance.
Very good and very important, and it's time for GAMIN Gladiators to find the balance in the series, because if they want to secure themselves top 6 at this international, they need to start by winning just one game here so they can force out a game number 3. And I mean, I'm not gonna lie, we see the faces. They gotta find it in them to get some extra energy to strike back. We know that this team is very strong, Effie. How do you feel like they are gonna recover here?
I think you have to adjust your mentality if you're GAMIN, and you have to look at this as if you're playing Team Spirit, or if you're playing Team Falcons, or if you're playing Team Liquid. Every step that you have to make, you have to do with the knowledge that your opponents will find an equally good trade on the other side of the map. Because GAMIN, you know, they won their lanes in GAMIN fashion, but then, for example, a smoke to the Wisdom Rune where they fought at Tormentor, they didn't see that coming. That's something that they would have expected if they were playing against Liquid. But Nouns coming and stealing their Tormentor at minute 21, that's not something they accounted for. So they need to just approach the game differently in how they think about it.
I don't mean any this. Okay, just to be clear here, I rate Nouns very highly with their drafting.
Yep.
But there seems to be an aura around them where their opponents seem to, in the playoffs, do some of the worst drafts they've done at the international. Like, I look at Spirit's draft from yesterday, and it's like, you're picking Tinker 2 games in a row. Huh? Like, it goes against your entire, the entire winnings formula.
What was your reaction?
Huh? And then, like, today, I'm looking at a GAMIN lineup, and it's like, if they don't win in 20 minutes, they're going to get picked apart. Like, I love the Journey Nouns run right now, but I feel like Spirit and GAMIN, like, they showed us some of their weakest Dota that they've done so far.
Kind of dropping the ball, potentially, based on what they should be doing.
And Nouns are capitalizing on it, which is incredible.
They did drop a ball. They just played IO. It's also one of the strats that doesn't seem to be working for them. Against G2IG, against Extreme Gaming, they went all in, no stun whatsoever. I just want to see some control, because we've seen in this clip that played multiple times, and they're taking a fight, not killing a single hero, is they can't focus it down. There's some Mortimer's Kisses all around. They're trying to focus one hero down, but you just don't have enough control.
May I make a counterpoint that with Team Spirit yesterday, we saw them draft in a completely different way than their style, especially with the 2 Tinkers that they decided to work into their drafts yesterday. But what we saw out of GAMIN in Game 1 was classic GAMIN. This is not a draft that is unusual or strange to this team. An Io Razor pairing, a Broodmother from Ace's lane, this is all normal things. Quinn on one of his tempo controlling heroes, they got everything that they usually play in. You heard from Coach CY, they were happy with what they got.
I'd say that the first game draft though was like, compared to their draft so far at TI, this was like the most all in. Normally they've taken a step back from like Liquid is the quickest team. GAMIN used to be the quickest team, and Liquid always has like an insurance policy where if they don't win the game, they can step back and someone else steps up to fill that void. This was like the first draft from them that they went, nah, there's no insurance policy. If we don't do it, we don't do it. So I think it's like they are, again, they're heroes that are exemplary for GAMIN, but all together in a single draft in that type of game against what Nouns had, I think they've just missed the mark for sure.
If they would go for the Brood again, what other hero, what different style would they play to actually be able to play fast? Because I felt like I had that Brood, we knew that they should be playing fast, but they just felt like they couldn't make the moves, and I can only imagine that because their lanes didn't go horrible, so I can only imagine that's a hero issue then.
I thought that the hero was actually well enabled in the draft, and within Nouns' draft, there wasn't a Brood solution, like 1-to-1. Like none of the heroes you could park on the Brood lane, they just brought their heroes together and they outplayed them.
Yep.
I think what T said about Invoker having a very quiet game really did come to play. We didn't see the explosive maneuvering around the map that you do when you have a Brood that we're used to seeing.
I mean, it's a bit rough to compare, but we saw like Purge do a breakdown on what Topson's Invoker could do and how like, forcing TPs, making the map feel very small. Imagine that was happening with a Brood on your team, with the Orchid pressuring as well. Like, not to try and compare like Topson to Quinn, but it's like when you see what that type of Invoker can do, you seem like you're missing something when you see the next game. But
I like this a lot more already. I see one pick, Windranger has a shackle shot, has quite a lot of damage early on, so I want to see some other ways of locking people down. The problem with Invoker was he was having a great time. He was on top of the network 10 minutes in, killed the tower. He doesn't have a hero to play with. Like, no matter what you pair him up with, Snapfire was also not level 6 at the time. I think he got his level 6 11 or 12 minutes in, so that's a big problem because you can, Cold Snap Tornado into Snapfire Kisses. Not the most reliable one, but still gonna get the job done.
Yeah, and Windranger is just one of Duratio's standout heroes this tournament. I mean, you could make the case that it's a standout hero for a lot of carry players, but he's been playing so well on it. Yesterday, we saw him just go Arcane Boots into Maelstrom into BKB, join the fight mid, and win the game off of how farmed your Windranger was. He also does really cool things on this hero where he goes through the gate minute 5 early, throws a power shot. If he doesn't see a kill, he goes back through. He knows when to farm, he knows when to fight. He just has a very solid understanding of Windranger.
Yeah, and it seems like GAMIN now also has a solid understanding of not letting Fly have that Treant Protector. They banned it out. They already banned out Mirana in the first phase. That was the one change-up that we saw in the opening. Now still went for the same opening, of course, with that Doom pickup. And now we got a Tusk. This is a lane that we have talked about a lot. Tusk Windranger as the safe lane duo has been incredibly successful.
It's just a lot of damage, like with either facet that you take, tag team or drinking buddies, Windranger is very well enabled off of it. When you look at Tusk versus Doom, you have the extra seconds that you can buy in Snowball to save your targets. You have a hero that, after the laning stage, can freely roam to mid.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but this Phoenix could be a really, really good pickup against the Windranger, because what she wants to do is use Whirlwind, run in, and try to kill all the heroes, but the hero doesn't attack the egg. And if you want to cancel that, your Whirlwind is going to stop, because you can't just reactivate it again.
But that's kind of what Nouns are saying, right? You got the Phoenix who can do it, Hoodwink can run around in the trees, disappear. So supports aren't at a Whirlwind's in play, I'm just instantly dead. Like, that's obviously the weakness of having melee supports against this new version of Windrunner. And again, it feels like Nouns are inviting gaming. Like, please, draft aggressive, run into us. Because if you do, then you have to find the Hoodwink in the tree line. You have to eat through the egg. You've got to play at a number disadvantage because of Doom. So I think Nouns' overall strategy for this series is allowing gaming to run at them. But here comes the Brood once again. And anti-Brood heroes aren't really in play. Laning phase, yes, the Phoenix or the Hoodwink in laning phase will be a strong support to at least apply pressure, but when the level 6 comes into play, there isn't the let me defend my tower type hero.
There's also just a different safe lane pairing for this Brood, where if the game needs to slow down, instead of trying to make it action-packed, Wind Ranger can just chill and farm. Tusk can play for rune security with Quinn.
What about some Earthshaker for Nouns? Because they will have the pick and then they can protect the Earthshaker in the last phase. Works really well. Copy had some really nice itemization when they played against Spirit. He's not trying to copy other players. He is having, you know, a thing of his own, buying that Nullifier, second Nullifier ever purchased in a pro game.
Yeah, and it was one of the heroes that we have seen GAMIN ban out in the second phase previous game because they want to prevent him from Copy from playing that Shaker. We got the Sniper pickup for GAMIN Gladiators. The time when they played Brood that it did work out, they did run Brood plus Sniper lane, so they'll be happy to get that combination again.
Lanes on paper look very strong. Sniper in the first 10 minutes thrives, Shrapnel win lane, get Brood her 6, Tusk Windrunner, Punchy in lane, Sniper can then ditch the Brood, go play as a tri-lane. So overall, I am going to be seeing pretty decent lanes there from GAMIN. Of course, Sniper does fall off, as we've seen multiple times, but yeah, I think GAMIN should be pretty happy with what they got right now. A lot of speed to punish what looks like quite a lane-focused setup from Noun so far.
And also Sniper, with his, you know, built-in attack range that he gets, is one of the better supports that can assist you with killing the Phoenix Supernova, which was kind of an issue that was presented earlier. It's solved now. I mean, Wind Ranger with the BKB does a good job of killing it anyway, even though her attack speed comes from Whirlwind. She's a universal hero now. She builds stats in general, and she gets attack speed from the agility that she builds.
If it was Jin Q playing Sniper, he'd be like, I'll buy Mask of Madness, don't worry, Egg's dead for me.
Ooh, they go back for the Storm.
Yeah. Still a good pickup. Not having too much lockdown, again, on GAMIN. They do have Shackle Shot, they do have Gleipnir later on, maybe some Snowball Punch from Tusk. Orchid on Broodmother was not proven to be successful, especially if Gunner's going to be playing that Doom again, picking up the Purge mechanic creep and removing that silence, kind of removing also what GAMIN wants to do, hit this earlier timing.
It's also just good at jumping the supports on GAMIN, right? You have this Sniper who's very susceptible to dying. You have this Tusk who's going to be a nuisance with Snowball, so if you get the jump on him, it eliminates that threat. Also can pressure Wind Ranger. The thing is, Quinn, again, he's in a position where he can just pick a hero that's very good versus Storm on lane. The question is, how comfortably will he be able to translate winning that lane into map pressure? Because that's where GAMIN mostly failed in Game 1.
That's why Monkey King comes to mind again. Like, you punch the Storm in lane when he comes close to the wave. After laning phase, you naturally want to jump towards a Brood or you want to make a gank, and the speed in which GAMIN play, like, you should be able to punish this type of lineup from Nouns. Like, it's, what, 2 supports that don't really make sweeping moves on the map. Hoodwink can, but you also itemize less aggressively now. Doom wants to park himself in the lane. And if you can invade the jungle, Storm can't get to Witchblade very early. And if you don't get an early Witchblade, then you're not getting an early Orchid or a BKB. So I just want Quinn to be able to play into the map this time around.
Yes, I want Earthshaker or I want Quap for Quinn, so that he has... Earthshaker has a really, like, it's not a bad lane when he plays against the Storm Spirit. Before the introduction of Innates and Facets, it was pretty difficult, but having extra lockdown, and I like the Fisher a lot because you can choose. If you're not the one who's getting doomed, the chase potential from Nouns is okay. They have, you know, this Phoenix, the Storm, but you also have instant lockdown. You can block them off with Fisher, and you can try to reset that way.
What is a carry that you wouldn't mind playing into a Brood Sniper lane? Because that is what Nouns is looking at. We have the Dragon Knight and the Alchemist getting removed from the pool already by GAMIN Gladiators. I know Luna's still in the pool, but I think that's kind of bad to play into that. That feels, at least it feels bad.
I mean, typically people would pick things like Monkey King or Ursa versus Brood, but they've just... It's not as comfortable as having a ranged carry in this patch, and also hard matchup versus Wind Ranger.
Are there any good matchups still left in the pool?
There's potential. I mean, Yuma's specialty is Troll. Fair's okay. Constantly aggressive. I'm just thinking like the chase down of laning phase, like the axes with the fire spirits. You get a couple kills. You also can defend the tower because you have whirling axes against these spiderlings. But then, of course, you're playing into like Tusk Punch and potential kiting aspects. But I could see maybe that being a pretty good pick for Yuma.
It will be the Weaver.
still want to get kills in lane, right? The Sakuchi, they're trying to kill. That's the thing with this pick.
It also kites, right? When you play against Roland, you need to be able to disengage from the whirlwind, and Weaver, outside of being ranged, which is more comfortable in this patch, he's got that max move speed to run away, and early aggression, which is going to be needed. Also, the scouting from the swarm shouldn't be underestimated. Like Weaver's bugs are such a good scouting tool in the early game to chase a hero like Broodmother, who runs away very fast, but the latch of the spiders should be very helpful.
It screams Shaker now as well for GAMIN. The points that Lacoste mentioned against like Storm, throw that onto Weaver as well. You see Weaver who steps up, get the Echo Slam, follow up with like an Assassinate plus a power shot, any additional damage.
Their long distance is really good. Having Wind Ranger, having Sniper, you just need one more hero to set it up, and that for me is Shaker.
Yeah, the Shaker does feel very good. Okay.
How about a Void Spirit?
I mean, Void Spirit is a Quinn specialty hero.
Yep.
It's not super popular in this meta, but what it does in this game is it has very long range and very long range catch. It also builds Aghanim Scepter, which the silence is very useful versus both Storm and Weaver, and it's a high tempo aggressive mid laner.
Yeah. And as long as Quinn's comfortable on his hero, we're going to see, in theory, a completely different game. Because if Quinn was able to step up in that previous game, they probably don't get shut out that quickly. Put him on a hero that he wants to play, you probably gave him choice, like, what do you want to play? Here he calls for Void Spirit, you let him play it. Like Effie's mentioning the Aghanims, it's very important, but he needs the active runes, he needs to play into the Brood, he needs to kind of just bring life to this game. Because once again, I don't think the scaling is as scary for Nouns, but it's still, if you misplay, then Storm can take over the game.
I think that a lot of what went wrong in game 1 was a mental thing and how they thought about the game. And I think going into this game 2, they're going to be a lot more alert and a lot more on their toes and give Nouns the respect that they deserve. So that being said, I do like this last pick, Void Spirit. I think it's very good for GAMIN. They should be able to win on paper, but we'll see.
Yeah, much easier lineup to execute for GAMIN. In this second game, they fixed some of the issues that they had in game number 1 when it comes down to locking down the heroes and also scaling, something that you mentioned. I think they are going to scale pretty well, so they're not too afraid to push this game long if it's necessary. It's also a second game. They lost the first one, so they want to have some more security, and it definitely feels good. I think we are going to see the game 3.
So less all in on a fast timing. They got a little bit of everything there. If they do well on the lanes, FED still feel like GAMIN will still set a very high timing, high tempo?
They should, because that's their playstyle. And also, an issue that happened last game was because Doom had such a good game off of some really good plays in the early game, he had that early blink to then blink Doom and Invoker. I think blink Dooming a Void Spirit in the early game is a lot harder to do. So if your tempo setter from the mid lane isn't worrying about getting doomed like pre-minute 20, they should be able to rotate, they should be able to get kills.
GAMIN can also smoke quite effectively. Like Tusk, Sniper, plus a Brood or a Void Spirit should net kills, and kind of GAMIN lacked kind of purpose outside of me walk down tower last game. So I think they have a bit more of a game to play this time.
Okay, well let's see and let's hear the thoughts of Coach Milan, who's standing right now with Pyrian.
Hello, Sheebs. I am here with Milan. I watched your series against Spirit, and you guys almost looked like you sort of surprised yourselves with that result. And here you are up again 1-0 in this series. Confidence must be incredibly high.
I mean, again, we're playing as another world champion, so I don't think we think much about them. Like, we only focus on ourselves and try to like take what we can from it. I think everybody in this tournament looks a bit down on us, and I think we try to use it and just play the best we can each game, every moment of the game.
So I noticed you guys have Doom and Weaver in this draft, two heroes that the statistics say are not especially winning heroes. Explain to me why you've gone for Doom and Weaver in this draft in particular.
I think all heroes have their unique strengths, and it just depends on the whole draft, like the heroes they played with and against. And if it's only like 10 to 15 games on different teams, it's like the results might vary. You know, even the Tundra series, I think second game they should have won with Doom and stuff like this. Like I think it will work for us, but you never know. A million things will happen.
Okay, but you're confident in your team going into game 2 here?
I'm always confident in my team. I think that's what our strength is trusting each other. You just have to. And that's it. We just trust each other. We play every sequence the best we can, and what happens, happens.
Brilliant. Well, we look forward to game 2. The game 1 was fantastic. And to cast this game, we're going to cast it over to Sunsfan and Syndra, and I'm feeling generous. Have a good one, boys.
Wow. I was expecting some sort of quib there.
He wasn't feeling generous.
I don't even know.
He had nothing.
I don't know how to react.
He had nothing.
I'm dumbfounded by that. Thank you so much, Ted. Really appreciate it. That, of course, was the interview of Milan, the coach of Nouns. And Cinderin, game number 2, Nouns have shown that they are here for a reason.
Yep, for sure. But I would also say in this draft, GAMIN have shown that they are here for a reason. Because I think this adjustment to what happened in game number 1, I think looks very promising to me. That's not to say that they're necessarily a favorite based on strategy, but it does show that they had a pretty clear discussion about problems they just faced, and they're making adjustments. Now, for me, this game is interesting for a different reason. This is kind of the battle of the bottom of the barrel. It's Sniper versus Doom. Which hero can have the worst win rate out of the two?
Yeah.
And we shall see. I think we had a series with Gaming Gladiators recently, you and I. That was the one where they ran that. I think that was part of their Chen Alchemist strat, where they ran a 4 sniper, and we were like, there were a lot of picks that we thought could have done better for them. We'll see if Tofu can shine here. Obviously, the Sniper Brood lane is a one they love to run.
Yep.
But yeah, I have not personally been particularly impressed by Sniper 4 from any team.
Nope, agreed.
Regardless of whether it's one or not, it has not convinced me.
Sometimes they win, it's like, oh, Sniper just happened to be on that team. They didn't really have the hugest of impacts. But the laning stage is a pretty important aspect of Sniper, so we'll see. And obviously, on the other side, the Doom, with such a horrific win rate that we talked about last game, and Gunnar just won with it.
Yep.
And we were talking off camera again about how important that shard that he got in that 50-50 of the tournament, or was.
That was actually fun.
Based on one in particular fight, and I wonder, I don't know how often he actually buys it, but if that's going to change itemization at all.
I mean, you had the point that it's kind of interesting against Brood, because of when there's that many spiders running in, you can heal a ton with the shard, but I don't think we'll see him buy it. Lella's in trouble.
Yeah, Power Shot did miss. Bushwhack connects onto Celery.
Dyrachyo in trouble.
Yep, Dyrachyo is the one that has to worry now as Gunnar with that Scorched Earth. Doesn't look like it's going to be enough, but still, I mean, getting this position 1 out of the lane for even just a few seconds can definitely turn the tides in this laning stage. Going to come back down the avenue he went through before. As Gunnar very healthy. And I wanted to mention one thing as well. Obviously, the Treant Protector was banned in the second phase. That was what Fly played last game. This, historically, is his best hero.
He is very good at Phoenix.
Throughout his entire historic career,
yeah,
this is his best hero by far.
By nature, it functions very differently from Treant, though. I know both heroes have a little bit of healing, if you will, but the way they use Treant, I guess the one similarity is that they use both supports as a combo breaker, I suppose you could call it. Like the Treant, when the enemy team is advancing on you, you overgrowth them and hold them in place. On Phoenix, you drop down the Supernova and you divert attention. You either have to run away, or you have to hit the egg, or you have to be really strong and just tank it out. So I guess from that perspective, it's kind of similar, but in not having that big lockdown that Fly has offered them in these previous 3 games that they've owned in, his Treant has been instrumental in every win. So we'll see if the Phoenix can do something similar, or if this is a little bit of a weak spot that GAMIN have found in this 3rd game with a ban.
Yeah, imagine banning a tree and that makes all the difference. It might be.
I mean, it's a very high win rate hero in this patch in high immortal pubs as well. So it's like, it's a good Treant patch in general, and then you combo that with having Fly on it. It's one of his absolute best, and then, you know, it's definitely a good patch to be good at Treant, so he's not going to shy away from that given the opportunity.
And so far, if we want to look at the mid lane, it's the Storm Brother. Oh, we actually have first blood. Tofu on the Sniper. After we gave that hero so much praise, of course, dies to Fly, who gets the first blood.
Yeah, and Ace can't trade. He's a level 3 Brood, so...
Yep, it happens. But both members of Nouns are pretty damn low here. And again, we talked about the regen aspect coming out from Ace's facet for the Brood, so...
Yeah.
Tangos won't be nearly as effective unless they step outside of the webs. Interesting how positioning is actually really important while the Tango is running.
I don't know if it reduces
does that count
the
as
Tango. Actually, it looks like it does.
Ellis inside the shards will actually stand his ground. The Seller will get Infernal plated with the Bushwhack to follow. Power Shot not really going to connect onto anything. And Scorched Earth should be enough. The last right click from Gunnar brings Celery to the ground. Now Dyrachyo will have to win run back under the cover of Tier 1 tower. So Gunnar and company having a pretty decent time in this lane. I mean, Duracio's farm is going very well, though.
Yeah, he's out of mana, though. So let's see what he does. I guess the Arcane Boots are not far away. It's just 350, and he has a big wave coming into his tower, so he can probably CS this without using too much mana. But yeah, this bottom lane, I would say for now, yep, they're going to just go on him. He has no mana, so Gunnar's going to poke and prod at Duracio. Realizes there's no backup. He's just cooked.
Hits, Acorn shot. Lelis gets credit for that one. And yeah, this lane has definitely turned in Noun's favor.
I mean, look at the tip as well. Copy is immediately like, he's immediately tipping Celery for TPing mid for the bottle refill of Quinn because that just opened up a kill on Duracio on the Wind Ranger. So just taking immediate advantage of that. I think the comms there must have been really clear. We just heard their comms previously, very clear. He TP'd mid on Tusk, they just dive the Wind Ranger. There's no counterplay.
Celery actually picked up the first power rune of the game, which is the damage. Won't really be able to use it too effectively here. Very least does deny it towards the Noun side. And looking at the CS for the mid lane, very even overall. Copy with a slight lead. Both heroes of the Spirit variety are level 6 though, so mobility is at their disposal, meaning ganking them will be quite difficult.
Yeah.
What do you think? I mean, you actually called off camera the Void Spirit pick. What do you think of this hero in the current meta?
I mean, I wasn't really fully confident in them choosing it. I was just seeing the Ags against 2 cores, right? It's good against the Storm and the Weaver. It's a Quinn specialty. It's a classic hero matchup against Void Spirit in the lane. When I wait with that, Gunnar might get run down here if they have enough slow. Quinn,
okay,
this is a deep, he's actually thinking twice about it.
Tower's going to help out here a bit as well, although I'm not sure they want to pursue considering there's 3 members of Gaming.
That does not feel
failed
good.
Gank there. Now Yuma, with the help of Fly, will be taking damage instead.
Yep. So they're working on that very well together.
Yeah. Quite low.
Damn, they both took like 500 there. Yeah, so the Void Spirit, I think it's the most important thing here. It's comfort for Quinn, and the core matchups are good when you have the Ags. But how good he is in the meta? Good question. Like, I feel like more or less no teams are really running this very much, so could be a lot of the time that is a sign that, you know, the hero has kind of fallen off a bit. But there's no game, there's no hero that's never good. So it's about identifying, and the later you get in the draft, the more niche you can get with your picks because you have enough information to cover weaknesses that heroes have. So I think it's a good pick this game. See if he makes it work. That rotation didn't work out, obviously. Yuma in trouble.
Here has Shikuchi. Oh, just in time to get out of the reach of the snowball.
They're going to see him. I think he saw him. Oh, he missed.
Again, outside of the shards. Boy, these ganks for GAMIN not working out early on in the game. It was a good time to go, though.
My goodness, Yuma has bad CS. I just realized. This is... I mean, Nouns have 3 kills, but they're losing the lanes quite significantly here. Copy's doing well, but the Brood is 46 and 15 against Weaver, 27 and 4. Your Doom is 34 and 2 against 53 and 9. Just raw, complete outlaning here by Gaming Gladiators. Duracio in trouble, will be doomed.
Tofu, he's going to be dead first.
Well, they'll make up for it with good movement.
And Doom bottom. So yeah, big kill for Gunnar.
They need all these kills to keep this game even. That's what's so crazy about it, is that GAMIN's laning has been just completely
5-0 now.
Very solid.
GAMIN in the lead.
Yeah. That's been very unusual for this patch, that teams win the lanes this hard. But just like in game number 1, Nouns are really good at rotating and just having good calls. So that can cover up some of those weaknesses quite well.
Astral step onto Copy. Quinn 1 level behind right now, just slightly.
Yeah.
His mid lane counterpart. And they're going to smoke up, actually. So looking for a little action as Copy is a bit low on mana. Doesn't have anything in his bottle as well. 8 charges on the wand, but it looks like their sights are set on Gunnar and Lelis.
Nice power shot.
Power shot will clip him inside the shards. This should be a freebie.
Yeah.
Didn't really need Quinn for this, though, so... Does have his TP for the mid lane.
And he's going to get an Arcane, yeah. Copy will be too late. I think Copy could have actually committed for that rune, but then he would have expended his entire mana pool and been at risk of getting chased down by Quinn +1, perhaps.
A bigger kill though. Ace got a good amount of distance, and Copy just no mana to fully pursue. Yuma poking him from the side, but only get him down to half. The refill of the bottle will occur here for Mr. Copy.
Seeing a clear adjustment here as well from Ace in terms of itemization. So last game with that Orchid first item, now he's going to go for Mech, probably Mech Pipe, just full on Aura build. And he feels like he doesn't need the Orchid because this time he actually has heroes in his team that are going to play make. So the Void Spirit is going to do the brunt of the silencing and the initiation. You have Wind Ranger, who this time the carry has some sort of lockdown. You have the Tusk. Sniper's also there. He's like the weird cousin. Everybody has that guy, but it's fine.
Yeah, he's a bit weird for sure. It has a terrible win rate, so nobody really likes him, but they have to include him in their drafts, apparently.
He's part of the family.
It's like, it's a family reunion. You gotta be there, but God, we hate you. Yeah, so it'll be a pretty fast Ags, like you said, for Quinn as Gunner. Get ganked here. Celery gets off the shards. Dyrachyo with the Shackle Shot. But the Doom is going to be applied to the Tusk instead. Meanwhile, mid lane, Tofu does net the kill onto Copy, which is a much bigger
Oh, almost
kill.
got fly as well. Quinn gets him.
Step and
no,
will
he didn't
actually
commit.
Back away. He gets bushwhacked to a tree for his troubles. Aether Remnant is going to connect onto Gunner. They're going to try to chase him down. He has Astral Step available, though. One charge onto the river. As Tofu, he might be the one that gets sacrificed here instead. Bushwhack will ensure it.
I think Quinn could have killed the Phoenix there, but it might have cost him his life. So it's one of those moments you got to just make the decision, right? And he plays the safer option, gets out of there. And probably the right call.
Considering that Quinn is going for the early Ags, obviously Witchblade will be the first item for Copy. Does that mean he needs to go for the BKB as a second item?
Yeah, most likely. We'll see that.
The stacking, or the double silence is pretty
Celery
low.
getting help too late. That's a
Freebie
brood
kill for
TP. Unless Ace really wants to play down here, this didn't really feel like a good TP to me, but I guess they're going to redistribute their resources a little bit and have him pressure bot. So yeah, 2-8 the score, and a 3,000 gold lead for GAMIN Gladiators because they are farming up a Storm while playing a... while Nouns are around making these moves, one of the key differences in this game compared to the previous one is the nature of GAMIN's lineup with a hero like Void Spirit is that they are forcing rotations for once, right? They are making moves that Nouns respond to, and what happened in that mid-sequence with Quinn was effectively 25 uncontested CS for Brood. They just pulled around Nouns' entire team. Nouns, good news for them that they managed to get that kill on Celery into a tier 1, so it wasn't all in vain.
Yep, another difference, of course, like you mentioned earlier, Ace went for Mech, so not going for Orchid of any kind.
I guess Mech, Pipe, Greaves into... That's when I'm unsure where he's going to go after that. If, you know, you could buy Solar, but you're probably having your supports do that. Maybe Hex? I mean, it's Weaver Storm, right?
Yeah.
I guess he'll just get a Hex and have his teammates do the damage, probably. We'll see about that. Yuma will be... So Ace TP'd bot, lived there a bit, now he gated top.
Celery spotted, gets the snowball off, and it's going to be towards Gunner. And okay, he's going to use Drinking Buddies to get pretty damn far away. He's going to get doomed, though, and the Sharpshooter will ensure it. In the end, Nouns do get what they came for, but it is just a support.
The cast range on Drinking Buddies is...
It's insane, yeah.
It's really high.
I hope they don't nerf that, though, because I think it's awesome to watch. It's really cool.
I mean, it's still a really good spell if you cut its range by 200, I think. It's 900 range on all levels.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Of tag team. That's wild. I think that spell, honestly, I think it's going to get scaling range. That's just the natural way to nerf it. Like 600 plus 100 per level, maybe. Something like that.
Quinn, 50 gold away from the Agnum Scepter, so we'll see how much of an impact this is going to have against that Stormsphere that we talked about. Copy, he will be going for the BKB, will be going for the Tofu kill as well, but actually can't get to the high ground quite... Okay, he does.
Yeah,
Just
Regen Rune,
mana.
quite good on Storm.
Indeed. Oh, I think technically it's worse than before. in a way, right? That they lowered the amount that you regen at, because if you get hit, it lowers it as well, right?
Yeah, so the base regen rune is worse in this stage of the game than it used to be, but now you still regenerate after taking damage. So on a hero like Storm, I think that's the hero that got nerfed the most by that change, because he was the best at not getting hit while spending his mana.
Yeah.
There's the big item alert, number 1.
Yeah.
So Quinn having a much better game than game 1, and this is the item of the game potentially. This unlocks a totally new playstyle for GAMIN, where they can now just initiate and kill Storm, they can initiate and kill Weaver, and the side of Nouns does not have saves. There's no disruption or anything to that effect, so...
The important thing is he did show there, so they know for a
Lelis
fact
is
he does
dead.
have Ags, and yeah, this will be the official reveal, I suppose. As actually misses the assimilate, but Lelis is dead nonetheless.
There's that crazy cousin with the gun.
That sounds very American of you to say, actually. As Copy will get the haste rune, so at least snags that.
I mean, look at Sniper. Look at him. And tell me... Okay, you can't see him because you're seeing... Oh, you can. All right. I didn't mean Tofu, okay? I meant Sniper. Tofu is very handsome and definitely not a crazy cousin. He's a very wholesome and nice cousin that we all love, and... Yes. We'll leave it at that.
We will.
I think we need to move the camera before all of Twitch chat lose focus on the actual game. Just looking at Tofu's face.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, all right.
Very hard to look away.
Yep.
So Yuma has a Maelstrom right now. And the question is, does he go for the Gleipnir right away? No, it'll be the BKB for survivability first. And then the Shard, which this has got to be a top 10 Shard in the game. It is absurdly good.
Yeah, it definitely... I mean, isn't this like more or less the only carry in Dota that buys their Shard
I'm sure
on the regular?
There's got to be a couple.
There's not many, at least.
Okay, Gleipnir being showed onto Copy.
Oh.
The zip away.
Close call. If he gets caught there by the Aetherrim, then he's dead. He might be dead anyway.
To the snowball and the silence from Quinn. So Dissimulate, or Resonant Pulse, I should say, owning him. And now Copy's going to have to stay off the map until he can finish his BKB. I mean, it is really hard to play against that without any sort of dispel.
Yeah.
But yeah, the pacing of the game definitely feels a lot different here, game with a 3K lead.
And this is how Brood games often go. If Brood is playing with a team that can take advantage of the vision Brood provides and just keep the ball rolling. And that was what GAMIN tried to do in the previous game with significantly different heroes. But the key difference in the last one was that, first of all, Nouns didn't lose the lanes as hard. And then the moves that they made were at the perfect timing to slow down stuff. Now is... In this game, this would be the perfect timing to find some big kills and slow things down, but it's difficult for them. The Void Spirit is super slippery, the Wind Ranger is a hard carry to kill, Brood has gone full tank, so who do you gank, right? Like, it's a very, very difficult position for the Dire, and the panel was talking about this. Storm's specialty as a hero is playing skirmishes and picking apart 2v2s, 3v3s, and in teamfights he has to find the support, but it's definitely not easy.
Yeah, should also mention that Gunnar on the Doom has a Blink Drums, but the creep that he has stolen is the Centaur, so for the Stomp. Now, the Purge actually isn't even that particularly good against the Silence from Quinn because he has 2 charges.
Yeah, he has 2 of them.
Pulse.
Yep.
Although, I mean, the Purge we talked about last game, a very low cooldown, but still not low enough. So we'll see how much this changes the trajectory for Mr. Gunnar. I mean, the War Stomp is a classic creep for the Doom. It does have a bit of a cast time, but we see a smoke now from GAMIN heading back into their jungle. But it looks like Nouns will be very aware of it and TP out. So Copy basically a recipe away from finishing the BKB. Sniper's Courier.
He showed his position there. They're going to ping him out because he killed a Courier. He might just, yeah, he's okay.
What if somebody was in the base at that point? That
All right, if he would have got ganked there.
Ganked in their base.
The only hero crazy enough to be there would be Sniper, and he doesn't have a stun. Well, he has Assassinate, but he wouldn't have time. And I feel like GAMIN's team comms right now is, we're not going back across the river.
I mean, despite all of this, and it's only 2,000 net worth lead for GAMIN. They have the tower advantage.
Nouns are doing a good job not bleeding here and finding their farm the best they can.
Yeah, it feels like they've been really on point with knowing when their power spikes are. and then committing at that point.
For sure.
Just kind of dodging right now, as they should. So they're going to go for the double BKB for the Weaver and the Storm, of course. And Doom, the third core for Nouns, will be opting for a Shiva's. And he's basically a recipe away from that.
And notice how Nouns are moving their heroes, right? Because they know that GAMIN's mindset is just full-on constricting them on their side of the map. So they're playing... This is this new... Or I say new, it's not so new anymore. Oh, Dirac. Jesus, that was close. So... This is the bigger map that we got, I want to say, when was it, a year ago, year and a half ago, whatever, coming into effect here. The old GAMIN you couldn't have done this against because these outskirts of the map didn't exist. But the way Nouns are playing the map now is they have Doom going all the way across the top left and Weaver going all the way across the bottom right and just finding farm that way.
So
that's how they find their goal.
Gunnar forces several TPs to ensure that they get the Wisdom Rune, and now that they're there, they might as well take the Tormy.
Yep.
Take hefty damage here. Imagine if Gunnar stuck
Can they
around.
do it? Okay, this is close. They can't do it.
Dyrachyo, well, we've seen this time and time again.
Dyrachyo, don't stifling dagger it. Don't do it.
Yeah.
All right, Quinn's into open.
Celery,
okay.
you can always, okay. That was hard to watch, but they get it in the end. Quinn with the shard. And Nouns will follow suit.
Oh no, are they also gonna struggle? Oh, why do you, he had to stop Sunring. He was, oh my god, these are... Wow.
Close call.
Valve's greatest invention. Everybody loves these.
Wow, Copy gets the shard.
Yep, because Weaver bought his, and...
Well, he was never going to be...
Wait, hang on,
anyway. So he's low, he was lower net.
Oh, he's lower net worth than Doom. Yeah. That's actually not that surprising when you consider how the laning stage went. I was talking about how little CS Weaver had. And then you consider Doom had a better laning stage and he has Devour, so yeah. But now Weaver will pull ahead with that extra 1,400 gold he got gifted, essentially. Still 3,000 here for Gaming Gladiators. I wonder when Roche is going to be a thing, because, you know, Brood could definitely go to work. They're hard to contest into with the auras, but they don't have the best Roshing lineup. Well, they will do it now, though. All right.
Yep. They sure will. So Roche #1 should go the way of GAMIN here.
Oh, this is faster than I expected. I mean, tag team is quite crazy good. So.
Tag team?
Yeah, I mean, it's still tag team, right?
I guess, in a way. Gives 2 members damage. So it's not nearly as good.
Still good for Roshing.
Indeed. And Quinn will take the Aegis, no big surprise there. Except for Synderin, who I'm sure would have guessed the wrong person if we gave him a chance. But he has learned from last game to just not give an opinion.
Yep.
Which is usually your forte, actually.
Really?
Yeah, you're very neutral on everything.
Okay, I believe you.
So what does GAMIN want to get out of this Aegis? And actually Nouns, surprisingly, are going to smoke into it. Surprise factor, potentially. Copy will run into Fly to get smoked as well. I mean, last game we did see Quinn take the Aegis, die immediately, and then Nouns just basically won the game off that fight. So feels like a similar move, but definitely different circumstances this time.
It's very different.
They're looking for the gate play, and actually, GAMIN were there just a moment ago.
They're kind of fake clicking it, right? Oh, they do commit now.
Dyrachyo in the trees, power shot.
Wow, this is so awkward.
Creeps. Oh my goodness.
Oh my god.
Oh my goodness. They're not smoked anymore though, so it's even more awkward as the jump in from Gunnar is unsuccessful. He Shivas one hero, now he runs away in shame.
I was praising Nouns for their timing last game. That was really unfortunate. They were there, they had the perfect moment of opportunity for like 10 seconds, but they don't know.
Yeah.
They don't have vision, and then when he finally is like, okay, screw it, I'm going, the moment is gone.
Dyrachyo, he's gonna show himself, he's gonna get doomed, I believe. Bushwhack, okay, he's gonna get saved by the Tusk, so the Doom not able to be used in a very successful fashion. Actually, it was on Quinn, so that's just the first Aegis. Now the runaway tactics from Nouns. They already lost their Phoenix. Lelis will TP out in the midst of all the spiders. So essentially a Doom for the Aegis.
Very good disengage. I thought that was gonna cost them dearly. When the egg got popped there, and the position that Game Gladiators were in, I mean, it's still not a good outcome. You're going to lose 2 towers, but silver lining there. That could have been even worse, I think, for the side of Nouns. Quick reaction from Gaming Gladiators to protect on that initiation. They're kind of baiting Duracho out front, but Celery was quick to cover, and they obviously have their auras to protect him with the Pipe Greaves. Now it's Glyph time.
Yep, high ground attempt from GAMIN with a 4K lead now. No Aegis, of course.
They are
Quinn
just
very healthy.
They keep going. All right.
Bushwhack to try to slow this down a bit. Swarm as well. They don't have Doom's ultimate. Maybe that is what is prompting this response from Gaming Gladiators. Bushwhack onto Quinn. Zip in from Copy, not going to be fully committed to. No, Gleipnir into the instant silence onto the Weaver. The Sunray trying to heal up the Weaver at the last moment here, but no. Down goes Yuma. And of course, Doom left with very little resources as Copy is the next hero on the list. He does have mana to get away, trying to kite Quinn to the high degree. Jumps in really deep and just gets insta-gibbed. With such low HP, very risky play. Nice drop from Celery to dodge some damage here, but 4 kills for GAMIN. And this should be a full set of racks, if not more. Lelis being slowed to a crawl just outside of his fountain. So close, yet so far. Full team wipe for GAMIN.
And all 3 cores, it's 15 seconds. They'll be back to defend their second lane, but that is an absolutely massive blow. And what a play call to keep pushing. They didn't have Aegis. Duracho was half health. They just make the read. We're stronger than them. It doesn't matter. They don't have Doom, they don't have Supernova, we can do this. And they get the maximum value out of that play. Full lane, 5 kills, and a clean disengage, and all they lost was Quinn.
And they force out the last fortification for quite a while on that tower there.
Yeah. Very, very nicely.
See how fast they want to reset, because of course Roche will not be back anytime soon. But with this 9K lead, the world is GAMIN's oyster to some degree.
I mean, this is going to be kind of telling if they choose to push again now, or if it literally was, okay, no Doom, no Supernova, we can do whatever we want. And it does seem that's the play call, because your conditions now are better than on your first push, with the exception of those 2 cooldowns, and they feel like that's the biggest deal. Not having that in their arsenal was enough for the push. Now that they have them, they're going to chill, play the map, control the waves. Don't know if they're going to wait for another Roche. It's quite far away. The earliest respawn is 3 minutes away.
Yeah, and by then, the Daedalus will be there for Duracho, and that is a scary proposition. I mean, that's something we didn't really mention. A lot of times against this winner at this tournament, the pick for the opposing team, at least one Blademan, right? Like a Kunkka or a Centaur or something like that. I mean, Doom could theoretically buy it, but that's not a normal item, at least.
I wouldn't actually have been that mad at that. Could have been interesting. I'm not saying that would have changed the outcome of the game, but I don't mind that idea to get Blade Mail and Doom in this game. Probably not anymore.
They're not stopping. Top lane is what they have their sights set on.
Nouns are kind of slow to get here.
They are, but they do have every spell at their disposal. Tower's already dead, though. And they get scanned out.
I mean, GAMIN knows this. There is no way they're not flanking us when they're not.
For sure. Gunner's going to show, pops the Shivas. Gonna blink in, but nobody to be found quite yet. Sunray going to try to provide a little bit extra, but everything missing here for Nouns, even the sharpshooter. As GAMIN dodging left and right, it's like a mini game. And now Nouns will have to go back to the high ground without the surprise tactics at their disposal.
Yeah, so unfortunately for Nouns, if you do want to make that flank move, which I appreciate them going for, I think that was the best play, they have to make it quicker. When you let the enemy team take 2/3 of the tower before you start going there, they know you're coming from the flank. The flank move has to effectively hit as they start sieging, so they second guess whether you're doing it or not. That was incredibly obvious.
Right, Celery is found. Gunner's going to jump in to get the silence, but the Sunray being used to heal Gunner up just a little bit. Yuma has to use his BKB and retreat, so really not much damage done just to Celery. So another bit of a whiff here from Nouns. They don't really expend anything huge. Still have Doom. They still have, well, they have Egg, just not enough mana to use it, apparently, at this moment in time. The question is, does GAMIN continue? We're a minute away from knowing when Roche will spawn.
Yeah.
And Lelis he's going to transition into trying to do a little bit of right-click, I would think. Although, I mean, he did take the Nemesis Curse. I guess that's from, because he's so long range, extra damage is just what you go for.
They need all the damage they can get. It's the biggest problem for the Dire right now is actually locking down and killing heroes. So if the Hoodwink can do that little bit extra on an Acorn shot, could make a difference. Gunner's trying to wipe out the spiders. Unfortunately, they will get grieved. So they will survive the first volley. And maybe that's just going to be Ace building up an army to siege top now. We'll see. This time Nouns are going to be there quicker. I mean, they have to because they don't have a buffer.
I mean, a lot of them have just been in the base waiting, so it's a lot of time wasted as well.
Yeah, they're just now we're at the point where they're losing flat out on economy. Like GAMIN have control of 80% of the map, and the only way Nouns really get it back is with a one fight. They have to find a smoke, they have to jump the right target, get the Doom off. And the question is, who's the best target? It's probably Quinn, but it's hard to find reliable kills against a team that has the Pike on Sniper to get him out of trouble, Greaves, Pipe, and drinking buddies into Snowball.
Yep, and I believe Quinn was working on a Lincoln's.
Yep,
so
he almost has it.
That's another obstacle for the Doom. Speaking of the Doom, we'll have to pop the BKB.
And TP out against the punch.
Yeah, he's dead. Easy kill, and he does not have buyback. So this is a 5 versus 4 for GAMIN. Let's see if they take advantage of this. We can see that the Roche timer a minute and a half away. So this would theoretically be the correct play to go for this now. This tier 3 is dead as well. And I believe they're just gonna have to give it up. They do have fortification though, as there's the initiation onto Copy, but not gonna fully commit. As the Assassinate was being proc, but not gonna fly out.
Very patient of Copy to hold his BKB there. It was clearly what Quinn was going for, was baiting it out, but Copy felt safe enough.
They're gonna have to defend here, still 12 seconds away from getting their Doom back. Does have his ultimate. The range racks at the very least is gonna fall here in all likelihood. Actually, we'll play it a little bit safer. Ace will get drinking buddy. Drinking buddies. How do you even use that in a sentence?
Did they use it on you?
He's getting drunk.
He gets drinkies buddied.
He's having a drink tonight. So they'll back away, play this safe, and go for the next Roche in all likelihood, which maybe sound like a broken record. Nouns are going to have to contest this when that eventually comes. I mean, it is daytime for another 2 minutes, so
yep.
Do they even want to relocate to that area of the map?
I mean, do they have a choice?
I'm talking about from GAMIN's side.
Do they have a choice but to win this game? Can they do anything else but win, except the last game?
Yeah, we'll see.
I think the best way to get Roche is to stay up here. You know? Just keep controlling it for as long as you like. If you ever find a singular pick, you have the choice of, do we actually want to start heading down for the Roche, or do we want to just go for the GG? Because as long as this wave is pushed in this aggressively, Nouns can never go for Roche. The Roshan lineup is too slow. If they go for it, they get mega.
Like as you're saying this, you're doing the literal opposite.
No, but it's fine. I'm saying by doing what they're doing, they get the choice, right? And they choose to do it now, but they didn't have to. This could have waited another minute if they wanted and then take it top, right? It's like, what's the real risk? As long as you keep pushing in top and the enemy team has to show heroes, then they're not Roshan.
You even curse Roshan. That's crazy.
Roshan's going to survive this.
Yes.
I think Roshan will win TI.
So you can't use it ironically because the gods know. GAMIN himself knows as Gunner. He's gonna go all out for this. His smoke is popped though, as Celery is gonna be shown by the Shivas, and Gunner not interested in him, and already the Aegis is taken. Dyrachyo gets the Aegis, and this is a dead Doom. 50 seconds on the deck. Gets off his ultimate onto the Windrunner, but again, has the Aegis, so doesn't really mind dying. The Snowball will keep him alive just a little bit longer, as they're going to be able to take out Phoenix easily. Nice time lapse to dodge some damage, but Nouns are going to have to hightail away. We'll lose Lelis in the process, though. They have 2 buybacks, but not the Doom. And even if he did, no ultimate to use.
Yeah.
Is that your analysis?
All right.
God, you're the best.
Here's my analysis. Nouns are in trouble. But
all right.
Here, okay, the good news for Nouns is there's a 3rd game.
Yes.
And in that one, things can go different than this one and more similar to the first one. And the first one was good for them because they won.
Panel,
So
take notes of this
they could do that.
Unbelievable speech by Cinderin. Hopefully it's motivating you to say smart things. I think we all got dumber in the process, though. All right, they're going to have 5 members up for Nouns, so they'll have the opportunity to defend this. But you can see the Roche banner right in front of the Tier 4 towers as Copy getting destroyed. He's done. Does have buyback, though.
Here
The Whirlwind
comes
for
the machine
Dyrachyo
gun.
still has the Aegis, though, as the egg is going to get consumed. Very delicious for Gaming Gladiators to eat. Believe it was scrambled this time around. As Ace, they are not doing anything to this hero right now. Gunner brought back into the fray, destroyed again. Copy will have to zip back into the fountain as a double kill for Quinn. Now it's left in the 5 versus 3 as the GGs come out. So this will in fact go to a game number 3.
Yeah. As I was saying early on in this game, I feel like GAMIN made some really good adjustments after the problems they faced in game number 1, and that's just class, you know? They had some problems. They still ran their Brood back this time as a 3rd pick, but they built around it really differently and made for a much cleaner game, so well done.
Indeed, and I believe this is the first game 3 of the day. Is that not correct, Shiver?
It is correct, Sunspan. Thank you so much. Gaming Gladiators, the first team today to force out a 3rd game. After game 1 didn't go their way, game 2 looked vastly different, Lacoste. This was what they were planning when they picked the Brood.
Yeah, the strongest teams are going to be always the ones who can make adjustment after losing game 1 instead of needing like a day or 2 to make some huge adjustment. The good thing is they realized what went wrong and they changed the draft completely, 180 or 360 as some people like to call it, because
maybe not 360.
I know, I'm just, being sarcastic. You gotta have to read it. And the reason why is because this Broodmother went for a completely different item build this time around. This was Broodmother going for auras instead of Orchid because he was playing into Doom. He saw what he can do with the Purge Creep, and also different mid hero for Quinn. He was very active, got that 15-16 minute Aghanim Scepter, and they balled up together, not allowing Storm Spirit to get the pickoffs on the side lane, growing together strong, getting another aura, getting that pipe, and snowballing from there.
Yeah, that 15-minute Aghanim Scepter from Void Spirit was definitely a game changer because in game 1, the Brood built the Orchid, which slowed down her team fighting aura or item like the mech was in this game by a few minutes. And off of those few minutes, Nouns were able to make a lot happen. The key difference here for me is not the draft, to be honest, in this game, but the way that they played. They actually 5-manned after the laning stage. In game 1, they won the laning stage, but they distributed their heroes across the map in a very split manner. They wanted to get farm on one side with the Brood, farm on the other side with the Io Razor. This time around, after the laning stage, with that 15-minute Ags, we saw that like Tusk was smoking the Void Spirit, and Brood, who wasn't in the smoke, was connecting anyway to the smoke from the top lane. They wanted to make sure that they were grouping up at all times and exploiting Nouns when they were weak, and that's just what they did.
Yeah. And it also kind of hurts Nouns a little bit when you're carrying. I think a lot of times we praise Nouns when Yuma is on a carry that when the game progresses, like every 5-10 minutes, like okay, he's going to bring an item to the next fight, he's going to scale into it. Weaver is slightly uncomfortable here. Like if you don't kill in lane and progress that to like furthering your item progression, playing even or behind doesn't feel that comfortable for the hero. And he finishes 0-2-2. It's kind of basically the point I'm making. And then yeah, I think GAMIN this time, Quinn, Aghanim's Rush, like Effie's mentioning, it was perfect. Like they have the Aegis on Void Spirit, and there's a moment when Nouns, they're grouped by the tree line, they go to jump the Windrunner, but he then comes in, silences 3 heroes, then Tusk comes in with a Drinking Buddies, drags him away. Gunner just throws a Doom out on the Void Spirit. I just want to Doom anyone, but I think this game was so much better from GAMIN that they could take the fight to Nouns. It's refreshing to see. Like you need to find your opponent, kill them. Don't allow Nouns just to scale up that we've seen time and time again.
Yeah, because I want to talk about the first 10 minutes that we saw in this game, Effie. I kind of feel like we saw GAMIN, obviously they dominated the lanes, they did great. We saw Nouns not dominating the lanes, but they got all the kills. Why wasn't there a better balance there for Nouns? Was that a skill issue or just a different playstyle?
I think the key points that I would mention are just not having the Treant Protector, which makes a really big difference in the safe lane. Usually the safe lane is in a better position for Nouns because of the tree plus Yuma lane, but that didn't exist in this game. Phoenix is a much weaker laner in terms of protecting something like a Weaver, so we saw a very slow start from Yuma this game. And the other point is it's just GAMIN. They win lanes. They won lanes in game 1. They just didn't win afterwards. This game 2, they played to their strengths again, which was laning, and Nouns couldn't find the way back into the game after lanes that they found in that last game. And that's just because of better play from GAMIN. They just grouped up earlier and didn't give them any like spaces or opportunities to exploit.
Yeah, because of Ace, like we see him here, like the way that he was able to play the Broodmother this time around. Lacoste mentioned it with like the change up. You don't go for Orchid because you respect Gunnar going for the Dispel creep on the Doom. You get the auras, and not only that, the way Yuma played into Broodmother was super aggressive. At 10 minutes, he had 3.2k net worth. Compare that to 4k of the Windrunner, 4.4k of the Void Spirit. Like the disparity in farm was night and day. Like Yuma did not leave laning phase going, I can twin gate and make moves like he has been doing. He was a Weaver that was starved.
He tried a couple times.
Sure, he tried, but he was a starved Weaver who tried to kill a Brood, who didn't, and then you can't really play the map that well because of Void Spirit plus Broods. I think it's like the lane just went poorly, and you have a Weaver matchup into a game where if you don't, snowball the game, you're just a Weaver. It's not the strongest hero.
No, didn't really end up working out. Is this enough reason, Lacoste, to ban out the Brood? Because they let it through twice now.
Yeah, I think so. The G2IG, when they played against GAMIN Gladiators, they did ban out Lone Druid, which we've seen, I believe, only once from GAMIN. But they also did brand the Brood. We were like, haven't seen too much of a Brood Mother, but there's a good reason why the teams are banning it. They do have the full information, what teams are playing in the scrims, etc. So it's kind of easier for them. And I would want to see this Brood Mother banned if I'm Nouns. And I also don't think that they're going to get their hands on Treant Protector because they won their last 4 games. GAMIN understood what the big issue is in the safe lane and banned it out. And I don't think they're going to get maybe ever hands on Treant Protector throughout this tournament.
Fair enough, but then pick your poison, Effie. If Brood gets banned, Nouns has been first pick both games so far. And they ban out Enchantress, Chen, and Lone Druid. So who are you going to kick out instead of Brood? Who are you gonna not ban?
For the Brood, you mean?
Yeah.
Between Enchantress, Chen, and Lone Druid. Well, we don't know if they have 3 bans or 4, depending on the pick order.
Let's assume
you could in theory just ban 4. If 3,
yeah,
I think you take out the Enchantress. You swap her with the Brood, or you just let the Brood through. You beat it in game 1. Maybe you have a failsafe where your safe lane is a little bit stronger in game 3. Some tricks up their sleeve. We don't know exactly like what they're capable of bringing because we haven't seen their pocket strats.
Yeah, you agree?
Or you don't ban the Lone Druid. We've seen the Lone Druid where it can be heavily tempo, but it's not a aura buying tempo, and it's one that can fall off with the lack of team fight. So if you can scale, Nouns have scaled and become the team that plays into the late game. So if they respect the Lone Druid, understand its early timings like they did in Brood game 1, the logic dictates that they should be able to outplay him. But again, we'll see. Fly's gonna have to cook up some idea for game 3 because you're on like a little bit of a hot streak, beating all the big teams, and suddenly you've been stopped in your tracks. Like, you can't doubt your prep. That's obviously the worst thing to do, but we'll see if they have like a couple more layers to their ideas now.
You did say at the start of this series that this was going to be their real test, and
yes.
I think going to a 3rd game will definitely prove, especially to you.
Because that means so much.
No, because you said you kind of feel like they won mostly because the other teams aren't drafting their best.
Yeah. It was a combination of their opponents having weak drafts, Nouns capitalizing on it, and I think this game from GAMIN was like the strongest draft. Of course, GAMIN win, but I think from all of them, this was like the real challenge that Nouns had to face. In regards to draft, plays obviously very different argument. So I kind of think that if Nouns obviously can close out this game, then that is now the beginning of their journey. You can't get too excited for upsets too early because then you just get upset when it doesn't happen. So win this game, create the momentum. NA's behind you then, and you're the first NA team out of the in the top 6. Yeah, because obviously they're the only NA team. Sorry guys.
Yeah, and how are they going to do that, Lacoste? Because we know that they're not going to get their hands on a Treant, and I would imagine Mirana is going to be removed as well. They did have the chance to pick up the Luna, but it was already like kind of pre-countered. What's the best way for Nouns to take this 3rd game?
I didn't really like the double range in the safe lane. It can work, but they got stomped with this Broodmother. Ace and Tofu, they are one of the strongest duos when it comes down to laning. So I want to see, these big bodies, something that can soak up the damage, sacrifice your life, you get the trade on your carry. One of the reasons why Yuma wasn't as successful is they didn't really have that. They were unable to replicate what they've been doing. Your position 5 goes in, he dies, you collect solo XP, or maybe you live, and then, things are going to go from there. But yeah, should definitely focus more on laning stage, because in both of these games, they did lose the laning stage. 10 minutes in, they were almost 4k gold down in the second game, so definitely something to work on.
Yeah, and if you're focusing on laning stage, definitely it means you're focusing heavily on which supports you're going to get, right?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we've already talked a lot about the Treant Protector. I mean, another Tusk is always vanned out, but other options could be the ET, it could be the Clock from the safe lane. You don't have to resort to a Phoenix, and for your position 4, you need damage yourself, right? So you could go for the Snap, you could go for another Hoodwink, you could go for a Jakiro. Like, you have options to secure your lanes that you can take.
I'm wondering, if this Treant Protector is so good, which we know actually in the hands of both of these guys is that good, why has Treant in this series in particular not moved up in terms of priority? Because it's getting banned only second phase here in the game. So if you want a first phase pick it, you can. What's the downside?
Well, I mean, when heroes like Doom are being let through, that you're prioritizing as nouns, and you don't want to give away the slot for Doom and take the Treant instead. But who knows what happens in this game 3. Maybe they can identify that they want their safe lane to be stronger, and they prioritize the Treant, but then you're giving up potential Sand Kings, potential Dooms, right? These offlaners that are so high in value, they're not going to make it through that second draft phase.
I could see a world where you pick Tree, give them Doom, just to then have a range carry. That Tree plus range carry can then beat Doom in lane, force him to play like on the back foot. Like, Doom has been beaten multiple times. It's not like it's like the 10-0 hero of the Road to International so far. I think that could maybe be a variation, is just lock it in, allow them to have it. It's like, now your lane should be the better lane. Could be an option.
You think GAMIN would first pick Doom if they given the chance?
I don't remember them picking up Doom ever so far at the Road to TI, other than...
They've dabbled with it.
Yeah, but yesterday it didn't work out, right? Yesterday they lost with it. It was the only hero they lost with yesterday in their series against G2IG, and it's also the only time they've gotten their hands on Doom, and I don't know how many times they've banned out against them.
They picked it on 17 in one of those games, so I think they're gonna stay away from the Doom, at least in the first phase.
Problem solved. I feel like we just figured it out.
I mean, at least for, that's where gaming's annoying, because you need to, I say not waste, but it's in a good sense, you need to waste bans on Chen, Ench, Lundred or Brood, etc., which then opens up. But I think, if you're nouns, the cool thing to do would be to lock in a first pick hero that maybe you're not expecting, but that is what you expect from best of 3s, best of 5s at the International. Like, the strong drafters, they don't care about the meta anymore. They go, what's working for us against our opponent? Then you lock it in. It's like why I expect Luna potentially to be a first pick down the line, Treant to be a first pick down the line. It's like, you need your drafter to identify what's actually working for you, and not to, follow everyone else and going, well, other teams pick this hero, so we have to do it. No, you pick what you are winning with and punish your opponent as soon as the draft starts.
And so many times we've seen these teams, like these more experienced captains, drafters in general, who kind of tend to break the draft in game 3, where they don't care about what has happened before. They leave some of this OP stuff open, because you can't pick all of them. Like, you're not gonna pick your Omni, your Treant Protector, your Shadow Demon. You're not gonna pick all 3 of those heroes, so they kind of leave everything, because they think that they're gonna make better choices when it comes down to drafting, and they believe in themselves, and that's what I want to see.
That's what Tundra did in the last game, right? Like, game 1, they pick Invoker down the line. That works pretty well. Game 2, it's their first pick, second pick of the overall draft, but they identified what worked and they pick it. So yeah, it's not a uncommon thing to do, but only kind of strong drafters are able to do it.
Also, sorry to walk the conversation back a few steps, but last night in Quinn's interview, I think Ted told him the Doom stats from that day. And Quinn was like, yeah, we probably won't be picking it again. So I just wanted to throw that tidbit out there into the abyss, even though it was a few sentences ago.
I wonder how much he thinks about, mind gaming the opponent. Oh, we're not gonna pick Doom, guys, I swear.
Wasn't there the event where the social media team did the tweet about not playing the hero, then they played the hero?
Something like that. I seem to remember something.
It was like Thunder Awaken or Predator or something. That was like an old
But Team Spirit, they're Giga Chads. They show that Collapse played like 7 games of Magnus and that he won 6 out of those 7. That's their social media tweet. They're like, you know what? This Magnus is coming.
Yeah. And then they still get their hands on it somehow. I wonder, because we talk a lot about Doom and how they will go with the first bans and stuff. What do the teams talk about in a break like this? We've seen both teams win a game now, and according to the wise words of Synderen, all Nouns has to do is repeat game 1 because that's when they won. So do that again.
You know what I want to see? I want to see, because this is one of Yuma's better heroes, I want to see them play Alchemist, because Synderen, he always has some smart stuff to say whenever there's an Alchemist in the game.
Yeah. You want to just give the example for the people that are not in the loop?
So, May 2020, he says, if it's an Alchemist game, it is an Alchemist game.
Do you want a serious answer to the question?
It was actually March 2020. I was gonna say, because it was right before COVID and May was full on ink.
Was it?
Yeah.
I wasn't even trying. I randomly guessed the number of heroes.
Yeah.
You asked the question
yesterday. No, you're kind of popping off.
All right.
To answer your question.
Yeah, I'd love to answer that one, but yeah, off you go.
Oh no, I'll just throw it to you, T, after saying this. But if I'm Nouns, I think what we're talking about mostly is the safe lane and how we enable it better and bring Yuma into the game, because what didn't happen for them was Yuma's ability to rotate early and have impact. Like, we did see him TPing mid, trying to run down Quinn's Void Spirit, but at that point he was quite behind and he couldn't have the same kind of entry T.
Yeah, and going to your question of like what do they talk about during the game, like you kind of expect like the pro players to perfectly dissect everything, like this move is bad, this move is bad, but realistically, they just go super surface level. Like, could we smoke? Yes, no. Could we do Roshan? Yes, no. Did we have enough stuns? Like, they really simplify them. So in between games, they're not trying to find a person that was at fault or this. They're just going to go, what was our draft doing?
Oh, they do it way different from how we are.
Yeah, people always assume that it's like, oh, that BKB usage was terrible and this smoke was game losing. No, they just talk super simple.
You can't fix that. Like,
yeah, exactly. Yeah,
it's irrelevant to talk about some of this stuff because in the game 3 you might not be able to replicate. You're gonna click your buttons. But one thing they're also talking about most likely is if we get the dub here, where we're gonna go for the dinner and stuff.
True.
Just celebrate. We're gonna have a couple of days off until we play again.
That's true. Winner is top 6. It's a big step forward from guaranteed top 12 in the upper bracket to top 6 straight away, and of course no longer having to play anywhere other than the Royal Arena, which is a big honor for whoever moves forward in the upper bracket. We got game 3, Gaming Gladiators' Radiant side. They chose that after Nouns prioritized first pick, and they changed it up. They picked Wind Ranger. Doom is uncontested at the moment, and as Centaur, I feel like we've not seen this hero in forever. Been banned so many times. Why?
Because we've seen a lot of Doom, and
that's true.
Hero counters Doom, you stampede, run away, or you are the one who's gonna get doomed, and your carry and mid laner are gonna be pretty happy about that one. But I was thinking whether they want to go for something like this. Maybe I think the other option would be to pick up the Tusk, where you're securing your safe lane. It's good. You have a little bit of a snowball save. You can punch Wind Ranger when she runs in with the BKB, stop that damage from going through. Stampede is pretty much the same. It's more reliable thing where you're running away with the Stampede. You are natural buyer for the Crimson, and you also buy into Blade Mail, which is always going to be great for or against Wind Ranger.
Need to be careful though when you're playing like the Centaur Windrunner matchups, because supports get to lead that lane very quickly. Like the Windrunner lane, you're not really killing Centaur. So the pos 5 from Nouns will twin gate to make moves. Same thing for Centaur. If you want to keep killing Windrunner, sure, 4 will stay, but also you can just follow that movement. So this is the type of opening that I'm now looking at the supports. Like, can the supports bring life to the early game? Because in the 1v1 matchup, they probably just exist together, and there's opportunities to contest runes, kill side lanes. It's all about the supports now.
But Centaur also creates a lot of problems for Wind Ranger. Like, he's a Blade Mail buyer if needed. A lot of Centaurs will opt for Retaliate on lane instead of earlier levels of Double Edge, just so they can stand and not be pressured there and, soak up all the farm, like T mentioned, when their supports rotate. Another thing that this Wind Ranger can be concerned about is that if Centaur is solo this entire time, he's kind of going to be put in a position where does he choose to trade farm because he's not going to go for a kill, or is he going to choose to overreact, go through the gate himself, and try to kill on the opposite side of the map and then be punished by the enemy mid laner.
The reason why they opt to go for Retaliate most of the time is you are not going to kill a Wind Ranger, especially if she's paired up with some strong position 5. One of the reasons why we don't see a lot of these like offlaners who were traditionally popular, like Tidehunter, most of the carries are ranged nowadays, so you're not putting a lot of pressure. And you, with the Max Retaliate, of course, with the Blade Mail, can stay like in the middle, sometimes even on top of the network, depending how your lane's gonna go. You need to be careful about the rotations through the Twin Gates, because this is where you're most vulnerable pre-level 6.
And we even mentioned Stampede versus Whirlwind. Like, conceptually, when Ranger presses Whirlwind, you try to kite her out. Same with Mirana, she presses Solar Flare, you try to kite her out. Doom presses Doom, you kite him out, you just Stampede away. Your whole team resets away from the Whirlwind, you wait for the duration to end, and you go back into the fight.
I wouldn't mind seeing, if they don't want to pick their position 4 here, maybe down the line, like for Celery, like Crystal Maiden type hero. The early route against Winona, we don't see it too much, but when you press Winona to get in, if you can just on a position 5, okay Winona, you're now not utilizing that, you're stuck. It could help them quite nice. But, okay, they go for Omni. Guardian Angel, very nice against.
This is the first Omni we've seen from the games that all 4 of us covered, because I don't remember seeing Omni Knight at all.
No, we saw it banned a lot. It was actually ignored in the previous game and ignored in game number 1. Like, this entire series has been ignored, but before this it was...
GAMIN haven't played it as well.
Only been...
I don't think.
Banned. And let's see, GAMIN have not been allowed to play it once, but then again, neither has Nouns. It's been mostly banned.
And I got what I wanted.
The Alchemist.
The Alchemist game, there it is, yeah.
Wait, so who's playing what then? Are we thinking a copy Wind Ranger? Are we thinking a Lelith's Wind Ranger? Are we thinking a copy Alchemist?
Alchemist has played...
Lelith's Alchemist.
There we go, in the 4 role, sometimes.
Yeah.
Going for Solar Crest, Blink. It can be played in the carry role, we've seen it mid. Like, it's been played in any lane, so we'll wait and see where it goes.
Okay.
They just want to keep their flex open right now, and Alchemist is a hero that they've already played. They don't want to give away too much, and they want to close out their, 18 pick, the last pick that they get, with something really gotcha. So we can't really tell too much, because right now, as it stands, the Alchemist doesn't look too valuable within the draft outside of flex.
The one time that we did have Yuma play Alchemist was against Falcons. They did pair it up on the lane with the Crystal Maiden, but it's also a game that they lost.
I think that you shift this Wind Ranger now to position 4, play Alchemist as a carry with Crystal Maiden in the lane. There are good counters to Wind Ranger and the Whirlwind. With the Omni Knight, there's Guardian Angel, with the Centaur Stampede as well, so you might need to shift this, and this might be one of the few Wind Rangers that's seen shifted to other roles other than position 1.
It's also like a tempo shift from Nouns in this series. Like, they're looking to play the lanes and try and make moves happen, right? It's like you got kill potential with Alk plus CM, the Windrunner, early Maelstrom, BKB, Alk, early Radiance. Like, Omni likes playing games where it's like you secure a lane, you sit back for a little bit, you might TP to mid to repel, but then the game breaks open when everyone has items. So I can see Nouns trying and fight into vulnerabilities of Omni, but now you get the profit pick for GAMIN, a hero that also gets banned out quite a lot or ignored, and here it is. It's most likely from the mid lane, set the pace, break the towers whilst Alk's trying to farm. If you keep taking down those tier 1s, it can hurt you.
This could also be safe lane profit with Omni, and it'll kind of do well against whatever it sees. Plus, the early teleport into the Alchemist and CM lane, they're going to be very vulnerable. Those heroes, while they do have strong tempo together, if you bring in +1 hero to that lane with something like an instant TP like Furion, they die very quickly and very easily.
They need damage though from their position 4. Like, we've always mentioned Snapfire in this position. Rubik as well is fine due to the thing, but okay, a Sky. We don't see too often, but plenty of damage. Like, my fear for GAMIN was going to be they try and make moves. If they pick another like defensive support, then they might just run into a brick wall quite early on.
I like this a lot. If this is going to be position 1 Alchemist, what it looks like, you silence the Alchemist, he's going to stun himself, then you re-engage on top of him with the Centaur, with the slow throw-in grenade, and you could get a kill. However, on the side of Nouns, I do like Crystal Maiden as a pickup against the Centaur, so you have this like cheap spell that is great against the Stampede, and exactly what we said that it's going to happen in Game 3. Both of these teams experienced when it comes down to playing So they're going to shift everything. We are seeing new heroes come out. They have new ideas. It's very important to win this one to secure top 6, so they're bringing in some pocket strats.
But do you like CM versus Sky plus Centaur? I feel like that's such an easy lane to die in. Sky
Well,
plus
we didn't
Centaur
see Skyrat mage before that, so the CM, she could suffer in that lane, that's for sure.
I foresee a lot of suffering on that lane, especially with Nature Prophet existing in the game. He can TP and add some bonus suffering, because while Sky did fall out of favor the last year, he's always been excellent at killing in lane, because Concussive Shot is so low cooldown, he outranges supports like Crystal Maiden. He's always going to be able to output damage. Later in the game, you're going to have, Centaur blink stunning in on top of a Skywrath ult on top of it. They should be able to insta-kill the supports that they see.
And Omni and Skywrath Mage don't farm too well, but because of the Nature's Prophet, if they get to control the game, towers are falling, they're just going to be boosted with this, tower gold that will make their game easier. For Nouns, I think they're still pretty happy with what they got, because if they just, weather the storm in the early game from Gaming, where is the team fight from Gaming? It's like you got one stomp. Where's the stuns, right? It's one stomp, and then that's about it. You might... You don't really buy Atos or...
Yeah, but the weathering the storm is more like, at this point, looks like weathering a hurricane or a typhoon.
It's a spooky early game, yeah.
It looks incredibly spooky.
I mean, they do have tools at their disposal. This Beastmaster is going to be a good pick because that gives them tempo themselves to play on, because Beastmaster already sees the lane that he's playing into. You also have tools to defend towers. Maybe they're not ideal, but you do have Crystal Maiden's Frostbite for Nature's Prophet's Treant. That guy gets bit by CM. You also have the Acid Spray for tower defense. So while the tempo is there from GAMIN, Nouns aren't completely vulnerable.
The place in the game where Nouns struggled previously, both games, has been those first 10 minutes that GAMIN is so known for playing so crisp. Is there anything that they can get themselves as their last pick, which is most likely going to be 4 copy, that will, I don't know, help them
I like
weather
Shaker
this?
again. I've been very impressed the way he played Shaker when they were playing against Team Spirit. Sanking is banned, right? Or
Sand King has been banned first phase, yes.
In the first phase. So I think Shaker's fine. I mean, there's going to be that instant initiation that sometimes you lack. I'm not worried for that damage because you have Wind Ranger, Power Shot, Long Range, Crystal Maiden, Beastmaster comes online super early on, and Alchemist, the 12 to 14 minute radiance, depending how much of gold you're getting from the game.
Oh, it's a Razor they remove. Does it tell us something about what they want for the retro? Because Shaker is on their radar. Do they maybe expect one of the heroes of Nouns to go mid instead?
It could be because they have the Omni, they don't care too much about Shaker. Because if they're sieging, you put the Repel in, then Shaker can't initiate because of Repel. You layer that with a BKB. Maybe for the fights, they don't care too much about it compared to the overall scaling that a Razor could bring.
Could be.
Yeah, like Shaker just, when you pick Shaker for now, it just makes the whole draft go, it works.
Ooh, well, does this work? Big Dragon?
It's more tankiness, and like when we talk about GAMIN's lineup, if you survive their early game, like Nature's Prophet playing into DK, you don't really kill him later on. Alchemist with multiple items like AC plus Radiance, you don't really bite MKB that early, so you can fall off there as well. Beastmaster, Shivas, etc. Like, I can see Nouns just going, guys, if we just survive GAMIN, we'll be perfectly fine. And yeah, GAMIN go for the Monkey King. Doratio has played it several times, and it kind of complements the pace that they're trying to set. You, down the line, can get a Skadi that will hurt the Alk and the DK.
It's a mid-monkey.
Yeah, they saw the matchup. They saw that this Dragonite, most likely, is going to go to the mid lane. And now they're going to be playing Monkey. I do like Monkey from the mid lane a lot. This is the hero that pretty much doesn't need any items. It's GAMIN Gladiators, I would say, in this current meta, bread and butter, where they can shift towards the lanes that they feel like they're going to lose. And you have also Nature's Prophet, so you can expect 4 heroes from GAMIN Gladiators to come to a lane and completely demolish it.
Nouns is going to have to survive, I feel. Like, they don't
Just
really...
live.
Just live. They don't really make the best...
That's so simple.
Yeah, just don't die. They don't really make many map plays, like Alks, static, Beast is relatively static, want to take a tower, same thing for DK. On the other side, like Lucas was mentioning, the whole map will be played. Like Prophet should be TPing around, Monkey's jumping around. So for Nouns once again to win it out, they just need to survive as long as possible, get to their timings, and then sure they can play out the game. But
the big anti-combo I want to see from GAMIN Gladiators is summon the tree on a tree where Monkey is, to cut him down and then play from there. It's a bait. Omni comes in with the repel with the Guardian Angel. Bam.
I think there's a misread by Nouns on Furion going mid, because that looked like a safe lane Furion to us from the start. So they picked the DK to lane into Furion, but it ends up getting counterpicked. They're not going to lane swap because their heroes don't allow them to. So now for Nouns, their safe lane needs to win for them to be able to stay alive in this game. And I think this Nouns safe lane looks really vulnerable. Like the presence of a Furion on a kill heavy lane like Centaur full Sky is going to change things. Can Nouns react? They have Beastmaster offlane who needs to farm. They have DK mid who needs to farm. They don't react very well, so it's very scary actually. Their draft is scaring me.
So when we're saying Nouns has to survive, they have to survive and Yuma has to be healthy on his Alchemist.
Yeah, pick and choose the battles you want to take, and if you want to conceding early towers isn't the worst thing for them if they know they're getting to their next round of items. Like if they've played GAMIN's game, they are just going to lose their entire map.
A tough one, it sounds like, for Nouns, but they've weathered storms before. Perhaps they can weather this one from GAMIN Gladiators as well. We're going to find out who secures top 6 in this game number 3. We're heading over to our commentary duo of Sunsfan and Cinderin.
Thank you, Shiver. Yes, we have game number 3 here between Nouns and GAMIN Gladiators to find out who plays in front of the crowd at Royal Arena, or who's guaranteed, I should say, to play in front of the crowd. A lot on the line. What do you think of the lineups? I mean, we're seeing a lot of different heroes.
Yes.
That's what I'm really enjoying.
Yeah, the first thing I was going to say was what an incredible adjustment from both teams. There's basically no repeat heroes here from what we've seen. So GAMIN Gladiators are bringing out 5 heroes they haven't played in this series so far. On the side of Nouns, they're bringing... Is that also 5 new heroes, actually?
Well, Windrunner, right?
When did they play Wind?
Wasn't that last game?
That was GAMIN.
Oh, you mean just in the...
Yeah, so
in the game
Nouns
in
themselves have not played any of these 5 heroes this series. And GAMIN has played in. So it's complete redo of absolutely everything, and it's just a battle of the ideas, like who has the better idea. I like a lot of what the panel said about pacing. I think the GAMIN lineup thrives in playing super aggro early on, which is, their bread and butter. However, Nouns have shown really good strength in fight selection. In this series and the series against Team Spirit, they were very good at being just waiting it out, finding the right opportunity, reading map movements, and avoiding ganks. And that skill set is going to be put to the test here because you have to avoid bad fights and not get rolled over. If you do, I think they have a pretty promising mid game ahead of them. If Alk has an okay game, if Beastmaster has an okay game, you will scale and you will become really fearsome. But yeah, watch out for those first 15 minutes.
So any of these facets, since these are a lot of new heroes, do any of them speak to you? I think the only thing that I don't know how many Windrunners we've seen as support, but she did go Focus Fire.
Yeah,
that's the Whirlwind. That's pretty much the only one that stands out to me.
Yeah, I mean, you're not farmed enough to really benefit from the Whirlwind. With Focus Fire, you can sometimes find side lane ganks on a single target that's farming, or you can maybe kill off a support in a team fight. Whirlwind is just flat out not a good facet if you don't have damage items. And Windranger 4s a lot of the time don't really get there. Maybe you get a Maelstrom. But
I don't know. These days, though, Cinderin.
Yeah.
Position 4 does feel like they end up going carry at some point.
The other thing about the Focus Fire, and also part of the reason why they put this hero on support, is the Centaur matchup, who wants to buy Blade Mill, right? So if you have Focus Fire, you're actually choosing who you hit. So you can avoid those potential pitfalls of Centaur just messing with you in fights.
So another hero I want to talk about is the Crystal Maiden. Not a hero we get to see very often. I mean, Frostbite, very good against creeps, and there's one tree ant for Dyrachyo since it's gigantic. What are your thoughts on her?
Yeah, she's a pretty hit or miss hero in my experience recently, because you have certain things like you pointed out. The Frostbite is really good here against Stampede and against tree ants, but you're also one of the in a meta that is a lot about tankiness. Crystal Maiden never really gets there. She dies really fast. Yeah. So Fly has to be very cautious with his positioning in this game. And it's also, on top of that, Crystal Maiden's like ace up her sleeve is generally her ult. That's hard to use this game. Skywrath can stop it with a silence instantly. Monkey King can stun you from 1,000 range away. Stampede can get his whole team out of trouble. So you're dealing with a couple of downsides, but the good news with Crystal Maiden is she's a nice protective assistant to Alchemist in this lane. I think that they work pretty well together. You offer some kill potential, and you're a little bit of a lightning rod, so to say.
So mostly for the laning stage is what you're saying.
I would say so, yeah.
Okay.
But obviously, GAMIN Gladiators, this is like a really high skill game in draft, because it was a lot of you do A, so we do B, and then the next team was like, oh, well, they made that adjustment, so we make another adjustment that we weren't planning. So we've already talked about Wind Ranger wasn't carry because of the Centaur. Now, Crystal Maiden was picked to counter Nature's Prophet. Well, Nature's Prophet is just going to, you know, a lane that Maiden isn't in, right? They're just keeping these matchups dodged, essentially, from both teams that they don't want.
Yeah. As the Lotus battle is upon us, and Yuma comes out prevailing in this scenario.
Yep.
And, I mean, Centaur has been picked very commonly against the Windrunner carry, but this is a position 4.
Yep.
Obviously, the Stampede is always going to be good. So I wonder if there's going to be a difference of a build here. Like, do you buy Blade Mail in this game?
I don't think you should. I don't think there's enough upside against the other heroes in buying Blade Mail. Alchemist is pretty good against it because he's naturally regenerating a lot while he's fighting. Against the Beastmaster, I think he overpowers it if he goes Ags as well. So I would rather see Ace just focusing full on. I feel like this is a really good game to just get some... I don't know, do you need the Blink when you're playing with Mid Monkey and Nature's Prophet? Maybe you still get Blink, but I think just Crimson Pipe, some sort of boots, if he even wants them with horsepower, we'll see. Should be pretty stable here.
And of course, you failed to mention the cart for Nature's Prophet later.
Yeah,
very
would love to see that, because it's fun.
It is fun.
Yep.
As Gunnar finally does hit level 3, Lelis is actually out-leveling the Beast as of now, just slightly. In terms of CS, Dyrachyo is having a very, very good time leading the way in the CS for this game overall.
If I had to pick one hero that is the single best safe laner in the first 3 minutes for CSing as carry, it's this one. Nature's Prophet is expected to do very well.
Yeah, that's why he's considered the best body in ability draft. His copy gonna take a lot of damage here. Quinn just casually kills him. My goodness. Using the Mischief to get under the tower without drawing aggro. But that Jingu is something fierce. I mean, Monkey King against melee heroes in general is pretty rough. But, I mean, Dragon Knight a lot of times can at least survive, but not the case this time.
Yeah, we were talking about prior to this game, you were suggesting Timbersaw, which I think would have also been a really good pick for GAMIN. But I think the reason they value Monkey King higher than that one is flat out just the lane itself. Against a Timber, Dragon Knight can float the lane, as you said. He can survive and do okay. Monkey King is really rough. And Quinn is exceptionally good at laning on this hero in particular. So he's showcasing it right here. 28 and 14 against 15 for 3, and Dragon Knight is jungling on level 4.
That's rough.
That is not great. Fortunately for him, he has the Fire Dragon facet, so he can at least farm somewhat efficiently.
Indeed, as Fly's going to find a little Skywrath Mage action here, but Tofu is pretty fast. And CM is not.
Correct.
Polar opposites in move speed, it feels like.
Absolutely.
Poor thing. But you know what you get when you pick her.
And that's another interesting thing about this game from the support perspective is a lot of the supports we see being popular in the patch right now have a good way of clearing waves. These two are two of the ones that have the weaker wave clear that we've seen played in this stage of the tournament. Crystal Maiden, Crystal Nova's okay, it's pretty good, but Skywrath Mage's wave clear is pretty bad.
A copy.
Oh,
getting ganked under the tower. Quinn is just taking all the tower hits because of the Jingu. Not going to lead to a kill, but you can see several heroes for both teams have made their way to the mid lane.
Yeah, and that's good news for Dyrachyo, as he gets to play Nature's Prophet against Beastmaster one-on-one, and that should be very easy for him. But I suppose, on the flip side, for Yuma, getting a little bit of a break from the Skywrath harassment is also quite nice.
Yeah, that's true. One of the more annoying heroes to play against for sure. I mean, how fast does Dyrachyo want to get active on the Nature's Prophet? I mean, we've seen some really early ganks as Lelis can be spotted by Quinn. Won't lead to anything.
Oh,
the Skywrath
Quinn wants to steal the rune.
CM.
This is important.
Lai attempted TP, he's fine.
Yeah, he's coming down bot to cover the rune, but will he really cover it?
We'll see. Frostbite onto Quinn. He's still doing so much damage. This is under another tower.
Oh, they covered their rune. That was very important. This was the play I was looking for. Quinn was moving over at around 6:45, but he got intercepted midway by the Beastmaster, so he couldn't get to the room.
Oh, they're going to spot the stacks. Obviously, the Beastmaster, you know this is going to happen as Fly just casually right-clicked down by Quinn. And this Monkey King feels like such a strong hero in this meta right now. Boundless Strike onto Gunnar, using up the Jingu stack.
It genuinely feels like Quinn can do whatever he wants.
Yeah, this facet this has got to be a top 5 facet in the game.
Yeah, it's incredible.
It is unbelievable.
It is incredible.
The fact that it's good on support and carry. There's Quinn. Now he's dewarding. All right, copy. He's going to be found. Is he actually stuck in here?
Oh my, no.
Oh, okay, well, now he is. He finds Stellar on the other side. Walks right past her. Nice shackle from Lelis. Boundless Strike to follow. Then there's the first stampede of the game. Copy's dead again. Oh, dear. Ancient Seal now onto Lelis. And can they... I'm not sure if they can even take these stacks, but they're going to keep an eye on it, of course, as Quinn is continuing to pressure. We'll get on top of Gunnar, who's not level 6
Surely.
yet, so Jingu stacks again. Kills off the boar that looks like a lizard.
I mean, he's zoning the Beastmaster from getting experience. He's just killing the whole wave, and with Omni Knight in his back, they can't... How many heroes are you going to rotate to kill the Monkey King? Like,
unbelievable.
Can you even kill him with 5? I'm not joking. Like,
Blood Grenade onto Ace, but the power shot misses. Copy and company really need to find something. There's the Frostbite from the south, so Fly will ensure that they at least get something on the board for
finally.
now.
In the meantime,
oh dear.
Gunnar.
Jingu stacks again, Boundless Strike, easy pickoff for Quinn. Celery just there for moral support.
You talked about after game number 1 how Quinn always had Gunnar's number and then they stopped laning against him. Well, guess what? Quinn misses the old days of just beating Gunnar in lane, so he's gonna bring the lane to him. Quinn has been laning bottom for a minute on his mid Monkey King.
I've already dumpstered mid, it's time to move bot. Sorry, Gunnar. This is just terrible for now. They're gonna lose the tier 1 bottom. Question is, what is going to happen to these stacks? I mean, I'm not sure they've even been able to stack anymore anyway because of all the pressure that Quinn and company has been providing here. Celery now level 6.
The worst part for Gunnar is this is not what he was used to. This is extremely unfair situations. Like, he's playing against a hero that's 3 levels higher than him in a favorable matchup, just camping his lane.
Ace, there's 3 members of Nouns here. Get some D wards though. Fly
Still will get that Blade Mail plus triple bracer, so...
And hey, Quinn is making it to the top lane now, it seems. Concoction is going to be applied to him. Quinn's at half HP, but again, Jingu stacks are insane. Alchemist dead. Double Edge is going to find him. Lelis with the TP, not to be. 10 minutes in, it's 7-1, 4K lead for GAMIN. This is snowballing out of control already.
We're saying Nouns watch out for the first 15 minutes, and well... Even the first 10 have been tragic for their dreams of starting in the top 6.
And not to add insult to injury, this is a 5K lead against an Alchemist. Yeah. So it's worse than it looks. Man.
Damn, you're so pessimistic, aren't you? Fly.
He's level 4, Cinderin.
Yep, that's another pessimistic comment.
Well, Tofu's level 5.
Nice.
Is that okay? That's optimistic.
I don't know.
Does not have Mystic Flare. How dare he, despite winning this game so far. Yuma with the concoction. Doraccio will be the recipient. TP support is coming. Gunnar is level 7. Can he get in range? Yes, the Dragon Tail will ensure it. You don't even need the Primal.
Close, but no cigar. Maybe they can get another one. No.
So second kill on the board for Nouns. Requires 4 of their heroes to ensure it.
It's going to cost them the mid tower as well.
So Ace did end up going for the Blade Mail, by the way.
Yep. As mentioned a minute ago. He did indeed.
Oh, you did mention it.
Yep.
Okay. Don't listen to you half the time, of course, because you're usually wrong, because he did say he wasn't going to go for it.
Yeah, I mean, I was wrong. Thanks for pointing that out. Pessimistic of you. Quinn. Playing with his food here.
Yes, he can do whatever he wants at this stage.
He loves wolf, classic food for the monkey.
On top of Fly, he's going to get Frostbit. Concoction. Doraccio is going to make his way over. Instant repel for Quinn, though, as Celery is there to ensure that he will live. Going to try to focus down. Big hoof stomp onto 2. Down goes Yuma again. Blood Grenade applied to a few heroes, but still, GAMIN are fine in numbers here, but there's a Primal Roar from Gunnar to ensure the kill onto Quinn. That is definitely a good sign for Nouns as Ace trying to TP out. in the cover of the Blade Mail. He will actually do so, but still, a 3 for 2. Nouns will take it.
Super important for Nouns. I mean, this game was falling completely apart, but the Monkey King kill is worth $1 billion gold for Gunnar. So he will now show up with a private island called Helm of the Dominator. That was half of GAMIN's lead down the drain. They just bit off a little bit more than they could chew there, and Nouns were ready to get that punish. Nice shackle shot from Lelis, and the Roar gets them a couple of kills. Lead down from 6 to 3. 6 to 2 almost even.
So is the Helm, I haven't been seeing the Helm lately on the Beastmaster. It's usually been the Ag, especially with this facet, but is this because they're behind, or is it just better this game in general?
I'm not really sure what the right approach is for Nouns in this situation.
Oh, Gunnar.
Oh, hang on.
They're coming for you. He's got the tomato creep.
I mean, this is where you could pump the brake a little bit as GAMIN, but they're just going to keep rolling.
All right, they'll just take out the creeps.
Nice Helm of the Dominator. Easy gold for Quinn. That's all it's going to offer so far, and they will take away the Ancients as well.
Look at this play. This is for the 14-minute Wisdom.
It's very early.
It is, though, yeah. Copy
They're
will take out the
setting up
Ancients.
so early.
I mean, the problem is GAMIN can probably just take theirs, so it's just going to be a trade.
Yeah, I mean, that's why they're going there, right? They know they can't protect their own against Monkey, so they're hoping to at least get the 50-50 split.
Duracho's Courier's taken out, so they are aware that Nouns are in the area.
Courier's being killed left and right. Quinn, not going to pursue Gunnar. Looked like he was thinking about it, but yeah, should be a split here. They just probably even going to join the party. They were assuming that Nouns might be on their own, but of course not. So split here. Fly will get his level 6 at minute 14, and now he will die.
Yeah, Quinn, aware now, needs revenge for his Wisdom Rune. They built up a really strong relationship over the years, and Fly will get dropped.
And he'll get dewarded for his troubles.
I mean, even a trade at this stage of the game, Nouns will take it.
Yeah, that's why this thing that happened top was so important. You know, now you get a 14-minute Radiance, and it's so important not because the game is stable now, but because there's hope of reaching stability because of that fight. If that hadn't occurred and GAMIN were just kept on rolling, there would probably be 8,000 up now. It's within striking distance for Nouns. One more good fight, you're in a position where Alchemist gets to play his game.
Yep, and we're gonna, okay, Repel already used, so Quinn just gonna walk that off. Celery very slow. It's a Radiance being
Fast
shown
enough,
from Yuma. No connection able to be made. I mean, the Repel just so strong.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
So what is, obviously Nouns made a move there, but what is the next step for like the power spike? I'm guessing it's gotta be something Beastmaster related.
Yeah,
I get going for the upgraded helm.
Yeah, maybe the Overlord plus Dragon Knight BKB, perhaps? I'm not sure if that's what Copy's actually going to go for.
Yuma, Mystic Flare, he's just going to stand in it.
Yeah, that's a big
Wanted to try to maybe deny himself with the concoction, but it's not to be. I don't know how you play against Monkey King that has a lead. It's ridiculous how much mobility he has.
Yeah, and it's not just Monkey King that has a lead, it's Monkey King that has a lead and a personal butler walking after him as best as he can. Omni Knight is actually a quite good look for a Squire, so he's really embracing his role. Just following Quinn around, doing his every bidding, which is generally, repel me!
Oh,
Squire! Squire, I need assistance!
It's like the old Pugna.
Yep.
Ace will TPing down to the bot lane to control this slight push that's occurring in this tier 2 top in the meantime. It's going to be just a freebie for GAMIN. So Quinn has the Orb of Corrosion with the Gleipnir already. And we'll be going for the Shard, which we've been seeing a lot of Monkey Kings prioritize. People have gotten so much better at actually using the mobility aspect of that Shard.
Yeah.
And of course, it's just like before, I think they didn't used to have the Tree Dance effect on the Boundless Strike. That's been a newer addition. So
yeah, it definitely got upgraded as well. So it's a combination of multiple things, but I would agree. Even back in the older version, the weaker one, it was probably undervalued, and players got better at playing with it. Gunnar gonna get found out.
Gleipnir versus Primal Roar. Gleipnir is winning because there's 2 of them. Jingu from Quinn ensures the death of Gunnar again.
This is a gone tower. I don't see any way of defending this for Nouns without a buyback. And they are just not even going to bother. They'll try to spend the time to progress their builds. But for Yuma, unfortunately, it feels quite far away still. It's kind of, even the BKB is a little bit of a pipe dream right now. We're looking at 4+ minutes probably to get that. They desperately need to make some sort of progress to slow things down, but Duracho's here.
Lai is in the area though, Concoction. Quinn making his way over. This might be the first Wukong's command of the entire game, by the way. The Mystic Flare rips them apart. 2 kills in the name of GAMIN again. Nouns just cannot farm. There's nowhere that is safe against this Monkey King.
Look what Copy bought.
Oh dear. What did he bought? A Force Staff. Okay. That is a first.
He's like,
that is a first.
I mean, to be... Oh, hang aced it.
Okay, not from Ace ensures another kill.
There's a lot of upsides to Force Stuff here. You can get away from... You can try to create distance from the Gleipnirs. You can get out of Skywrath ult. You can get out of Monkey King ult in particular, which is really important. So he's just... But the problem is, you're buying these defensive utility items to not die, but when you're going to kill anything.
Yeah. Again, Primal Roar versus Gleipnir. Not fair, apparently. More powerful than an ultimate ability at this stage. Another kill for GAMIN. They are snowballing this really hard. Nouns have no room to breathe.
I think, okay, I think what Nouns have to try to do, because a lot of the kills that GAMIN are executing is like 2-man skirmishes on a guy isolated or whatever. They have to try to create a bait where they make the... They need to create the illusion that somebody is alone and then have the numbers to back them up. And in order to create that illusion, you have to sacrifice someone somewhere else. So somehow, you need to trick GAMIN into thinking the guy who is alone is not, and vice versa. And that is as complicated as it sounds, but it's...
I was going to say, how do you do that exactly?
Yeah, it's a tough challenge, but it's the best idea I see here. Because if you group up and run as 5, GAMIN just aren't going to fight you, and they'll just play the map. And if you split out, Duracho's going to solo fly as it looks right now.
Yeah, well, he's got his Treant.
Oh.
Treants count as...
Okay, so it's a 2-on-1.
Yep.
All right.
At this stage, the
nice
might
gank
be worth more
from
than the
Duracho and Duracho's spell.
That's
Yuma
right.
will get away. Will he? Yeah.
Are they going to dive here? They're going to try to punish this. Is Nouns. They get the Dragon Tail on top of the Primal Roar. Boundless Strike going to try to delay this as Duracho pops his BKB. Will Gleipnir too in retreat. Not sure Nouns can do anything about it. They did force the BKB, which is something.
I'm trying to think of how you can create that setup from Nouns. If you solo put the Dragon, because Dragon Knight's the guy who can cover himself the best, right? With the Blink Force. So maybe if you park him in a lane, and then you bait Alk on the other side, or you bait Beast on the other side, and you have the backup behind. It's just, I'm digging a little bit deep for solutions here, because Nouns own 25% of the map, and they can't team fight. So usually my solution in this kind of situation is, hey, you guys have to group up, smoke, try to find an angle. I just don't think that fight is winnable. They can't kill anyone under Guardian Angel, and they can't jump the Omni Knight. So
Guardian Angel, you have Crimson Guard on Ace as well.
They are going to try their damnedest. I mean, maybe with a good flank. If they find Celery first, perhaps it's doable. They're in good formation here, though, GAMIN are.
Yes, indeed. They're going to pop the Guardian Angel. Oh my god! Okay. That is absolutely insta-gib of Yuma. Gleipnir onto 2 outside the Wukong's command. They do finally get Celery. See if they can actually take advantage of it, though. Monkey King getting really low. Quinn trying to walk away. Uses the Boundless Strike, but no! He gets killed by the Hawk of all units. And now the Stampede. Not going to be used to full effect because of the Frostbite, but it looks like he might be able to live here. Gunnar gets taken out finally by Tofu, and now Nouns starting to fall. Hoof Stomp as a final maneuver from Ace will ensure a full team wipe. It did cost them 2 units. It wasn't really that bad for Nouns at the beginning, but the sustain from GAMIN was just too strong.
That looked so promising, but Duracho finally shows up in the end, and he's like, all right, let's win this fight. I actually can't believe that turned into such a good moment for Nouns after they instantly lost their carry. They then pile onto the Omni. There was a perfect freezing field from Fly. He got a full-on channel that was uninterrupted, and they walked in the Dragon Knight and stunned the Monkey King under that. So they do find somewhat of a fight, but in the end, still, despite the stars aligning almost, they still couldn't win that one.
Yeah, and Yuma was not that far away from a BKB, and him getting silenced basically ensured he just gets killed right off the bat.
They'll have the BKB next time around, so perhaps they can find a moment of opportunity, but the next fight will also be against an Aegis.
Yeah. Not only that,
let's see if GAMIN put that on Skywrath or on Omni. Imagine if they actually do.
I mean, Celery, he needs to stay alive to keep people alive. Surely the Aegis is for him.
I'm guessing Quinn is the better choice, right? Like, Dyrachyo could buy back TPN.
Yeah, I think it's
Quinn is probably frontlining the most.
Good job, Cinderin. You're
Hell yeah. This one was
for 10.
I mean, this one was really obvious. I don't even want credit. Gunnar.
Yeah, Stampede with the Gleipnir and inside Sprout. He's going to use the Primal Roar, but the last right click from Dyrachyo is enough. So hard to play a game against these heroes. Monkey King gets off to such a good start, so he's everywhere. Nature's Prophet is a carry. Obviously, he has a teleportation built into his hero. He's everywhere. And he supports just butlering it up, as you like to put it.
Yeah. This Radiant lineup is incredible when it's leading. It's just extremely hard to play against. For Nouns.
This would be a big kill. Is the Blink Dragon Tail into run away. We don't do damage. They were unfortunately were not close enough. There's surely he doesn't die under
if
the cover
he dies
of his
for this
here. Copy. Okay, they get the stun off onto the Monkey King. Double hoof stomp from Ace. Wukong's command's coming though. Yuma pops his BKB for the first time and then gets off his ult just to barely live. But Dyrachyo wants to try to finish the job. Quinn going in really deep. Shackle shot will connect. The Sprout ensures the kill of Copy. And now on the other side, Gunnar just left all alone because the rest of his teammates have either retreated or died. And this will be a lane of racks for GAMIN.
My goodness. What an absolute smackdown.
So promising for Nouns after that game one.
Yeah, but GAMIN were only pretending. They figured it out. They knew what they had to do. And I mean, in reality, this game and the previous one, not really close, right?
No.
In any sense of the imagination. Nouns, effectively, they have to Hail Mary. I mean, GAMIN could leave their base if they want to, but they might also just stick around to finish the job. They still have Aegis, so Nouns have to find some sort of miracle engagement by getting on top of the Omni. I don't think any other target's killable.
Yeah, and the BKB is back online for Quinn as well. So very, very safe indeed. There's a fortification. GAMIN. Let's see if they fully back or just wait for the next wave. There is a damage rune in the bottom side. Don't have vision of that though. I hear a concoction. This might be the last-ditch effort from Nouns. Just casually throwing it out there, it seems.
Aces.
Tower is dead, and here comes Copy. He's going to get Gleipnir inside that dragon form, sprouted up. And Quinn going to continue to beat away on these buildings, along with Ace. As Copy gets off the dragon tail, they want to try to get rid of this Aegis, as you can see Lelis actually bringing everybody closer to them with that shard. But that might be at the detriment of his team, as the Beastmaster's lost. It's going to be the trade for the Aegis. And it looks like they'll get the second set of racks. Quinn will try to stick around with that Orb of Corrosion to ensure that that is the case. Still 5v4 as Wukong's command used to force everybody out. And that's 2 lanes for GAMIN. And now they will likely back away.
I'm not sure about that.
Think they continue on?
Yeah.
I mean, the Dragon form will end eventually. Then you just have a Dragon Knight in melee form.
They haven't had to GA yet, so they still have an extra line of defense that wasn't necessary.
Yeah, that's true. That is accurate. So it looks like this might be Megas. Nouns are going to have to go in here. Surely, this is the time.
Yeah.
Last-ditch effort.
Blink, Dragon Tail, and Force F out incoming.
Gale Force, very annoying. Fly taking 2 casual right click. He might die to the creep, for God's sake. Gunnar gets off the roar, but there is the Guardian Angel from Celery. And you can see Yuma trying to do something on the backside, but he just gets eviscerated. Just not nearly enough damage to even tickle these heroes at this stage. Gunnar, he dies, and they're just going to call it GG. So Game 3 goes to GAMIN Gladiators, and they are now guaranteed to be in front of the crowd here in Copenhagen at the Royal Arena.
Yep, that's a minimum of top 6 and in style, right? These last 2 games just completely... It's what people have come to expect of this team, and maybe there was some doubt after the first game if they could pull it off, but that's that's what the world-class teams are capable of doing. They can have a bad game, they reset, they figure out what they need to do, they look at their strat book, they look at what went wrong, and unfortunately for Nouns, obviously falling short here, but still, this was a series that most people probably had Nouns as the underdogs in, and I think a lot of what they've shown when they play really well could take them quite a few steps in the lower bracket potentially. This is already a team that I think others have to give more
Cinderella's story is not over yet. They're in the lower bracket, still alive, but GAMIN will move on. Shiver!
I don't know how it always catches me off guard, even though I know the throw is coming. GAMIN Gladiators, they take this 2-1. They are able to recover, and they make it look very smooth here in this third game to the series. They secure themselves top 6 at this international, so we will not be seeing them again until Friday. They get a little bit of a break, time to prepare, of course, to be able to go up against their next opponent, which will be Tundra. But let's break down this game number 3. Effie, this was kind of what we saw coming.
Yeah, there were just a lot of problems that existed within the draft that GAMIN presented, and that last pick DK for Nouns into the counter pick of Monkey King was just way too difficult to play into. So your DK is getting counterpicked mid by a core who also counters your Beastmaster and your Alchemist. So after winning that mid lane, Quinn blew the game wide open, right? We saw him go to Gunnar's lane for the majority of that game, shut him down as much as he could. And while that was happening, Alchemist was kicked out to the jungle. There was the presence by Nature's Prophet, and this was just a typical GAMIN snowball.
Yeah, there was a little bit too much greed from Nouns, and too much global map play for GAMIN to punish it, right? And when you have Omni Knight in the 5 role, the perfect recipe for success is to have a hero that throws himself into the fight. And if you look at like the 14-minute mark, Quinn's top net worth higher than the Alchemist because he's got Celery behind him, throwing the repel onto him, giving him that free BKB and additional damage from the Scarif Mage from Tofu just to overwhelm these early fights. And yeah, for GAMIN, beautiful draft, great play. And unfortunately for Nouns, they just didn't have a deep enough playbook to get to that third game and to take the fight to them because unfortunately this was a very, very large outdraft in the final game.
And you also have 2 heroes, one from the mid lane, one from the safe lane that come online super fast, that can be anywhere. Both of them built into Gleipnirs, so the setup is going to be there, which is also a setup for Scarlet Mage ulti. You have Stampede if you want to run in. This was a funny one where you see the power of Gleipnir. Glip-glop, double onto 3 heroes pretty much. And the funny thing happened, Quinn dies to a Hawk, who's kind of following him. He's using the shard to try to get away, but they're so quick with the rotations. There was a time where they're sieging a tier 2 tower. Monkey King already trying to set up something happen on different side of the map, so 2 of them go to the Twin Gates while still killing a tier 2 tower bottom, and they set up on Alchemist. They kill the Crystal Maiden as well with the Nature's Prophet TP. This team is so good when they get the heroes, the correct heroes that they can play fast with.
Yeah, and we saw that Monkey King did die a couple of times, but for Nouns to take down the Monkey King, it took almost every tool in their arsenal. And while they threw everything at the Monkey King, you had the Centaur landing 3-man stuns, like in that near the Tormentor fight we saw. You had the Furion, who was very farmed, just hitting people with his Gleipnir, just cleaning up. So even if you deal with one problem, 2 other problems were present within that draft, even if you kill the Monkey King.
Yeah, I think this is the first game I feel like we've seen in a little while where the draft kind of was completely shaken up. Mainly probably because we do know that Nouns had to ban Enchantress and Chen and Lone Druid, which already changes things a lot. But the draft that we saw coming out from GAMIN Gladiators, that's a little bit of a breath of fresh air. I know there's a lot of heroes in there that we've seen that we know are strong, but it's been a while since we've seen them on the same team.
Yeah, I think it took a little bit of time for GAMIN to find this rhythm for their draft, but the teams that win tournaments, the team that make deep runs, they're able to mid-series kind of identify problems and find solutions. And that's why I think for Nouns at least, they are really good when they're like within their playbook, within their kind of the formula that they created. But as soon as they're kind of shifting away from that, that's when they struggle. But for Gaming, it's like it took them some time to get here, but I think the last game, this game, if they have this type of drafting, then this top 6 easily could be a lot more. And just don't do the game 1 draft again. Game 2, game 3, keep that going.
Keep that going. I'm sure they're going to try their best to do that, but for now, they've done it. They made it to the top 6 of the International, and we're going to have a winner's interview with none other than Celery with Pyrian.
Hello, Sheebs. I am here with Celery, the winner of that contest. Congratulations. You must be delighted.
Thank you very much. Very delighted.
So, sorry, we were talking about just before we went live. We were having a chat about it. So you said that was close. Like that was how you put it. Were you guys seriously worried after game 1?
Yeah, we were in the lower bracket last year, so we know how it feels and how long it can take, and it's definitely stressful. Last year we also played Nouns, and it was very easy. Let's be real. This year, not easy at all. They played really good. They can be proud of how they played, and I think they will go a lot further.
So I've got one question. You guys were nervous after the first match, but you ran the Brood back again. You must be very confident in that hero for you to lose with it and then immediately pick it again.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of our heroes for so long. We have lost many games with every hero that is ours. I think I'm the only player to lose with Chen this tournament. That doesn't mean I'm not going to play Chen anymore. So you just have to reset, understand what went wrong, and you just go for the next one.
So what was the conversation after game 1? I'll come to the other games in a sec, but after game 1, what in your mind went wrong in that match?
I mean, there were some strategy things that we changed from game 1, but we didn't talk too much about that because that's something, okay, we knew we're going to do it different. So we just focus on the gameplay, how do we want to play, what did we actually do wrong, and we just tried to improve on the little things and just help each other with that.
So staying positive, I guess. But here's one thing. You got Tendra up next. They had a pretty good result today. What are your expectations in that series?
It should be very fun. We didn't play them for a long time. And they're one of the crazier teams. They have Topson mid. Maybe he'll play Rubik. Maybe he'll play... You never know, right? He can play anything. So I'm really looking forward to that. I think they'll be in the main stage as well. So that should be amazing.
You're looking forward to that. So I'm going to let you choose your man of the match from your team, which is a sort of job that you normally have at the end of a game. You know, you should have it. So who are you announcing as your man of the match?
Quinn said during the game, after he solo killed him, he said, "All right, boys, I got this. I'll carry the game." So I guess he kind of claimed it. I don't really have a choice. He kind of he took it. He himself thinks he's the MVP. So that's how it is.
So you're nice enough to give it to him. He claimed it himself, Quinn MVP, but you're my MVP, bud. All right. Anyway, that's what Celery had to say, and back to you, Shiva.
Thank you very much. I don't think, Celery, it works that way. You can't just say, hey, I'm the MVP, and that makes it true. So I'm going to also have a second opinion here from my panel. The cost?
I have to agree. Nowadays, you don't see many mid-solo kills, and he kind of dominated the game.
Okay.
I'm used to this, obviously, in pubs. If my mid claims MVP or that they're the best player, if you don't agree with them, then potentially they might do things to make the game harder for your team. So obviously, Quinn is the MVP.
Hostage, yeah.
Please, keep it going, boss. So.
He did also
Come on,
play
look at those
well.
stats. He played incredibly well. Like in game 2, his Void Spirit Axe timing was so early. They caught Storm off guard with it. When he had a haste rune, they were able to kill him off of that. In this game 3, he completely set the entire tempo from stomping mid to stomping bottom to stomping top. It was in his hands, so we can give the man his flowers here.
We will certainly give the man his flowers. Quinn played phenomenal, and I think someone should pick his plays apart. And who better to do this than Purge? Hey, Purge.
Hello.
Hello.
We did get to watch him pick Copy's game apart, that's for sure. He thought he had a lane. He didn't, actually. One thing that Copy did that was pretty smart was he went for a really fast boots of speed so that he could get away from his opponent. And that sort of worked, but ultimately Monkey King is Monkey King. He's going to hit you when you come up to get last hits. When you sit back and use your nukes to try to get any last hits, it pushes the wave. Then he holds the wave on his cliff, and then you're like, what do I do now? And then you usually go jungle. But Copy stayed a little bit longer because of this fast boots that he picked up, but unfortunately almost the same time because Quinn was ahead, he ends up getting his Orb of Corrosion, this little item here. Not that tango. 1 second, I'm going to re-click on the Monkey King any second. Any day, any day. And what it basically does is slows your opponent. There it is. Slows your opponent and limits their regen a little bit. And basically, Copy had this like little game here where Quinn's like, I'm just gonna kill you, and he kind of wanted to stay, and he ends up getting first blood. It was kind of a mistake from Copy, I think, which gets him further ahead because then Quinn gets to buy boots, and as the lane continues, he's now level 7. And then what most Monkey players are doing in this tournament that's really effective is they're taking that advantage and they're instantly